Hello, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran, and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is now episode 210. In this episode, we are going to give our week one overreactions, talk about the Seahawks upsetting the Broncos, Dak's injury, grading head coaching debuts, and more. This is going to be a phenomenal episode. Listen, Monday Night Football, Drew, what happened, man?
Hey, man, it was a great game. The 12s, they definitely were out. They were out in a negative way, if you ask me, with the disrespect they showed my boy Russell. But, hey, you know, they came away with the W.
was crazy.
Yeah, it was extremely rude.
Very weird.
I actually have such a disdain for the Seahawks that when I heard them boo Russ, I had like this genuine rage inside me. Then we ended up losing, man. So, there was nothing good about us.
Don't you think you should apologize to Seattle fans? You did say they would go over 17.
I said they'd get one.
No, you said I'd be shocked if they win again.
Yeah. That's not what I said.
No, the video's out.
At some point you did.
No.
At some point in the offseason you
I understand, but I gave them one win. And there it was.
No, yeah, but in the clip you're talking about, you said I would be shocked.
You were like
if they
very
win
adamant that you really didn't believe they was going to get one.
I like that video, actually.
It was funny.
It was.
I like it.
What was your favorite moment of week one?
AJ Brown.
Jettas, maybe.
I haven't seen a receiver do that in Philly in a long time.
Since T.O. probably.
Mine, most definitely.
I'll see some Deshaun days.
That's
Deshaun
fair.
Jackson.
Outside of seeing Russ suit up in a Broncos uniform, 100% was the Giants.
Okay.
Seeing Saquon go off, seeing Daniel bounce back after throwing the INT, then the Titans missed the field goal. That was electric.
Mine was seeing Jameis Winston lead the Saints down the field.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it
Grow
was.
up.
It's just
Can't trust Jameis. I'm glad I got off that train.
Jameis was, man, he was
How many times did we hear that on Sunday?
Jameis Winston.
At least 4 or 5.
A ton. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Me, Drew, and Joel were all at our boy Max's house. And it's funny. It's like the NFL knew our agendas. My mic. It's like the NFL knew our agendas with the Colts game and with the Bengals game. Me and Joel, the entire time, just back and forth, just like talking shit to each other, looking at each other like, yeah, that's what I thought. Burrow sucks. Colts, this and that. Yeah, it was a great Sunday.
I can't believe it. Honestly, I should have came out on top on all of my agendas this past Sunday. The Colts, Blankenship got cut because he missed the game-winning field goal. Evan McPherson missing 2. I mean, the first one got blocked by Minka. So
First one was a great play.
That was the first 2. Then Carolina, Baker leads what should have been a game-winning kick, and then the Browns come down the field.
That was clutch.
Just in the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence should have pulled out that win. A lot of Commanders
Wentz came
fans,
crazy.
He literally
very passionate.
won them the game, lost them the game, and won them the game in like 2 quarters.
Carson Wentz? Yeah,
it was
OD.
fucking ridiculous.
I was lit.
Yeah, he ended up having a great game.
He was
Got
about to
yards,
lose in the game
touchdowns.
and then just went right back and won in the game again.
Wentz could do that. I mean, that's
He's
the epitome of Wentz.
He's crazy.
He's going to make
What
some
was-
amazing plays and some terrible plays.
What was amazing to see was that Terry got involved. Jahan Dotson got involved. Curtis Samuel got involved.
Terry was probably the least involved out of all of them.
Antonio Gibson was getting work in the pass game. What he didn't have in Indianapolis was weapons. He has it now in Washington. He used it week 1. Didn't go to waste.
So I want to shout out my guy Emilio, who hit us up on the Pick a Side Podcast Instagram account, because he sent us a screenshot of some overs we picked from last episode. Tyreek Hill over 63.5 and
Money.
AJ Brown over 66.5.
Money.
He betted $57 and $28 on each of those. He won. He messaged us. Shout out Pick a Side Pod picks. Y'all goated for real.
Tough.
He won $294 on those
Shout
picks.
out.
Yo, that's really lit.
But he did not use Boom Fantasy. So he has to use Boom Fantasy.
That's all right. You
Gotta
know
use
what?
Boom.
Give and take there. Definitely got to use
At least we were
Boom.
right on our picks, though.
Absolutely.
That's good, yeah. That's good.
You guys have been killing the picks, I feel like. We haven't kept track, but I feel like for the most part, you guys have done a
We
really
have
good
been
job.
doing our thing.
So before we get on to the episode, make sure to hit the like button and rate our podcast and write a review if you feel like as well. And download Boom Fantasy.
We're doing
Put
a
in those
giveaway.
bets.
We're doing a giveaway.
NBA 2K23, that's still going on.
Yeah, forgot about that. If you want to be involved in our giveaway, it's going to be in the bio. Use the link, sign up for Boom Fantasy. You're automatically entered as long as you have a $10 or more deposit. We'll see your email, enter in the raffle. So yeah, download Boom Fantasy. You might win NBA 2K.
You know what? And I also want to deliver some great news. Our friend Justin Alba, who was fighting lung cancer, actually got back to me today and said he is 100% cancer-free.
Let's go.
Give him the round of applause.
That's awesome.
man. He messaged me. He was like, man, I just want to let you know that I saw the doctor. Everything went well. Nothing was found. And it was your podcast that got me through every single treatment. And reading that, I started to get teary-eyed because that's just unbelievable to hear that we had that type of effect. But you know what? I'm just so grateful to God that he's all right. And I just want to give you that shout-out, King. Thank God.
We never truly understand how much of an impact we have on people.
So
I
true.
met this girl today, and she told me
us.
she got hit by a car. Yeah.
What did it have to do with the story?
Going.
No, cause like it was just like I'm sorry I didn't elaborate.
You said you got hit by a car, then didn't say another word.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't elaborate. What I was trying to say was like, and she told me that in the span of 30 minutes, and it just made me realize life is short, for real. Like, she's not dead or nothing like that, obviously, but it just made me realize like life is short.
Rest in peace.
I'm sorry I stopped.
Man.
I really am sorry. I just did the
That was
stop
nuts.
moment.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
If you really are a true idiot.
You couldn't let Justin have his moment. God damn it.
You really are a true idiot. I'm sure he's going to listen to that shit and crack up. But you really are an idiot.
Let's get on. Let's get on to this first topic.
Let's do it, man.
Now, the Denver Broncos, they lost 17-16 against the Seattle Seahawks.
We did.
Now, how bad do the Broncos and Russell Wilson look after losing to the Seahawks? Drew, this is for you.
I was waiting. I didn't know if there was another follow-up statement. I'll say this. Russ doesn't look that bad. Russ came into his used-to-be home city, and he played relatively well, if you ask me. What I really look at from this game, a few takeaways from me. The defense in the first half was absolutely abysmal, allowed Geno Smith to be borderline flawless in the first half. But the second half, we came out and we were a different defense. We were basically perfect in the second half. First half offensively, we definitely should have worked on some things. Russ definitely wasn't incorporating the receivers enough, but I was patient with them. I figured, we're seeing the tight ends. We're going to open up the field eventually for our wide receivers. Ended up doing so where we were able to take the top off on Jerry Jeudy. And you know what? I saw you guys tweet about it a little bit. It was underthrown. But the fact that Jeudy was able, that's why I'm wearing the jersey. Shout out to my boy because I never doubted him for 1 second. But his ability to stay composed, catching traffic, take it to the crib, 67 yards. We had definitely some nice plays on offense. Unfortunately, where we lost ourselves the game was on the ground in the red zone at the 1 yard line, two drives in a row. That was the game. That's not on Russ. Javonte has to put it in that second time, and Melvin Gordon has to put it in that first time. That's just the honest truth. I tweeted, why is Javonte Williams? Why don't you guys just rip ass?
No, that was the AC.
No, that's the AC.
I was saying on Twitter, I was like, man, why isn't Javonte getting that goal line work when Melvin Gordon fumbled? The very next drive, Javonte gets the ball and fumbles. You couldn't make it up. I can't blame Russ for this loss. I can blame the running backs, and I can blame Nathaniel Hackett for not being aggressive. That's really my two takeaways. This isn't on Russ. Russ had a great homecoming. Would have been even better if we won the game, but hey, that's not on him.
I'm not overreacting to this. I tweeted, I think, Monday morning, all the wins or losses that moved or didn't move me, and people were going crazy over it because I lost some teams, left some team out. But this would have been a game that didn't move me. I think for Denver, this is just a team who has a new head coach, quarterback, OC, DC. Like, this is a new team who didn't play in the preseason together. And it's their first time on the field. It just happens to be week one. I think we saw that early on with multiple delay of game penalties where they could not get the ball off. And it was mind-numbing to me that Russell Wilson, who knows how loud the stadium gets, know the cadence in there, still was not able to get the offensive play out.
The 12 was really
They were loud.
Today,
And, I think if you look at the game and the box score, I do think Denver played better. You just made the mistakes. You guys lost a turnover battle. You guys had more penalties, but you had twice as many yards. You had more first downs, higher yards per play. So on paper, you guys did the things that normally would win games, higher, more time possession as well. It was just those two fumbles on the 1 yard line. It's not going to happen again where you're going to have two, not guaranteed touchdowns, but at least points on that drive you would hope where you end up fumbling. So I'm not overreacting to it. And I know you took the victory lap in the first 7 minutes of Denver's, their defense, I should say. In the second half, to your credit, they had 0 points and allowed 34 total yards of offense.
To Seattle.
They were lights out in the second half. Sure, it was to Seattle, but in the first half, Geno Smith came out and was guns blazing. He was borderline perfect.
We made some really great adjustments.
I think had one incompletion the entire first half. Hackett shit the bed. Turnovers, Hackett shit the bed. He came back, though, and said that he made the mistake, right? You should have gone for it on 4th down. You have Russell Wilson. It's 4th and 5. Don't take a 64-yard kick. But I'm not worried about Denver. This team is too good. It's too talented. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'm not overreacting.
You know, before you go, Riv, you guys are underselling, for one, the importance of what this game meant. There was a lot of underlying factors and storylines that went into this game that were important. Russell Wilson versus Pete Carroll. When's the next time they're going to face off? It's not going to happen. Never. Pete Carroll will always have one up on Russ and say, I beat you after you left. Now, you guys mentioned the Broncos, and I want to briefly just touch on the Seahawks for a little bit. Pete Carroll starting 3 rookie defensive backs. Yes, Judy had a fantastic game on rookie Kobe Bryant. Let's pump the brakes. It wasn't no Gabriel Davis type of game. Let's just call it a spade.
He had a better game than Gabriel Davis. He had 4 for 100 and a touchdown.
Box scores don't move me. Film does.
He had an underthrown ball, came back, caught a contested pass, and then outran a defender, scored a touchdown.
The Seahawks started 3 rookie cornerbacks all offseason long. We talked about this team being devoid of talent. You sat up here and said, I would be shocked if they win a game. And then the very first game of the season versus your Denver Broncos, who you've been propping up all off season long, they beat you. Geno Smith has a vintage performance. The reason Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson were at odds is because the philosophies were different. Russell Wilson wanted to throw more. Pete Carroll wanted to be more balanced. In 2019, they started off the season throwing more. Russell Wilson got off to a great start. Then he had a 3-game stretch where he had 10 turnovers, and Pete Carroll said, we have to be more balanced again. And that's where the odds start. That's where they started to be at odds. But Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson's entire time in Seattle vouched for him. He made the bold decision to start him over a quarterback they had just paid in Matt Flynn. He favored Russ over guys in a Legion of Boom. Guys on that team felt at odds because Pete Carroll was giving Russell favorable treatment. Pete Carroll did right by Russ. Russ leaves because he wants the awards. He wants the accolades. He wanted MVP. The reason why Russ was so frustrated with Pete Carroll is because he wanted to win MVP. But Pete Carroll's is about Super Bowl championships. That's what he's about.
So not the fact that he was the most sacked quarterback in that span.
Yeah, that also has a lot to do with it. But if you're the most sacked quarterback, why do you want to drop back at such a high rate when Pete Carroll wants to be more about? But you get sacked more if you do that.
But why don't you get O-linemen to protect him?
Because they gave
Herbert
him.
came into the league, had the worst offensive line. The very next season,
Why was that able to happen, Drew?
Because they had money.
Okay, why did the Seahawks not have money?
Well, because you're paying Russell Wilson.
Exactly. That's why they could not improve the roster.
Did they ever draft an O-lineman when Russ was there?
Ultimately, yeah, they did. Jermaine Ifedi.
And was he solid?
He wasn't good, but they definitely invested into that position. They didn't turn out to be good, but they invested into the position.
Interesting. Let's see.
Russell Wilson started to get annoyed with Seattle because Seattle started to scout quarterbacks. In 2017, they were looking at Mahomes. They said they were going to draft Mahomes had he slipped. In 2018, they went to look at Josh Allen. Russell's camp got furious. And that's what ultimately broke the bridge between the trust in that organization and Russell Wilson.
So Pete Carroll didn't always have his back.
Ultimately, there was a decision that had to be made within that front office. The decision was that it's not likely you win a championship if your quarterback is making top dollar, because you need to have a great roster.
Matt Stafford's making top dollar.
And at this current point in time, we have seen that the most successful blueprint is quarterback on a rookie contract and you build around him. The Stafford thing, yes, they definitely won a championship like that. But for the most part, it's a rookie quarterback and you can build around that type of roster. I want to credit Seattle because that was an amazing win.
Definitely.
And I think Geno Smith had an amazing moment. But on to what happened with the Broncos.
Here we go.
The team you picked to win this week.
Who didn't? Who didn't?
The team for the last month that you've been backtracking on all your statements.
Yeah.
Now you're here back making your victory lap.
I've been backtracking on the Broncos?
Slowly but surely. Oh, I'm a Russ guy. Come on. I always liked Russ.
I do like
Slowly but
Russ.
surely, you've been backtracking on
I do
all
like
these
Russ, but
statements.
there's a difference between what I'm saying and what
Because
you're
now
saying.
we lose to
What
the
I'm-
Seahawks, which, hey, credit where credit is due. Months ago, absolutely, you were adamant about it. It's not that much better of a situation. If that was the case, hey, I'd be here shaking your hand, absolutely. But slowly but surely, all you've done is backtrack. So here, go ahead. Floor is yours.
Where did I have them finishing in the division? Third.
Making the playoffs.
Making the playoffs as the last seed.
We made the playoffs, though.
As the last seed.
Still
What does that have to do with anything?
Because you're talking about where I have them as a prediction for the year. I'm not up here saying they're missing the playoffs. I'm not saying that at all. But this loss was embarrassing.
So Seattle's
it was
making the playoffs.
embarrassing. They're not making the playoffs. I think Seattle, I think they will be maybe a bit better than I expected, but I don't expect them to make this playoff push.
Yeah, you
But this
shouldn't.
was a heartfelt win.
Absolutely.
And they definitely deserve credit.
Oh, no doubt.
And the Broncos deserve to be dismantled, laughed at, and mocked today
why?
for such an embarrassing loss.
Wasn't that embarrassing?
You're
Can I
acting
ask
like
you?
they got 40 clips.
Now, listen.
No, I want to ask you
Now,
this
listen.
really quick.
Let me go on my spiel first.
You just spoke for 5 minutes straight about the Seahawks. I just want to get this question really quick. So you're going to look at the Broncos as a whole, but not highlight the 2 fumbles on the 1-yard line that easily can be fixed, or Nathaniel Hackett not going for it on 4th. Because if you're going to highlight anything, that has to be the only thing you highlight.
And that's what I'm about to say.
All right, here we go.
Consistent defense too. Also,
For second half, we were amazing. Can't ask
After-
for
they're
anything
supposed to be
more.
amazing all game. It's the Seahawks.
I mean, we're on the road. It's the first
They didn't
game.
play in the preseason.
After
That's
watching
true.
the game, my takeaway was Nathaniel Hackett looked overwhelmed.
I'm not going to disagree at all.
But then I started to think about it. And not only did I come away with that opinion, but everybody wants to rag on Nathaniel Hackett. They want to blame him. But the blame goes on Russell Wilson
It just
as
makes
well.
no sense.
It makes perfect sense. And here's why. All offseason long, Russell Wilson has been throwing shots at the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll by saying, I wanted to be in a partnership. I wanted my input to be heard. All offseason long, he's been saying him and Nathaniel Hackett are a partnership. They are buddy-buddy. So if Nathaniel Hackett calls a 4th and 5, he calls out McManus to go hit a field goal. Russell Wilson co-signed that play. He was a part of that decision. It's both their fault. You can't just look at Nathaniel Hackett and be like, oh, he made a terrible call as a coach. Russell Wilson said in a postgame, that was the right call. We have the best kicker in the league. Russell Wilson in that 2-minute drill, he looked like he lacked urgency. There were 4 minutes on the clock, 3 timeouts left. Javonte Williams takes a screen pass for a couple yards on a 3rd and 13 play, 3rd and 14 play, one of those. It's 4th and 5. Russell Wilson doesn't call a timeout. He's looking at Nathaniel Hackett. He's looking all around. He doesn't know what to do. 30 seconds run by on the clock. There are now 20 seconds left on the clock. And now Hackett brings out McManus. Russell Wilson is a part of the clock mismanagement, because if that's Mahomes, if that's Aaron Rodgers, if that's Josh Allen, they call a timeout in that situation. They take command. If that's Peyton Manning, a former Denver Bronco, they take command in that situation.
What they should have done was hurry up to the line.
Now,
That's what they should have done.
When do we ever put the blame on quarterbacks for
For
clock
time- yeah,
management?
I don't know.
wait, hold on.
When have we done that?
I'm not going
Last
to agree
year,
with that.
Tom Brady.
Dak Prescott. That's the only one I would say.
Last
with
year,
the slide.
Tom Brady, remember when he thought it was 3rd down and it was 4th down?
Okay.
That's not clock
It's not
management.
clock management. That's
That
losing track of
is
the down.
game management. That is game management.
Russell Wilson's in the middle of the
And
game
that is
driving
still
down the
clock
field.
management.
I don't think the sense of urgency was the issue. If he went up to the line, it's 4th and 5. There's a minute, 10 seconds left. You have 3 timeouts. If you get that first down, you're on the 35 with a minute left and 2 timeouts. That's perfect.
But the quarterback in that situation is supposed to take control of that situation. A quarterback that just got guaranteed $165 million, that wanted to be in a partnership, that wanted more of a voice offensively.
I don't think
he
you
wanted to
can't
be in
expect
control.
Russ to
Russ-
be clock managing this game,
And also
bro.
at the same time, listen, I don't agree with the call either. But Russ is trusting Nathaniel Hackett here to say, if McManus hits this field goal, we win the game. Yes, it's a 64-yarder. It was unreasonable to ask McManus to hit that field goal. But ultimately, if I'm Russ, I'm trusting my head coach. This guy kicks his field goal, it's over. McManus is not a scrub.
Russell Wilson co-signed the decision. And that's why he deserves blame in that decision making. You can't just say it's all on Nathaniel Hackett if Russell Wilson said, yeah, I'm with that. Now, the truth about Russell Wilson, and this is what I've been saying all offseason long.
See, here
What
we
have
go.
you been? I would love to hear this. I'd love to hear this.
Me.
Let's go.
You're killing me.
Let's go.
The truth about Russell Wilson, you guys ready?
Oh, my God.
The truth about Russell Wilson is that he is a soon-to-be 34-year-old quarterback who's 1-3 in his last 4 playoff games. The last win coming 2 years ago against a Josh McCown-led Eagles because Carson Wentz got injured in that game. Russell Wilson was carried to a Super Bowl by the Legion of Boom. In that playoff run, he averaged 174 yards per game and had 3 touchdowns in 3 games. He was carried to that Super Bowl. And in 2014, when they went to the Super Bowl again, he was horrible. He threw 6 touchdowns, 5 picks, and threw the interception that lost the Seahawks the game at the goal line to Malcolm Butler. Not to mention, every single offensive coordinator that he's been with has gotten fired. Usually when you're with a great quarterback and you're an OC, you get a job. Kyle Shanahan with Matt Ryan, MVP season, he got a job. Mahomes, Bieniemy, his name has been in head coaching circles for a long time.
You think that's Russell Wilson's fault, who has been a consensus top 5 quarterback outside of last year?
Now. Kevin O'Connell.
See, but you're talking.
no,
That's
Kevin-
not
Kevin-
hitting.
Kevin-
It's not
Kevin-
hitting.
Kevin O'Connell.
Not hitting.
Nonsense.
Kevin O'Connell with the Rams. Stafford gets a job, Minnesota. Every single one of Russell Wilson's OCs has gotten fired.
How many OCs
And
did Stafford
listen,
get hired?
How
many OCs did Stafford get hired?
He was always in a bad situation in Detroit.
Okay.
Seattle's not a bad
All right, bro.
situation.
It's gotten
They
to
won
that
a
point where
Super
they
Bowl.
were. Yes.
Shouldn't that
because
tell
they-
you more about the coaches than Russell Wilson, who's been a consensus top 5 guy, and you're saying he never got an OC a job? Who the fuck cares?
Now listen to this.
Yeah, what are you
they
saying?
haven't had
exactly?
great OCs. They had Brian Schottenheimer for years.
Russell Wilson's best 3-year stretch came with Brian Schottenheimer. And now, here's where I notice Russell Wilson is more than meets the eye. His best 3-year stretch came with Brian Schottenheimer. When Schottenheimer was fired in 2020, Russ was asked in a press conference about it, and he said that was Pete Carroll's decision.
He clearly wasn't happy.
But behind the scenes, Russell Wilson pushed hard for him to get fired, yet blamed it in the public eye on Pete Carroll.
For all we know, Pete Carroll could have told him to do that.
The fact that Pete Carroll
None of
was
us is
able
saying.
to win this game against Russell Wilson in his return in Denver was an all-time embarrassing moment.
No,
it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
This shows how great Russell Wilson is.
After everything Russell Wilson
really
has
does.
done to tear down his relationship with Pete Carroll, former teammates in Legion of Boom, Richard Sherman's throwing victory laps right now over Russell Wilson's demise.
But they've never liked each
His
other.
teammates during those runs didn't even like Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson, towards the back end of the Seattle days, became a me guy. I want to win MVP. I want to build my legacy. I want to do this. Pete Carroll was about the team. Tom Brady doesn't go around and say, I want to be MVP. He says, I want to win a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson cares about his own legacy, his own accolades, his own individual success. And all offseason long, I've been saying about the Broncos,
Matthew Stafford leaves the Lions, and you don't hear a lick of this.
this team, the Broncos, were overhyped. New OC, new head coach, new DC, new special teams coordinator. I've heard from you all offseason, Drew. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Oh, the defense, even without Vic Fangio, will be fine.
Our offense looked fine yesterday. We fumbled on the 1-yard line twice.
You're overreacting like fuck,
Bro,
bro.
you're talking
overreacting
nuts.
Crazy.
Like
you sound crazy.
we went out there and scored 0 points. Like we didn't move the ball at all.
You scored 16 against the Seattle Seahawks.
We fumbled twice on the 1-yard line.
That's
What
crazy.
type? And the play calls on those plays.
It's a
were
handoff to Melvin Gordon.
in shotgun at the 1-yard line. A shotgun handoff. A handoff in shotgun. You're not even running. It's not even a single back formation. At the goal line, it's a shotgun carry.
I don't hate it.
Nathaniel Hackett, listen, he looked overwhelmed and he was out coached. And that is a big concern going forward because In the NBA,
In the first half, the Seahawks came to play, no doubt. In the second half, they did nothing.
in the NBA, maybe you can get away with not having a great coach. Even now, we're looking at with the Nets. They can't even get away with it, and they're super talented. In the NFL, if you don't have a great coach, you're not going to win. The Broncos right now, yeah, I would be concerned because Nathaniel Hackett, I'm not trusting him to be a great head coach. What are his credentials outside of being the OC for Aaron Rodgers and coaching the Jaguars or Blake Bortles? He has none. Every coach is this their first time doing the job. And your talent on paper doesn't stack up with the top teams in the AFC. And not to mention the defense. I told you the linebackers are mid. Tight ends caught eight catches for 102 yards against your tight ends.
What do you mean? It's not you told me. We all knew it collectively.
Yeah, Will Disley also had a broken 50-yard touchdown. It was half the yards.
All of those things are working against Denver. And not to mention Russell Wilson hasn't been a winner in the playoffs since the Legion of Boom days. You love to rag on Aaron Rodgers about his playoff miscues. What about Russell Wilson?
I've been very vocal about it as well, and even still, his teams.
He knows his issue. He always brings up shit from 10 years ago. Matt Ryan MVP, Russell Wilson in 2014.
Fair, Russell's teams have been that good.
We know Russ is a much better quarterback today than he was in 2014.
What did Russell Wilson do his last playoff appearance?
He wasn't great.
He was ass.
He wasn't great.
He was ass.
And Russell.
Okay, so
and
if
Aaron
next
Rodgers,
week
right?
when they play Houston, first of all, Russ put up fucking 350 yards, 70% completion, touchdown, no turnovers. He looked great.
And we had some drops in the end zone.
They had some drops, and also they weren't as aggressive as I want. Javonte had 11 catches, but Javonte is probably their best offensive weapon as a whole.
I don't disagree.
Russ looked phenomenal. I don't know how you could take away from this game and be like, I don't know, man, Russ struggled in the playoffs 2 years ago. Okay, I don't give a fuck.
That's not my takeaway from the game.
Your takeaway is Nathaniel Hackett.
No,
really?
His takeaway is that he's blaming Russell Wilson as much as we're going to blame Nathaniel Hackett.
My takeaway is, for one, Denver's coaches are overwhelmed. I'm not buying it on the coaches.
But can
I haven't bought it on this roster all offseason long. This isn't new.
This is week 1 Monday Night Football. This is Pete Carroll's Super Bowl. Week 1 against Denver, against his old quarterback. He's been hyping up this coaching staff and this team the entire offseason for this moment. They went out, they played well, they did their thing.
And Russell Wilson hasn't been marking this on his calendar?
Of course he has.
Did Russell Wilson not come into this game with a chip on his shoulder and want to show up Pete
Who's
Carroll?
doubting that?
Of course he has.
And ultimately, Pete Carroll won the matchup.
Okay, if next
Pete
week,
Carroll,
if they go out and fucking 30 clip Houston, are you going to come back here and be like, Hackett's a great coach, Russell Wilson can be MVP? Because you can't overreact one way and not overreact the other just to fit your fucking agenda.
Who cares, for one? Who gives a fuck about Houston? That's for one.
No, I understand where he's going
if
with
you're
this.
losing to Seattle, that's a problem. Is that not a problem?
It's 1 week, bro.
If you're tying,
it's 1 week.
But if you're tying the Texans, who are going to be one of the worst teams in the league, right?
The Colts
who are part of your agenda, wouldn't it matter if they go and smoke the Houston Texans? Wouldn't that matter?
Not really.
Because this is a team, you look at the Indianapolis Colts,
there's a difference.
who could go to the Super Bowl.
With the Colts,
a team that tied the Texans, who are arguably the worst team in the league.
With the Colts, it's a difference, and we always love to compare these tomatoes to oranges. It makes no sense.
You're saying who gives a fuck? I get where he's coming from.
Frank Reich has already proven himself as a good head coach. Anybody here doubt that Frank Reich is a good head coach? Anybody here doubt
he's
that?
He's a solid coach for sure.
He's fine.
Do the Colts not have
what's he done in the playoffs?
A proven plethora of good players on a roster
you want to talk about fucking Russ in the playoffs? What's Frank Reich done as head coach in the playoffs?
Well, I'm not talking about Frank Reich in the playoffs. I'm just talking about Frank Reich being a good coach.
He's a good
coach. What he's done in the playoffs? 2017 Eagles, he was the OC. Okay, Nick Foles went on a historic run.
I said head coach.
Yeah, but he was calling the plays.
I said head coach.
What did Nathaniel Hackett do anywhere?
He got a job after that because he won the Super Bowl because he was the OC.
Okay.
He was not the head coach.
Was he not credited for Carson Wentz's MVP season?
He wasn't the head coach. He was a great OC. Being a head coach is obviously different. Nathaniel Hackett was a fucking great OC. He was with Rodgers.
The Colts, for one, we're making this a Seattle versus Colts thing. It doesn't need to be that. But for one, I'm just going to say this.
Because you're overreacting way too much.
It's not overreacting. The Colts, this is the one thing about the Colts. Andrew Luck retired abruptly. He left them without a quarterback. They had to start Jacoby Brissett. The Colts have been in quarterback turmoil
just like Denver
for the last 5 years.
Just like Denver's.
Yes, but the Colts have actually been competitive. They made the playoffs with a last year Phillip Rivers.
We won a Super Bowl.
They barely.
The year we had a decent quarterback.
We're talking about the last 5 years.
Okay, so fine. You say 5 because if you go back 6, we have a Super Bowl there.
Since the Broncos had quarterback turmoil, what has happened? You guys have not been competitive or made the playoffs. The Colts, despite the
have been
quarterback
first-round
turmoil,
exits.
Year after we won the Super Bowl,
have
we
been
went 5-0.
competitive.
In a much, much, much easier division, while they're in one of the hardest divisions in the league with the fucking Chiefs.
But ultimately, this is about the Broncos. And yes, losing to the Seahawks is embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
You can underplay.
I'm not saying
you
it's
can
not.
underplay this
Have I
moment
said
as
it's
much
not?
as you want,
Okay.
but this moment is embarrassing.
It's because it's week 1, bro. If Denver goes out and wins the next 4 games in a row, no one's going to even care about this. It's week 1. Can we get a
But
little
my-
bit of a sample
my-
size before we say Hackett's not going to work out?
Yeah, that is a bit of a.
Do you
My
think
thought-
Hackett's going to be a bust and he's going to get fired within a year and a half?
I think he'll get fired within 2 years.
Like off one game. Off one game
And
where
one
he
miscue.
really wasn't
It was-
bad.
no,
it was just the
one
last
miscue.
drive.
It's not one miscue.
This game matters.
What
though.
other
It
instances
matters,
do
but like,
you
it's one
Nathaniel
game.
Hackett
It's
had
important. That division, you need every
Of
game.
course.
This is important.
Nathaniel
Of course, but
Hackett.
it's-
Nathaniel Hackett
You're basing
had
a lot
10
off one
plays
game.
within the Seahawks 10-yard line on 3 different drives. Nathaniel Hackett had 30 plays within the Seahawks 10-yard line
What are the odds
to
that
get a
happens again?
touchdown.
Judy-
0 touchdowns.
Doesn't
Judy
that
had a-
seem insanely unlikely to ever happen again probably all season?
And it's fine. It's fine because this is how you
It's
can
an
look at it.
outlier, bro.
30 plays.
It's
This
an
is
outlier.
30 plays.
This is how you look at it.
30 plays.
Judy
Wasn't
had a
good
drop.
yesterday.
Judy had a drop. One of our tight ends had a drop. That's 2 plays where we immediately could not even be talking about this at all. But it's plays that you look at and you want to blame Hackett. You want to blame Russ. Listen, I'm not saying that our boys were perfect at the wide receiver. Yes, they played well, but they made some crucial mistakes. Judy dropping that ball, I gave him a lot of praise. He needs to bring that in. Our tight end, you can't expect him to have footwork and toe tap that catch on the sideline, especially when Russ is throwing the dart, but he makes the catch, does not get his foot in bounds. If these 2 plays happen, we're not even sitting here talking about this.
Did you not say that Nathaniel Hackett needs to be fired after yesterday's game?
Bro,
was
come
being
on,
hyper-
man.
No, I'm just
Come
curious.
on.
Obviously
Did you not
joking.
tweet that?
That was my last tweet
joking.
before I went to bed.
He brought
I
up the
was
tweets.
sick as
Yeah,
I
I
wrote.
know.
Heartbroken isn't the word. Nathaniel Hackett needs
I
to be
see- I
fired.
peeped.
Come on,
Let's not sugarcoat it though. Nathaniel Hackett was bad yesterday.
shitty.
he had one bad
It was
moment.
really
He
the
didn't
last
have a
drive,
bad
bro.
moment.
It was a bad moment.
The
He was-
offense was moving.
He didn't
The
have just
offense was
one bad
moving.
moment against 3 rookie corners, bro.
Okay,
choked.
but he
the receivers
choked.
and Cortland Sutton, Jerry Judy
Against
they looked
3 rookie
fine.
corners.
Albert
Okay,
O played
but
very
the
well.
offense, you expect the offense to
In
be
the
bad?
red zone, they
Hold
did
on.
not score a
So
touchdown.
The offense
They
looked
did not
really,
score a
really
touchdown
good.
in the red zone.
But just because they played 3 rookie corners, like we don't care. Like
They
the
did not
offense still
score a
looked
touchdown
great.
in the red zone on 30 tries.
I know. Don't you think it's an
30
outlier?
plays.
Do you
He
think that
had
happens
2
again?
drop touchdowns.
I think that's a bad. I think
It's
if that's
probably
Matt
an
Ryan,
outlier.
I think if that's Matt Ryan, you're
Oh, the
you're
team that
shitting on
tied
his
with
red
the
zone
team that tied with
efficiency.
the fucking Texans.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. We know
Like
the
the
Colts are
Texans
bad
are
week
just as
1.
bad as the fucking Seahawks, bro.
Yeah.
So what's the issue? Do you have any like hesitations about Matt Ryan, Frank, like any of this shit?
I think the Colts, it's an embarrassing loss for them too. It's an embarrassing tie.
It's 1 week. I'm not over here being like Denver's down the like, bro. It's 1 week.
I'm not saying Denver's.
We know
Because
how- we know how
ironically,
week
I'm not
one
saying
we're not even
for one-
talking about the Colts
for one,
today. We're
I'm
not even talking
for
about
one,
them.
because it's really. I know it's an embarrassment, and
But we're talking about
If
Russ
the
because
Colts-
obviously he's bigger
Because we know the
news.
Colts aren't doing
because
shit
Broncos
this
are
year.
actually something.
no,
know the
it's
Colts
not.
aren't doing
We're
shit,
talking about
bro.
the Broncos because the Broncos played on Monday Night Football as a primetime game, and the Colts and Texans was a 1 p.m.
But
slot.
we would happen
That's
to,
why we're talking
we
about
happen
that.
That was
to
a very
fit-
important game.
No,
That's
I'm
why we're
not-
talking
and
about
I'm not
that. This
disagreeing.
was an important
but we
game.
happen all off season to fit in the Indianapolis Colts
it's the
here
Colts
and
and the
there
Texans.
because
It's
we have
off-season talk.
narratives. We have
That's a divisional
narratives.
Yeah, but this ain't. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
not the same level.
Yeah, this
you
ain't-
guys
this
are
ain't
trying to make it the same level. It's not the same level.
We're talking.
And-
we're
and-
talking
and-
about Tua, right?
if
We're talking
Colts-
about Trey Lance. These are 1 o'clock
But
games.
if
Who
Colts
really
and Titans,
cares?
if we flipped
We
in the Colts and
know.
Titans on Monday night,
We
we'd be talking about
know.
the Colts. We would be.
and
Talking about both.
and also,
But this is his
No, we
team,
talking
that's
about
why.
both.
The Colts
And listen,
are not. Like,
no, I'm here to sit here and definitely take heat because listen, I said we were gonna win. I said the Seahawks were gonna be bad.
But I think the
deserve some heat
difference
here,
is, but you gotta, but
we
to
gotta
play
be
devil's
mindful of some
advocate, the
shit, man.
difference is Joel has said on countless occasions the Colts are bad week 1. You thought that, well, we all thought at the table that they were going to wash
That's your whole
Seattle.
takeaway from what he said.
No.
He said it wasn't even going to be a problem.
No, I'm just speaking on
What
why
wasn't
we
gonna be
were
a
not
problem?
talking about the
Them
Colts.
players in the Texans and it was
I never said that.
dude.
No, he didn't say
come
that.
I never said
on.
that.
He didn't say that. He
I
didn't say
literally
that.
said I wouldn't trust this game. The Colts
Yeah,
are bad
he-
week
he
1.
said that.
That's what I've been saying.
That's what I'm saying.
For
In
the past
terms-
2 weeks.
win.
In terms of like
I
just
think the
why we're not
Colts to
talking
win,
about
but
them, that's what I'm
didn't I
saying.
tell you I wouldn't bet on the game?
Yeah.
I know the
Colts.
Colts
He
are
said
bad
that.
week 1.
Pick the
I've been
Colts.
saying that. I've been
So
saying it on the show
does
for the
this
past 2
change?
episodes.
Does Monday Night Football change your perspective on the Seahawks or the Broncos for
Yeah,
the
do you
rest of
still
the
have
season?
Broncos making the playoffs?
I think the Broncos will make the playoffs, but
So this does nothing for you. Any of this?
it reassures me of my opinion already.
That there'd be a
I
playoff
never,
team.
I never had the
screaming.
Broncos missing the playoffs. I had them being the 7th seed. I always said the Broncos would make the playoffs. What have I been saying? They are not the Chargers. They are not the Bills. They are not the Chiefs. The team that you said, oh, Mahomes is going to struggle without these weapons. He's not. He has to prove himself. He came out and threw 5 touchdowns.
He proved it.
Let's stop playing with Patrick Mahomes.
He proved it.
He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in history.
No
First ballot Hall of Fame if he retires today. That's who Mahomes
I played the
is.
same secondary, if we're being honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Broncos, all I've said all offseason long is that they will finish third in the AFC West. My first prediction was they were going to finish last behind the Raiders. And I do think they are closer to the Raiders than they are the Chargers and the Chiefs. I changed it to third. I have
The
never
Chargers who
said
struggled against the Raiders.
I have never said the Broncos were a bad football team. I've only said
overhyped.
they are not. They are overhyped.
Calling Russ
they
a
are
knee
not
guy,
contender
you're calling
status.
Hackett bad.
They are not
all these
contender
accusations
status.
on Russ's character is egregious. Like,
You're saying
who
all
really
these
knows
negative things about Broncos, negative, and at the end of the day, everything's still the same.
All these things
They'll be a
about
playoff
Russ
team. It's gonna
are
be okay.
factual, backed by reporting. It's not. It's not just something grabbed out of a hat. Richard Sherman and those Legion of Boom guys, they're not a big fan of Russ. They're not. It's well documented.
This has been years in the making, though, because it's an offense versus defense thing.
This is also the first time I ever heard you bring this up.
You gotta save it for a big time moment.
Okay, I guess
Can't
so.
just let go of my ammunition on a little offseason talk. We're in the regular season now. This is big boy league. Now here we
That's why I'm not
come.
moved. That's why I'm not moved.
Yeah, I'm not moved at all by this week 1 loss. Not at all.
And listen, what you said was right, though. They can bounce back against the Texans. I'm assuming they bounce back. But ultimately, I don't care about a game versus the Texans. I care about the games versus the Chiefs versus the Chargers.
But you care about the Seahawks game
Yes.
a lot.
And listen,
Different vibe.
you didn't let me finish. I'm about to finish, but you're cutting me off my
you
sentence.
spoke for like 15 minutes. We let you talk a ton.
Even so, I don't need you guys finishing my sentences. The Seahawks,
Man, watch
the,
it.
Se-
Like, you
the
so-
Seahawks
You kill
are a
me, man.
meaningful game because that is Russ's return to Seattle. It's not
Did he
that
play
hard to
bad?
understand.
Can I ask you?
he played great.
No.
I don't
Did
think
he play
Russell
bad?
Wilson played bad. I don't. But I think that in the red
Did
zone,
he play
didn't
anything
capitalize.
less than the word good?
Russell Wilson had an amazing game.
Then what's the whole point of this tangent? Because if Javonte and or Melvin Gordon get in the end zone, we're having completely
What's your
different
what's your line
discussion.
that you use? If your grandma had balls, she'd be your grandpa.
And
I use that shit all the time.
But I'm here admitting, yes,
yeah.
we lost. But
All right,
this has
ultimately
nothing to do with
ultimately
Russ.
that didn't happen.
But
though.
it didn't have to do with Russ.
So ultimately, ifs, ands, or buts.
But you're throwing a
we
lot
don't
of
do
blame
such.
on Russ when he had nothing to do with the loss.
I'm not throwing blame on Russ.
You're saying that he has as much to do with the loss as Nathaniel Hackett.
I said
and
the fourth quarter call, the blame is on both of them.
So the reason why I'm saying we lost the game, you're saying that Russ has as much to do with it as Nathaniel Hackett. So excuse me for interpreting it as that Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson have equal blame in it.
I said everybody wants to rag on Nathaniel Hackett when Russell Wilson is involved in decision making as well.
No, I'm with you. You're saying the same thing I just said in a different manner.
If we are ragging on Nathaniel Hackett, we have to put some blame on Russell Wilson as well because he co-signed that play.
He played amazing. I'm
Yes.
not putting blame on Russ.
You can, and I've been told on this show multiple times, you can play amazing through 3 quarters, but if you fumble in that fourth,
choke.
you're a
But
choker.
did he fumble?
He fumbled the clock management. He didn't call a timeout.
Dude, why is he going to call a timeout there?
Why wouldn't he if it's 4th and 5?
I don't know when this started where quarterbacks are responsible
Bro.
for clock management.
The best ones are. The elite ones are.
In that situation, it's on the coach.
Is Russell Wilson not an elite one?
Russell Wilson, it's hurry up. It's 4th down. He's getting the play call in his headset. He's going up to the line. They're running hurry up. He's trying to see what the defense is doing. He's trying to get his guy set up, and he has to call a fucking timeout.
It's
too.
it's 4th and 5.
Like, that's Hackett.
It's 4th and 5. You know the clock is running.
That's
if you,
Hackett,
if
bro.
if you are in a hurry up situation, it's 4th and 5. You are the elite. You are Russell Wilson. You understand the moment, and you're like, we need to talk this through. The best ones call timeout. This is
coach
not just
should've
me
called it.
They
saying
did
it.
huddle. They huddled.
This is not just me saying it. This is Richard Sherman saying this too. Richard Sherman.
Hackett should have. That's on Hackett.
Richard
to call a
Sherman in
timeout.
our quote said this. Peyton Manning gets that timeout off.
Sure,
Tom Brady
fucking-
gets that timeout off.
Talking about
Those
two of the
great ones
top
get that
4
one off.
quarterbacks
If
ever.
you
Why
want
are
to
you
put
just reiterating what Richard Sherman said, though?
because he made a great point, and I don't want to make it my own. That was a great point by him. The great ones make that decision. And Nathaniel Hackett, who's a rookie head coach, yes, you put the game in the line on a 9-time Pro Bowler and Russell Wilson, 8-time Pro Bowler, whatever it is.
He should have.
We know he's one of the elite guys, but Russell Wilson also has to take command in that moment.
Russell led a great drive up until that point.
What are your thoughts, Riff?
And they didn't finish.
Do you think it's on Russ to call a timeout there? Or do you think it's on the head coach with Russ having a million other things to deal with on the field with the clock running?
You speaking specifically on that drive?
That
in general,
play,
whatever you want. Yeah.
I think it's both of them. You obviously give the blame more to the coach. It's probably I'll probably like 70-30.
Okay.
Hackett gets 70. Russell gets 30. Because he's right. The greats, even though he named two of the damn near
Best
greatest,
ever.
yeah,
Yes.
the greats do call that. But it is up to the coach because Russell has a lot to do. But it's both of them. They should have definitely. One of them should have did it. One of them. So I'm so confused, man. I don't know. Like this is. Like, I don't want to make it a big overreaction to week 1, but this is important because the division is fucking tough. The AFC is tough. Every win does matter. Like, this ain't 82 games in the NBA season. This is 17 games in the NFL season. These are the games you got to win because those 50-50 games against the Raiders, Chiefs, those are the tough ones. Now you just blew one against the Seahawks. Tough game. For me, I just think I don't think Hackett's going to be as bad as he was yesterday. I think he was really fucking ass yesterday. And I think the defense was just inconsistent. First half, didn't play good. Second half, turned it up. Chubb came alive in the fourth.
Great.
Yeah, so I think just they have to, like you said, this is a new team. They have to be consistent. They have to bring the consistency together. They have to get the continuity together. If they can get that together, they can make a run. But those linebackers, like I said, this team has some weaknesses. Those linebackers were pretty shitty yesterday.
They weren't great.
Jerry Jeudy was making drops. Like he wasn't making no catches.
And that last drive, he had a bad drop.
Yeah,
that shit hurt.
About, it was like a yard away from the first down.
No, he would have definitely had the first down. He just dropped
both your running backs fumbled
at
the 1 yard line. It just like
Listen,
Denver. That's tough, man. That's a tough loss.
You could say what you want about Hackett. You guys punted once. You guys had field goal, punt, touchdown, field goal, but then fumble, field goal, missed field goal. You punted one time. The ball was moving. You guys were getting there, but you didn't execute in the red zone.
Scoring.
They didn't execute in the red zone.
And for me, like you say that, and I get it.
His first game as a Bronco, it's going to get fixed.
It is.
But I'm not making excuses. We lost.
Yeah.
But I'm not overreacting
week
week
like,
1.
oh,
That's exactly what I mean.
I don't
by
even
that.
care about the loss in the sense of you guys put up 16 on the Seahawks. That's like
we fumbled twice at the 1 yard line, King.
You guys, Russell played amazing. I agree. The offense. We like to say it looked great, but 16 points on a Seattle Seahawks team with 3 rookies doesn't look amazing to me.
See, you say
even
16,
though they fumbled.
Who's their best pass rusher? Can you name them?
Seattle?
The Seattle Seahawks.
That's not great.
No.
You can't.
I just think for a 17-game season,
I was going to say Nwosu was swarming yesterday.
He was good. He's good. He's okay.
I will take my chances for an
Nwosu
offense
was
if I
eating
fumble.
yesterday.
If I punt one time, I like my odds as an offense. That's what I'm saying.
If you punt one time against the Seahawks.
If you punt one time the entire game against anybody in the NFL, you should feel really good about your chance, assuming it's not interception or fumble, right? They punted one time. 2 of those times had to be fumbled.
My difference.
At the 1 yard line.
Here's the difference in when they play the Seahawks and when they play somebody else. If you fumble like that twice against the Chiefs, the game is over. The game is over. The Chiefs will cap. This is the problem. The Seahawks couldn't capitalize because they're just not talented enough. But against a team like the Chiefs, against a team like the Chargers, the Bills, you do this to them, they're going to capitalize and the game is over. This is why you got to fix that shit.
That's why I like them playing Seattle early on. Get these, fucking habits out the way.
They got the Texans next week, so fix
it. It's just funny to me. Like you guys mentioning those miscues by them and, it's not going to happen again. Oh, don't overreact to that stuff or whatever like that, right? And that's with the first-time head coach and Nathaniel Hackett, first-time OC, first-time DC, first-time special teams coordinator, all that other stuff. But all offseason, Drew, you have needed Mahomes to show you. Although Andy Reid is proven, Mahomes is proven, offensive line is proven, Kelsey is proven. So how come with me, with the Broncos, it's a problem when I'm questioning them after week 1, but you've been questioning the Chiefs, who have a track record of proven players and head coaches and OCs?
A lot of my issues with the Chiefs prior to the season was that they lost a top 5 receiver in Tyreek Hill. And they came out and punched the Cardinals in the face, they do have one of the worst secondaries in the league, but, you give credit where credit is due. Mahomes was absolutely all world. The reason why I only have a problem with what you're saying is because you're attacking Russ's character. You're trying to get rid of Nathaniel Hackett after game 1. I'm fine with your questions. You had questions last season with all the things that I had to say to you with my agendas. Same thing, vice versa when it comes to yours. That's natural. I don't have a problem with it. Only thing I have a problem with is you're trying to attack Russ's character off reports that you've read. We don't know who Russell Wilson is as a person. Let's be honest.
I'm not attacking Russ's character.
And when it comes to Nathaniel Hackett and you evaluate him off last night, I think we just need to take into heavy consideration that we fumbled at the 1 yard line twice. I agree, Nathaniel Hackett folded at the end. I made my initial claim with that. He should have called timeout. We should have went for it. That being said, I don't look at the entirety of the game and think Nathaniel Hackett was ass. I don't think that.
If you are not good in the red zone, that is concerning.
But we had some drops. That's not on Hackett. The players have to
The
execute.
Javonte Williams play was tough.
Are the fumbles and drops on Hackett?
But that's
running
what I'm wondering.
running a draw play shotgun when you're at the goal line is
I don't think it was
pretty
a draw.
dumb.
I
He
think
was
it was a
he was
It was
right.
on a shotgun,
But
it's a pretty
But
dumb
Melvin
play.
Gordon is one of the bigger backs in the league. He has the opportunity to get in. Javonte Williams led the league last season after breaking a tackle, yards after the broken tackle. Like, you trust these two guys.
I understand what you're saying, but the play call I didn't like. You are running out of shotgun.
We see plenty of touchdowns from shotgun on the one.
Yes,
bro.
but
we saw multiple on Sunday.
Javonte Williams, he needs to be in a single back formation, running in stride, getting the ball, not getting a handoff in shotgun. You have significantly more momentum when you're running in goal line.
People score like that. People scored like that on Sunday.
I'm not saying people don't, but I don't like those play calls. I don't like those play calls.
I don't hate it because it at least spreads out the defense. At least you don't have all 11 people on the line of scrimmage. You have a couple guys on the outside. That's why I don't hate it, and we see it succeed in the, in other games.
And
Just
even
great
if
plays by
even if
Seattle,
and
man.
also even
shout out
if
to Seattle.
even if Javonte doesn't fumble, he got stopped on that play. He
did.
wasn't getting into the end zone.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
facts.
And
Melvin though,
The
Melvin might have.
No,
the
Melvin, yeah.
defense had a free runner on the play too.
No, the
Javonte
Javonte
didn't
play
get it, no.
that
He
wasn't
didn't
even
get
that wasn't
That's
even
why
close.
I'm saying I don't like the designs of it.
I'm not-
I don't like
I'm not
the designs
completely
of it.
disagreeing.
And before I move on, the Russell Wilson like attacking his character thing, that doesn't sit well with me because for one,
That's what's happening.
I'm not attacking his character. It's well documented why he left Seattle. He left Seattle because him and Pete Carroll have a difference in philosophy. That is a fact. Russell
but that
Wilson
has nothing to do with him wanting MVPs, him wanting the accolades. No.
Yes,
It has. He
because
wants more
It does
to do.
because Pete Carroll at that time, he was focused on the team, winning a championship. He wasn't focused on the numbers. Russell
They
Wilson
let it go like that for years, and it led to nothing. And they refused
until
to change.
after they had to pay Russ big time money, which of course he deserved it. But when Russ got paid, let's also keep this into perspective. When Russ got paid, he wasn't viewed as this consensus top 6 quarterback.
And here's the thing that I'd love. I really do. Because Matthew Stafford got paid. The Lions roster got significantly worse. They didn't even sniff the playoffs. Russell Wilson's so damn good that he got paid, and they at least still were a perennial playoff
Team.
Thank you. They were a perennial playoff team. So yes, and I'm with you. They didn't do much. But doesn't it speak volumes to Russell Wilson himself? Because Matthew Stafford left a situation pretty similarly where nothing was going to happen with his career in Detroit. At least he felt that way. Why can't Russ feel similarly with Seattle and want to move on? And suddenly it's a character issue.
I don't have a problem with him moving on. I have a problem with how he left the organization.
But how?
And that's
What's
why
the difference?
I had no problem with the Seahawks booing
Can I ask
Russell
you,
Wilson.
what's the difference between how he left and how Matthew left?
Is because Russell Wilson left to win MVPs, to win individual
How
accolades.
do we know that?
Matthew
How do
Stafford,
we know that?
Matthew Stafford
Can
left
you
to win
answer
a
me?
championship.
Answer me. Russell didn't leave to win a championship.
In Denver?
Russell left Seattle to win MVPs.
Yes.
Where are you
wanted to be in a
getting
more,
this?
he wanted to be in a more pass heavy
Where
system.
are you getting this?
He wanted to be in a more
There's a
pass heavy
difference here.
system.
You
Maybe
could be
he
in a
just feels
pass heavy
like
system and
that's
still
the way
want to
to
win
win.
championships. Russell Wilson, when he said he wanted to win MVP, it's because the reporter asked, "You're in MVP contention. What do you think?" He said, "I don't want to vote. I want to win." Is that so bad to say?
And also behind the scenes,
Okay, it's
just
not.
how
Thank you.
he operated in the firing of Brian Schottenheimer, in saving face, and blaming Pete Carroll. I was not fond of that. Is it not a bit alarming that the teams that Russell Wilson won with, the players don't like him on those teams? Isn't that
It's
a bit
handful
alarming?
of players, bro. Like, I feel like the majority of players, if you went and asked all of his teammates, I would say fucking 95% like him. But the ones that make headlines are the players that don't like him.
Only the leader, Richard Sherman, on the team.
At the time, yeah, he was the
who
leader.
was the heart and soul of Seattle.
He was the best player on the team.
Yeah.
Best corner in the
Only
league.
him. And how much pull do you think he has in the locker room?
A ton.
It was literally the defense dividing with the offense.
You think if you asked every player playing in Seattle from 2014 to 2021, 90% of them wouldn't say they love Russell Wilson?
I'm not saying 90% of them. I know DK loves Russell Wilson.
Like,
but
bro,
I'm saying
there's
he's been
some players
at
that are gonna
odds.
like.
He's
Does
been
everyone
at
have
odds.
to like love him?
And not only that, Russell Wilson not winning a playoff game in 2 years is a fact. Him not performing in the playoffs in the past couple of years has been a fact. That's not fallacy. That's not a lie. That's
New
a
situation.
fact.
New situation. Now let's see what he does.
Yeah, let's see what he does with the new head coach, first time head coach, first time OC, first time DC, and first time special teams coordinator. To me, I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't sound like a recipe for
I don't have him
success.
getting in the playoffs. So.
You know?
Nah, I didn't.
Did you have Miami over there?
I had the Raiders getting in.
Both 0-1.
Yeah, no. What they lost? One lost to the Chargers though, so I'm
Facts.
okay.
Very fast.
Did not have the Dolphins getting in though.
It's a fold.
A bunch of teams
might be,
made
maybe.
big-time additions in the offseason. Which big-time addition did you think had the biggest impact in week 1?
So I actually have two. I have Von Miller. Absolutely was unbelievable. Hey man, we can have both. It's okay.
I ain't mad at you, but God,
It's all right.
Damn.
Von Miller is.
I know you're next
That's my,
one.
but that's my
I'm
guy.
pissed.
Von Miller,
Yeah.
Bronco true and through. He was electric. 4
You should just
tackles.
say one, let us all say one, and then you go back to yours.
All right then. Well, you had Von Miller, unfortunately.
I did. So
Do you have anyone else?
I was gonna say AJ Brown.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because my team, like I said before when we started the episode, I haven't seen a guy break out like that as a receiver
I agree,
since
man.
Deshaun Jackson days. It's been a treat to watch him play. And if you watch him play, he just was a machine, a truck, running people over, making plays. Hurts got to him a little bit late in the first quarter, but he finally got to him.
Definitely.
And then AJ Brown just started cooking. So I'm glad to have that receiver QB tandem because we've been needing it for a long time.
Yeah, the question with AJ Brown was never about talent. We knew he was always one of the most talented receivers in the league. It's just a matter of if you can stay on the field.
It's just I want to see Devontae get some more
Bro,
love.
0 looks
You
was
saw,
insane.
after the game, he went over to Devontae and said, "You'll get yours."
I told you. What did I tell you? Go there was in front
Did you
of him.
see the snap count percentage?
Yes,
He
Devontae played the most.
almost every play.
He was open a few times. Just
It's-
AJ was hot.
Devontae's gonna get over.
Nah, AJ was hot.
Yeah, it happens.
Hurts and Patrick Mahomes were the only quarterbacks, only player who had 300 yards and no turnovers on the day.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts looked really good. AJ was one of mine. The other one who might have had the biggest impact, but I want to highlight because no one's probably going to talk about it, is Sauce and DJ Reed.
Nice.
This was probably the best corner duo in the league this past week. Absolutely shut down the Ravens. The Jets defense looked phenomenal. I know this was 24-9. I think the final score doesn't really, show it. Michael Carter
Highlight the
dropped
whole
a
thing.
touchdown. But they looked really good. PFF had DJ Reed a top 3 coverage grade. Sauce was top 15. They were targeted combined 9 times, only allowed 1 reception for 8 yards. DJ Reed also had an interception. Prior to him, his father passed away as well. Right before he went out into the field, he played great. And Lamar had 230 total yards, rushing and receiving. This cornerback duo for the Jets, the offense can take some time, but the defense right now looks really good.
Mine is easy, and I was afraid one of you guys were going to mention him because I really wanted to highlight him. It's Khalil Mack.
He was amazing.
Khalil
dude.
Mack, I
he
think,
was all world.
made the biggest impact. 6 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, 1 forced fumble. Underrated
Feedback.
storyline is you're facing your old team in the Raiders.
True.
And the fact that Khalil Mack had that dominative game and him and Joey Bosa look like the best pass rushing duo in the NFL, the Raiders offense could have get anything going. And that just shows that the Raiders, they have a lot of great offensive weapons, but that offensive line is a major concern going forward.
Always spamming Tay.
It's still
Yeah.
it ended a close
It-
game.
It was a close game
Yeah.
for sure. But I think that Khalil Mack just showing everybody that when he's healthy, he's still one of the best and most
doubt.
dominant
Absolutely.
edge rushers in the game. I thought he had a fantastic game. I was in awe.
Absolutely. And so I mentioned it. Von Miller was one of mine. 4 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. The team had a total of 7 sacks, 15 quarterback hits. He and his presence was immediately felt. The pressure that they're going to get on quarterbacks all season is going to be electric. And lastly, Tyreek Hill, have to mention him. 8 receptions, 12 targets, 93 yards. His versatility, him moving all across the field, it's just going to confuse defenses. And we already saw that it paid dividends for a guy like Jalen Waddle. The offense is going to be free-flowing all season long. And this past Sunday was just a taste.
So I just thought of one off the top of my head. He didn't he just coming back from injury. Michael Thomas, easily.
Okay.
In the fourth quarter, in the second half, 2 TDs on AJ Terrell, who's one of the best corners in the league. That game was so tricky for New Orleans because they could have been in the same position as Denver,
Definitely,
as the
man.
Colts. Because losing to the Falcons, who are one of the worst teams in the league, same thing with teams like Texans, like Seattle. That game would have been really bad. And at first, it looked bad, but once the Saints started getting it going on the offensive end, you saw that they were a team that could be one of the best teams in the
Who
NFC.
we think that
So,
they could be.
Shout out to
prior.
MT, though. I'm glad he back because he's one of the best.
Absolutely, man.
He in my top 10. I
Okay.
Like 9.
I have an honorable mention then, and it's Carson Wentz. I got to shout out Carson
Respect. 100%. I'm with that.
Wentz. This is the best.
Yo, that's funny though.
That's why he giggled.
I'm gonna leave it at that because that's funny.
This is the best quarterback performance I think Washington fans have seen since Kirk Cousins
in a long time.
has been on their team. 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, 313 yards. I think the best thing about Washington, and I think this might be a team I overlook.
You and me both.
This might be a team I overlook. Last year, I came into the season and I said the Eagles are one of those teams that everybody thinks is going to win 4 to 6 games, but they're going to make the playoffs. The Commanders might be it. And the only reason why is because last year I was high on Washington going into the season. But then as the season progressed, Logan Thomas is out, Curtis Samuel is out, and they're not healthy. Chase Young too. This year, you get back Curtis Samuel. He had a fantastic day.
He was great.
Jahan Dotson as a rookie.
Was excellent.
3 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin had a nice pass. Logan Thomas, he did his thing, and Antonio Gibson showed out as well. This team has a lot of talent. It's really just about Carson Wentz holding it together and seeing what version of Wentz are they going to get.
Also, can't forget about the secondary. Last year it was abysmal. This year, still have some question marks.
They allowed Christian Kirk to go.
That's what I'm saying. That's why even still I'm hesitant on that defense. Of course, did Chase Young end up suiting up? I don't think so, right?
No, he's hurt now.
So that's one thing that I really was interested with Washington, how they were going to come back with missing their key guy on defense. Because without Chase Young, this defense isn't anything that you're worried about at all. Defense still had some lapses, but the offense carried.
Not only that, but like Carson Wentz going up against Jacksonville, the same team that eliminated him in Week 18. I think it was a redemption game, and although they barely pulled it out, I think it was a big time win for Carson Wentz. He deserves credit.
You guys, I think, briefly mentioned it, but Devontae Adams as well was ridiculous. 17 targets, 10 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. Him and Waller got involved. You saw Renfro, which was kind of worried about, get shunned out of the offense. I think he only had 6 targets, 3 catches. But, Tay, first game in there, him and Derek Carr had a real connection, and, they looked really good. His one route was ridiculous. On the left side, oh, my God. Yeah,
he left that dude in the dust. And then he spun off, too. Now, he looked insane. Yeah. He looked very good.
Week 1 overreactions. I have 2. My first one is I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to the NFC Championship.
Respect. I
think they're going to the NFC Championship. Kirk Cousins provided the game ball to Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the GM, for believing in him. Because Kirk Cousins, for the last couple of years in Minnesota, has had a head coach in Mike Zimmer who has bashed Kirk Cousins behind the scenes and has openly vocalized that he didn't really believe in Kirk Cousins. And despite that, Kirk had is having his best years of his entire career in Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell believes in Kirk. I think the defense played better than I would have seen them play last year. And it came to me when watching the game. Last year's Minnesota Vikings blow that game. They lose the lead. They lose that game. This year's Minnesota Vikings hold on to that lead. Now, I know it's against the Packers and it's the Week 1 Packers, so I'm taking it with a grain of salt because Matt LaFleur isn't good in Week 1 historically
2-2
with Green Bay.
Yep.
So against Philly, this is, I think, a test this week.
Game of the week.
Because Philadelphia is one of those teams like Minnesota that they have a roster in place. It's just dependent on the quarterback and how far that quarterback can take you. So I'm looking forward to that game. I think Minnesota does pull it out, but I have Minnesota making the NFC Championship game and Patrick Mahomes winning MVP. 5 touchdowns, 360 yards, 144 passer rating. I think he showed everybody up. And everybody ate. Everybody. MVS, McCole Hardman, Juju, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
The running game looked really good.
Patrick Mahomes completed a pass to 9 different receivers on the team. He spread the ball around, and I think that's Patrick Mahomes at his best. I think he's going to win MVP. And the Chiefs had a 2.89 EPA without Tyreek Hill in that game. That's the second best offensive performance in the Mahomes era.
Bro's a beast. Want to go, Riv? I have one, but I don't remember which one you said you were going to go with, so I don't want to steal yours.
Okay, so go first.
Okay, I'll take the one I'm pretty sure you don't have. I think the Cowboys are going to finish last in the division.
I definitely don't have that.
We're going to talk about them more in depth later, but The offense with Dak Prescott on the field looked terrible. Him and CeeDee Lamb couldn't get anything going. Him and any other receiver really couldn't get anything going. Dalton Schultz as a safety blanket, he's going to be fine, I think, with Cooper Rush or whoever ends up being quarterback, but they had no real explosive plays. The run game was kind of hit or miss. The offensive line looked bad. The defense looked terrible. Leonard Fournette was rushing all over them. And now they have Cooper Rush coming in. Good luck to Dallas. These next few weeks aren't that bad. They play the Giants, Washington, Detroit, and Chicago for the next 6 or 7 weeks. So there's a couple games in there they can win. But with Cooper Rush starting at quarterback, and with the way the Giants looked, the way Washington looked week 1, Chicago got a win, Detroit looked good against Philly. These are games that if they went 1-5, 0-6 over this stretch, calling the season.
Real quick to add on to what he was saying. If Dak Prescott was out for an extended period of time and had the potential to miss the entire season, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, Cowboys could be in contention for the number 1 overall pick. That's how bad they looked against Tampa. That's how bad they are without Dak Prescott. That's all I want to say. Go ahead, Riv.
For me, my overreaction is Von Miller's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think
It's not expected.
I've been
Your takes really has surprised me in a very positive way.
I've been real Bills Mafia for like the past 3 months.
Do you have Josh Allen MVP?
I'm
DPOY?
standing on that. And then I would have said Diggs, but I can't say Diggs for obvious reasons over there in Minnesota. But I just think when Von Miller walked in, you watch that Rams game. I know the offensive line for the Rams isn't that good, but he just made an immediate impact. You saw him going up against young guys, dominating the game, putting his imprint on the defensive end, and him just being a leader on that defense for the Bills is only going to put him in comfortable position to be defensive player of the year. Now, this is overreaction. I don't know if he's going to keep doing this for weeks on weeks, but for the defense to be elite, I feel like to be on a different type of level, Von Miller has to be that type of player for them for the season. So I got him winning defensive player of the year.
Are you going to say your other one? Because I didn't say it.
I didn't say it either because I thought you were.
Oh, okay. So then obviously on offense, I got Jettis winning offensive player of the year. I just think he's the best receiver in the league. Like you talk about Tay's route running. This man was open all fucking game.
4 yards of separation.
It's just
that is ridiculous.
And the way the Vikings are using him is kind of like how Kupp is being used in the Rams. They're using him in every different set and showing you the versatility.
In motion, that first touchdown.
Who's number 91 on the Packers? I'm blanking off the top of my head.
Preston Smith.
Oh, Preston.
Yes. He lined up on Jettis in the slot.
Done.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, for me, Jettis always had the talent. It was just putting him in the right position. And now that he's used the same way like Kupp, I think he's better than Kupp, so he's going to have the numbers. He has the ability. He's the best receiver in the league.
I actually saw this to go.
And that's no slight to Kupp because Kupp had a
Kupp
great
is a
game.
dog.
Yeah, he was
Kupp is him.
And Tay, too. They all showed out to be like,
I'm wide receiver 1.
Jamar was fantastic.
They was all crazy, but Jettis just had a different type of ooze to it. Like it was just
he's not capping.
He just
he's swag. He's like the swaggiest.
He was open every single play.
And to emphasize that point, he never lined up against Jair.
No, he did once, and they called a stupid-ass flag. He cooked Jair. They called it a little push-off. I ain't seen too much push-off. He cooked Jair, though.
I actually saw a tweet from Dwayne McFarland, does some analytics on Twitter. Last year, Justin Jefferson saw 24% of his targets against a linebacker, safety, and primary coverage. In week 1, that was up to 60%. Those targets turned to 5 receptions for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's
Kevin
over.
O'Connell said he's going to use him like Cooper Kupp and motion in the slot. When you have a linebacker or safety on Justin Jefferson, it's game over.
I also want to throw my 2 cents in on your statement. I believe that Justin Jefferson's going to break the receiving yards record. And I don't think that that's an overreaction. I firmly believe that. I think that Jettis is, of course, we saw it last season where Cooper Kupp was extremely close. I just think that Jettis is just at another level than Cooper Kupp. And I think that with this opportunity that he has on top of his skill set, I think he does eclipse Megatron. Now for my 2 overreactions. Saquon Barkley is going to lead the league in rushing yards and in total scrimmage yards. Saquon Barkley is going to lead the league in rushing yards, but also in total scrimmage yards. Saquon Barkley was absolutely all-world against the Titans, one of the best rush defenses in the league, averaged 9 a carry. He went for 188 yards and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley was one of the main reasons why the Giants were able to come away with the W against the Giants. Now, my second overreaction is that Michael Thomas is going to return to top 5 wide receiver in the NFL.
Top 5 is strong.
This past weekend,
I want to know who comes out.
Me too.
This past weekend, we saw him cook A.J. Terrell on 2 touchdowns, but A.J. Terrell is one of those guys last season that basically was an island. You did not throw to A.J. Terrell. A.J. Terrell was lockup. Michael Thomas is true to his name. You can't guard Mike. Winston realized that, oh, wait, I have Michael Thomas. Let me start throwing to him, and that's when the offense started to change. You're looking at both Saquon Barkley and Michael Thomas, that both of these guys have had their names thrown in the mud. This is the year of the comeback. I firmly believe both of these guys will solidify themselves as top 5 respective in their position.
Before you go real quick, I think I think we had a conversation one day when we was on the show, and I asked you about AJ Terrell. I was like, yo, like, you had him top 5. You was like, yeah, when you have an elite season like that.
You don't think twice. Facts, we did say that.
So
Early
my
on.
thing is now, week 1, he comes in and allow those 2 touchdowns in the clutch game against a receiver like that. Being that he was so elite in year 2, there's just it's gonna be a slight downgrade in his.
It was only 2 plays for the touchdown. Joel and I were speaking.
Yeah.
There's one play that Michael Thomas is kind of running.
It's a rub route.
There it is. Exactly. It's
So
a
I'm
rub
just
route where
specifically
he's
talking about
kind of
the 2
running
TDs.
around where Jarvis kind of takes AJ Terrell and kind of he forces AJ Terrell to go around Jarvis, which allowed Michael Thomas to get open. But both times that he scored touchdowns, it was Michael Thomas being the bigger body.
I agree. I think it's just Michael Thomas being fantastic more than AJ Terrell laying up a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like the Saints, they ultimately won the game. It was a resilient comeback, but the fact that their offense didn't get going until the fourth quarter, I think,
Crazy.
against the Falcons, I think is a bit of a concern.
I'm with you.
It's not something that's ideal, but in the fourth quarter, I mean, Michael Thomas
Took over.
It was 4 straight plays where it's a rub route. It's one of like the Saints' best man beaters, and he just runs a wheel, and he has a little bit of space. Jameis drops it right in the
It was
bucket.
a perfect pass.
Another zone beater, Michael Thomas on the right side of the field.
Correct.
He wasn't guarded by anybody. And then the 2 touchdowns on AJ Terrell, one where Jameis high points the ball in the back shoulder throw. Like, those are great plays. And when a quarterback throws a back shoulder to a receiver, it's unguardable if their chemistry
Correct.
is that good. It's hard to guard. So
That's tough because
AJ Terrell,
they haven't played.
yeah, like
So-
AJ Terrell, I think is still a phenomenal corner,
absolutely.
a top 5 corner. I'm not thinking twice
Absolutely.
about
No
that.
way. I'm with you.
And the Falcons do have a young, good defense. I think they're up and coming. In like a year or two, with
Drake
some
London
good
was
draft
nice
picks, they
yesterday.
can be
Drake
a great
London looked
defense.
really good.
I saw you tweeting about their linebacking core. Give him a follow.
Yeah.
Joel V. Moran. 100%.
Their linebacking core is
That
really
film
good.
was really good.
Drake London was nice, and they fixed his face on Madden. Just wanted to let
Did
y'all know
they?
that. Yes.
I tell you what, man, I was
And I
disappointed to
traded
see
a lot
Kyle
of players
Pitts.
on Madden.
No, they fixed all
They
the
don't
rookies.
have their faces.
They fixed Jameson. They even fixed Mechie.
Mm.
So he's still in the game.
Want to do some Boom Fantasy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Dude,
right.
let's
I
go.
traded
do
for
it.
Drake too after I looked at his face. Had to.
He's handsome.
Yeah, your franchise?
Yeah,
He's
Oh,
6'5".
D's crazy.
he's 6'5".
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he looks OD.
Nah, he's
I-
girthy
Yeah, he
as hell.
led all rookies in receiving.
I'm the
70
Vikings, so
70
I
yards?
traded
74.
I traded Thielen from early.
Oh, that's easy. Or you're just taking advantage of the computer at this point.
I don't know, I'm just taking the looks. He has a superstar badge, so automatically, they're gonna say yeah, but I have London and Jefferson.
That's tough.
Mariota had a surprisingly decent game.
He did. Yeah,
The
Rushing
Falcons-
looked bad at all.
Rushing, he was really good.
The Falcons actually graded out as like one of the best pass protection.
They were supposed to win that game.
Pass protection groups
They
in week
folded.
1.
Saints they turned up.
A lot of ass teams really. It was on fire this
It's
week.
week 1, bro.
But
It's
I
week
do
1.
think-
They
Weird
came in
things
for
happen.
blood.
I lost my survivor pool because of the damn Niners, man.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
do agree with what you said though with Michael Thomas and Saquon Barkley. I think that for Michael Thomas for the past 2.5 seasons, there's been a lot of doubt cast on his name and him. For him to come out and have a week 1 performance like that in the fourth quarter was inspiring. And Saquon Barkley, the Brian Dable edition, was huge for him.
It was written in the stars. Brian Dable's an offensive guru. You had to know that he was going to utilize his best offensive weapon.
I just wish Tony was out there. He had 7 snaps.
That was crazy, but when Tony was on the
He
field,
was
he
electric.
was slippery as shit.
But it was the same issue last year with a different coaching staff
You're
where
right.
they didn't want to play him. But when he was on the field, he was clearly
I
their best
wonder
receiver.
if it was worry about injury. I don't know. Maybe they were trying to
Maybe.
got him, but even still, I
But if
think
you're
you got to
that
go
worried,
for
like
it.
if he's only playing 7 snaps, you might as well sit him so you have an extra special teams. You know what I'm saying?
I'm excited as shit to talk about the Giants.
Yeah,
I really am.
Ironically, Saquon Barkley and Michael Thomas were both players we did Would You Rathers on.
We did. DJ Moore easily. What do I say?
Oh, we're not thinking about
Facts,
this.
facts.
I'm just glad
Shout
that
out
I
DJ
rode
Moore.
for the guys because
How
never
many?
doubted
What
them.
MT have? Like 60 yards?
55.
Told people to sit more. I told them.
And you know,
5 receptions,
Saquon
55
Barkley,
touchdowns.
before that game, he was not like before the season and the season odds, he was not even on the board to win comeback player of the year. And after that game, he is a top 5 pick for that award.
Javante or Saquon? Someone asked me that yesterday. I didn't answer. I couldn't give an answer.
I would say Saquon Barkley easily.
Javante looks so fucking good.
Nah, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. You had Saquon 24th on your RB list. Don't think I
So
forgot.
Saquon is now favored to win comeback
Yep,
player of the year
yep.
after not being on the board before the season started.
With the upside that Saquon has, it would be irresponsible of me to say Javante. And I love Javante.
Of course.
more than 99% of the people on Earth.
Yeah.
I can't say
Javonte or Dalvin.
Damn.
These were the names. I was like, I think I'll only take 5 running backs
Dalvin.
over him. Then I listed them, and there was like 8. I was like, fuck. AK?
Right now, I take Javonte, but I don't feel confident in saying that.
Exactly, yeah.
Like even Dalvin, like right now where we stand, I probably would take Javonte because he has he's gonna have more
longevity.
Correct.
For Boom Fantasy, are we doing over and unders or matchups?
Over-unders.
Hot.
We got 4 over-unders. So the first one, Justin Herbert, 283.5 passing yards. If you want to play along, link in our bio, download Boom Fantasy.
I think that he hits the over. I think that the Cardinals was a bad matchup to judge the Kansas City secondary. I think this is a true test, and I think even still, I'm going Chargers. I'm going Herbert over.
I actually saw these odds on the app, and I wasn't a fan. And I'll say this why, because Thursday night game, there's not a lot of preparation. It can go both ways. The defense cannot be prepared, or the offense comes out a little sluggish. Because of that, 280 is a lot. Like 280 means it's a shootout.
And Keenan Allen's most likely not playing, which I forgot about until right now.
But the difference with, like, for me, even though Keenan Allen's not playing, it doesn't do much for me in the sense that Justin Herbert goes through every single read.
That's 100%
He
true.
is such an elite quarterback that he can make a guy like Josh Palmer
Don't
or
say it like
DeAndre Carter
Don't say
have
it like that.
70, 80 yards. Like, it can be.
Throw some respect
It
on
can,
Josh
it can
Palmer's
be
name.
Mike Williams 70, Josh Palmer 40,
Yeah.
DeAndre Carter 30, Austin Eckler 80, Gerald Everett 50. Like, he can dish it out to a lot of guys. So because of that, I'm gonna trust Justin Herbert. I think I'm gonna go to over.
Let's throw some another overreaction. Mike Williams was basically non-existent this past weekend. Are we concerned at all?
That's who Mike Williams is.
And him being a wide receiver 1 now, is that who he is?
I'm not concerned.
He's not a wide receiver 1.
He's far from that.
I think he'll be fine. I'm not gonna overreact.
We know Mike's gonna have games where he puts up 150. He's gonna have games like yesterday.
Mike Williams
He's
is
up and
probably the most overrated wide receiver in the NFL by far.
I think we
so.
rate him fine.
I think there are some fans that truly believe Mike Williams is an otherworldly talent.
Honestly, that's rich because you think Hollywood Brown is really good.
Tough.
I've called him an out of this world
Chiefs.
talent. Come on,
Thursday?
don't play with me.
Mike Williams is not a nobody. I don't think nobody calls him an out of this world
Nah,
talent.
you got to see some of my mentions.
Thursday.
Outside of him,
820?
when he got drafted,
You got to see some of my mentions.
I don't think people say
Yeah,
that.
athletically, he's like a freak.
Now you got to see some of the
I'm
people
gonna
that tweet at
say
me.
the over. I think it'll be a shootout. I think Thursday night we're gonna get a shootout. I'm
right.
gonna say the over.
Moving on, Austin Eckler, 37.5 receiving yards.
Especially
I'm going the over.
Easily over.
Especially because Keenan Allen isn't playing. Hit the
Easily
over.
over.
Moving over to Kansas City side. Patrick Mahomes, 303.5 passing yards.
Over.
I say he has a 350 game.
Damn.
I'm going nutty.
350. Jeez, I'm going over as well.
Last one, Travis Kelce, his number 1 option, 80.5 receiving yards.
Over.
I'm going
Over.
I'm going under. So long as Derwin James is healthy, I think that it's under. But he
Travis
could still have a
Kelce.
touchdown. He could still have a
Over.
touchdown.
I think, yeah, it's Travis Kelce.
It's Travis
Yeah, I
Kelce.
think he's going over.
Sounds good. That was
Derwin James, when they played last, clamped him up. He got hurt. Kelce went crazy. Derwin James is
What
different.
if that happens again?
I mean, I'm not planning on an injury, King.
I respect it. You got it. It's football, baby. Gotta always
That's
remember.
why I don't plan for it. Because anyone can get hurt at any moment.
That is true. Kelsey could also cook Derwin James.
Kelce could also get hurt. That's just right. You want to say football, but that's not how you think.
Well, you just thought like that.
I'm thinking like you, which
Why
we
are you
shouldn't
thinking
do.
like me?
Because I'm trying to tell you that it's not a good way of thinking.
Says who?
That approach could get hurt.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What I mean? I
You're
think I'm
confusing
speaking
me now.
very. All right, just move on.
That was Over Under by Boom Fantasy. If you want to use the link in our bio or description, depending on where you're listening, we have a 2K23 giveaway. If you sign up for Boom, deposit $10, you're entering the giveaway.
This next topic might be an overreaction, or it might not be because I think it's pretty reasonable. Dak Prescott got injured in the Buccaneers game on Sunday Night Football. It's a right thumb fracture. And at first, the report was Dak is out 6 to 8 weeks after the surgery. But Jerry Jones has said that he could play within the next 4 weeks. Well, at the 4th week. I'm not going to say within the next 4 weeks, but Dak Prescott can come back relatively soon. But do you think the Dallas Cowboys season is over as we stand here right now?
The way that they looked on Sunday night with Dak Prescott, the season wasn't going to be what all the Dallas Cowboys fans were hoping for. CeeDee Lamb he showed me a glimpse of what I'd thought but kind of backtracked on, and I'm kind of upset at myself. I don't think CeeDee Lamb's a true wide receiver one. He has to prove it this season. I don't know if he will, especially now that Dak Prescott's going to be out probably a month. Jerry Jones, I think, is trying to save face.
You're saying he has to prove it now with Dak out?
No.
Oh, or when he gets back.
I'm saying in general, he has to prove it, but I'm saying with Dak Prescott being out at least a month, and to talk about that, Jerry Jones could be just speaking hogwash. A broken right thumb's not something to mess with. It's on your throwing arm. I think he's trying to hold out hope for this Cowboys team because he understands that this ship is sinking fast. Defense, it looked all right. Micah Parsons really is just
Oh, God.
You have Aaron Donald. There's Micah Parsons. He's just otherworldly amazing.
Parsons or TJ Watt?
Parsons.
I'd probably go Parsons, linebacker, and probably
TJ Watt was unbelievable.
No, TJ's amazing, but
Sunday.
the fact that he can drop
tough.
into coverage too is
I'd go TJ, but Parsons is 3.
I just see Micah Parsons.
he's a
The
unicorn.
the way he edge rushes, he gets to the quarterback in half a second.
Like if he was
it's
a
literally
full-time,
something I have never
if
seen.
he was a
before.
full-time edge rusher, dude, we're looking at top 2, maybe the best pass rusher in the league, and that's with TJ Watt being as dominant as he is.
Well, just quick question.
The offense looked bad. Zeke came out. He looked very good to start, and then they lost the lead. They couldn't really get in the flow of things. Him and Tony Pollard, I think that Zeke only had 2 more snaps, just outsnapped him. Just the offense as a whole looked very sloppy even before Dak Prescott went out. This is just not a team that I'm in love with going forward. And listen, I like the Cowboys a lot. Joel knows this. I've supported the Cowboys for years now.
Jersey.
I do have a Zeke jersey. Zeke is one of my favorite players. I've loved him since he was even at Ohio State. But I just cannot look at this team right now and think that this is a playoff team.
So week 4 is the Rams.
Week 5. 4 weeks from the injury.
Yes,
though.
yes. So they would play the Bengals, the Giants, Commanders, Rams. That's tough. You know, I think based off what you've seen from CeeDee Lamb last year, going into what you just seen from week 1, I don't think you can say I don't know if he's a true wide receiver number 1. There's just not enough evidence to really support that because Coop just left, and that game 1 was against the Bucs. You know, it was a tough game, and the team didn't look good. It's just him out there, so I don't think you can make that full assessment. But the season's pretty much over. Like I just named those teams. Those are tough games. They can lose to the Commanders. The Rams, I don't think they'll win that game. And then after the Rams game, they got Philly, and then they got Green Bay. So those are another 2 tough games. I just think right now, offensively, they're not going to be good enough to keep at pace. I think the defense is solid, but like we mentioned, when Dak and CeeDee Lamb were in the game, they didn't look good together. The connection wasn't there. CeeDee Lamb he just was bugging yesterday. So I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I think they could finish under the Commanders. We'll see how Carson Wentz looks. He's up and down. He's very inconsistent, but I think this is a team in Dallas who is probably going to have a high draft pick because they're not going to make the playoffs.
This could cost Mike McCarthy his job. Obviously before Dak even got hurt, like we mentioned, the offense didn't look good. And now you're going to have Cooper Rush in, and he's going to be the worst quarterback every game you play compared to the opposing guy. You did mention the Packers play the Packers a few weeks after Philly. It's Lions, Chicago, the bye, then the Packers. So you would think by then, week 10 against the Packers, he should be back. My initial guess was he'd be back after the bye for week 10. I know Jerry Jones came out and said, it's only going to be a 4-week injury. But if you rush him back in 4 weeks as your franchise guy, I'm not a doctor.
The bye is after the Packers, right?
Before. Week 9's the bye, week 10's the Packers.
They got Packers, Vikings,
After
Giants.
that's tough. So if you rush him back too early and he's not 100%, he's not throwing the ball right, you're still probably going to lose games and probably lengthen that injury where he can't get back to 100%. Over these next 4, 5, 6 games, best case scenario, they win 2 games, right? And if you're looking at a 2-6 record heading into the bye week, it's going to be rough to overcome that. Even though the NFC isn't great, the NFC East isn't great, it's just such a deep hole for them. The season's likely over. And for CeeDee Lamb, I also didn't think he was a true wide receiver 1, but I thought this season with Amari Cooper leaving, just the target share he was going to get was going to give him the numbers to make people think that he'd be a wide receiver 1 or in the conversation for that top 10 with the, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, which is probably the tier he's still in.
He should have separated himself
exactly,
from the pack.
but he should have been above them after this season.
Correct.
With that going down, with the targets being a lot less efficient, we're probably going to look at CeeDee Lamb as a high-end wide receiver too.
That's tough. He's a dog. Yeah, sleeping.
The Dallas Cowboys season is done.
I love how you start sometimes, man.
looking at their options at quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo has been a name that's thrown out there. Cam Newton has been a name.
Ugh.
I've even seen Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, okay.
And
I say ugh to Cam
I
Newton.
just
because Cam Newton's been so bad. Cam's a legend. I just want to get that out there.
I'm focused on Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
Okay.
He would come to Dallas, have a worse offensive line, have worse offensive weapons,
Let me hear this.
have a running room that the talent is better, but you trust Shanahan's scheming more than Dallas scheming in the run game, and worse coaching and a worse defense. Jimmy Garoppolo was doing absolutely nothing in Dallas, and I don't think he changes the outcome of these next couple of games more so than Cooper Rush would. He would come into Dallas learning a whole new, brand new system,
This is not what I was
new
expecting.
terminology.
Yeah.
Very tough.
It's not. I just don't think it's feasible for Jimmy Garoppolo to come in and win games. Although people label him this winner, we know he's carried by the Niners.
That's what he did in San Fran. Got traded, won games. That's really what happened.
If they get Jimmy G, it's because McCarthy pushed for it because he knows that I'm screwed with Rush.
For me, I look at the Cowboys and just talking about the Bucs game, they looked bad.
Horrible.
really
If
bad.
it wasn't for Micah Parsons being insanely freakishly athletic and great, then the Buccaneers offense would have had their way. He's what's saving them on defense because he got after Tom Brady. I blinked and he was already sacking
that's
him.
a fact.
The offensive line was horrible. It was abysmal. The wide receivers, the weapons, outside of CeeDee Lamb, there's nobody else that you have to pay attention to. And if the offensive line is bad, it's going to be a direct reflection of Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott's production. Now, I know the Cowboys are a team that everybody likes to laugh at and mock because they are a big-time and passionate fan base. But the truth about it is that Dak Prescott, I feel bad for him. The Cowboys fans, I
agree.
feel bad for them because for as much as Jerry Jones likes to talk a big game about how he wants to win championships and win Super Bowls, he never puts his money where his mouth is. He never restructures contracts to free up cap space and build this team around these quarterbacks. He's now about to waste the careers of Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. Tony Romo and Dak Prescott, are they elite?
Show some respect on Tony, please.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like the Cowboys have had some really good rosters.
They have.
Yeah.
Tony Romo and Dak Prescott, are they elite level quarterbacks? They are not. But they are top 13-ish quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And when you have a quarterback of that caliber, you need to surround them with elite level talent on all phases of the ball. Kind of like how Stafford goes to the Rams and you have that overwhelming amount of talent around him. But you do the opposite. I mean, this offseason, La'el Collins goes, Connor Williams goes, Amari Cooper goes, defensively, Randy Gregory goes, Byron Jones a couple years ago, he goes. They fail to keep talent on their roster, and that's why the Cowboys have so many holes. The Cowboys, outside of Trayvon Diggs, the secondary is pretty thin. The safeties are thin. The linebackers, if you're not talking about Micah Parsons, it's thin. The offensive line is thin. The receivers are thin. This roster is not good enough, and you're tasking Dak Prescott to lead and carry this franchise. And did he get paid to do so? Yes. But you also have to support your quarterback, and I don't think Jerry Jones has done that. And that's not even talking about how Jerry Jones's decision-making in terms of who to hire as head coach has been absolutely abysmal.
That's the issue.
Jason Garrett was the Cowboys head coach for way too long. Had Jason Garrett not been the head coach, they'd probably win in Dak's rookie year. That roster was elite, but Jason Garrett was the coach. And now after you move on from Jason Garrett, you get washed, old up, used goods in Mike McCarthy, who proved he couldn't win in years with Aaron Rodgers, and now you think he's going to win with Dak. Jerry Jones is not taking a risk. He has not taken a risk like Stephen Jones in Miami and going after Mike McDaniel. Minnesota going after Kevin O'Connell, going after Kyle Shanahan. The way the league is trending, he's going for these safe guys, and these safe guys are not getting the job done. And it's either safe or favoritism. With Jason Garrett, It was favoritism. And you saw how that played out. Jerry Jones, I think, has ruined the Cowboys. And year after year, we build up these expectations, but these rosters have holes. I thought they were barely getting into the playoffs this year. With Dak's injury, they're a 6-7 win team. I'd say 6-win team.
That might be nice. I think the biggest issue, like you said, is coaching because they've had really good rosters. I mean, Dak came into the league with the best offensive line, with probably the best rushing attack. Year 2, they got Amari Cooper, I want to say, got him a wide receiver 1. And then later on, they get CeeDee Lamb in the draft in the first round. And even last year was maybe their most talented team, at least offensively. The offensive line staying healthy.
But the defense.
Receivers,
That first
the
year,
defense,
I think that first year.
that's
Dak
fair too.
and
I'm just
Zeke.
saying, Dak. You know what I'm saying? Like
I know
this
what you're
Dak.
The first
man.
year is the only year where I say that's a Super Bowl caliber roster.
That team was
Last
all
year
world.
was more of a dark horse pick. They have the
But
talent.
they had the talent. It's been the coaching. That's been the biggest issue. Is
agree.
Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy. That's why they haven't been able to get over that playoff hump. But the rosters have been good enough. I think if you're Dak, you're a borderline top 10 quarterback. You've had the offensive firepower. At least there's been some years the defense hasn't been living up to expectations. But it's the coaching more so than anything.
I mean, I agree with everything you guys are saying so far. Mike McCarthy last season and his clock management was very poor. And that really was something that you had to highlight, especially in that San Fran game where, yes, I want to blame McCarthy for that, but I do want to blame Prescott for that. You can't slide in that situation and not just run to, or you can't run in that situation as a whole. I think that
This also was a design play, though.
it was, and even then, I still have to look at the coaching for calling that play as well. I get it. You got a great chunk of yards there, but you got to be mindful of the clock. You got to be mindful of how many timeouts you do or do not have. Mike McCarthy is 100% going to be on the hot seat. This team as a whole is not very good, and when you don't have a fringe top 10 quarterback in Dak Prescott leading your team, it's going to lead to some bad things.
Also, when you pay Dak, this is going to what happens too. You're not going to be able to keep
That's
Gregory
facts.
around and Amari Cooper and all these guys. Even though, like you mentioned, the restructuring, like the Rams figure out a way to do it, right? Like the Saints do it. Why can't the Cowboys? But when you pay Dak 40+ mil, which 100% think they should have done, this is the issue you run into.
If money wasn't an issue, they would have gone out and they would have spent some money on Allen Robinson.
and
or
for Dallas, it shouldn't be.
You understand
They
what I'm
could even got Julio for nothing.
For sure.
Facts.
Like Dallas is the franchise that's worth the most.
They
It
had
should not be a problem for them to go out the pocket.
talking
Pay big
100%
time
facts. You understand that Dak Prescott needs weapons around him. You saw what happened when you brought in Amari Cooper and how immediately that changed the landscape of, oh, we can go and win the whole damn thing. And now you put him in a situation where, well, obviously now he's hurt, and in hindsight's 2020, but you put him out there with CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, and you said, hey, man, get it together and make it work for us. You're asking a lot of him.
I also don't want to take away blame from Kellen Moore. I had my
Fair.
question marks about Kellen Moore before the season. I thought
you
he
have
was an average play caller that had a lot of talent as a play caller. And now that first game was an example of Kellen Moore is a very limited play caller. He's not very creative in the playoffs. I remember he sent out offensive linemen to run curl routes, and there was plays where he sent out 2 of them on one play. I think Kellen Moore has been overrated, and that's another example of favoritism. Jerry Jones loves Kellen Moore, and he's favored. But, now when you don't have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Dalton Schultz and Zeke and Pollard, and you just have CD and Schultz in a running game that doesn't have an offensive line, what can you do? And Kellen Moore looked very limited in that game. And I'm not a huge fan of Kellen Moore, and the fact that he was getting head coaching buzz, I think, was ridiculous because I don't think he's a good play caller.
Jerry will have a chance after this year because I don't think he fires McCarthy midseason. Historically, Jerry Jones really has never fired coaches midseason. I think he might have done it one time. So I think he lasts the season, but he'll get a chance after this to, hire a different guy.
But even like Tony Romo, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, Tony Romo did not have great head coaches. He had offensive lines that, for the most part, he was getting beat up.
And did I read this right? Tyler Smith didn't play a single snap in the preseason at left tackle. I think he was only working at guard or right tackle.
Yeah.
And week 1, they finally go and they throw him out there. Of course he's going to struggle.
They drafted him to be the left tackle, though.
And they had an injury on the line too. I forgot who got hurt. One of their guards, I think.
Obviously,
They just didn't put him at left tackle because that's where Tyron Smith is.
And they signed Jason Peters too, who I think they might have been expected to play week 1.
Screaming.
Yeah, I mean,
That man is cooked.
yeah, he's 39. I
40.
think.
old.
He is
Same
40.
thing happened with the Jets though. George Fant was supposed to play. He was all once Dwayne Brown got signed, he moved over to right tackle, play preseason right tackle. Dwayne Brown goes down. Now he's moving over to left tackle. He had a really rough game week 1.
One of the upsets of the week, the Bears shocked the 49ers at Soldier Field. And it was
That's right, man.
underwhelming game by Trey Lance, I can say. A lot of people have said how can Justin Fields outduel you when you obviously have more support around you? Speaking about Trey Lance, and this comes into question, do you think Trey Lance is ready to start? And had Jimmy Garoppolo been out there, is this outcome different? What do you think, Riv?
You got to say yeah, because Jimmy G has the experience, because he's been in the league for a long time, and because it's really just experience. I think Trey Lance, when he played in that game, like if you watch the game back, he missed a couple throws. It was the weather did, I was trolling Dehls the other day because it was just funny because they lost, but the weather did affect both teams. It affected both quarterbacks. Both quarterbacks are young, promising quarterbacks, but that weather, they're not comfortable in playing that weather, and it was a tough day for them. But I think ultimately, like the same way how we talked about the Colts, same way how we talked about Denver, if both teams are affected by a weather and you're the more talented team, you got to come out with that win no matter what. I think Trey Lance didn't get blitzed one time that game, not once. So I think you got to come out with that win. But Jimmy G, I think definitely at that point gets you the win just because of the experience factor and the fact that Lance is not comfortable playing in that type of bad weather. But I think Lance should still start. I think this is his team. You have to make it certain that it is his team. You can't just sit him after one game, and you can't knock his confidence. You have to let him play out. You drafted this guy to be your franchise quarterback. You drafted this guy to save your franchise. Okay, now give him the trust that you want to give him. Let him play. Let him get his feet wet. And this is just one of the first games that get your feet wet, and he played bad, and it happens.
Literally,
one could say he got his feet too wet, to be honest with you. The weather is 100% the reason why I'm looking at this game, taking it, crumbling it, throwing it in the trash. You can't evaluate Trey Lance off this performance. You can overreact to it. You could be hypercritical of him because, of course, you didn't get the win that you should have probably got against an inferior team in the Chicago Bears. That being said, evaluate him as a talent when you really can't sit and make throws off your set throws. You can't really throw the football as accurate as you want to. Trey Lance, who already isn't the most accurate quarterback, you add that extra element where now the rain is just even more of a factor to the game. I can't sit here and blame Trey Lance for this. I can think that as a team, they shouldn't have lost this game. You could look at the defense and think, man, how did you give up as many points as you did? I mean, of course, it's only 19, but even still, this Niners defense is supposed to be one of the best in the league. Trey Lance, I would have loved for him to come out here and play better, but at the same time, the weather it was not written in the cards. For him to make his first opening day start and for this to be the weather that he played in, it's more unfortunate than anything. But I'm looking forward to week 2. I'm looking forward to week 3 where he goes up against my Broncos in Mile High. These are going to be games where we actually can sit and evaluate Trey Lance, the talent. But you can't evaluate anything off this game.
It was really tough, like you said, to evaluate anything. Right when Red Zone started and they panned to, or whatever, we were watching ESPN, and you see the field at Soldier Field is insane.
It was pissing.
It was only like in the fourth quarter, though.
I know. Before we really get into it, 2 things. One, I don't have many takeaways from this game because of the weather. And number 2, it was one of the weirdest games/outcomes because this didn't turn into 49ers versus Bears. This turned into Trey Lance versus Justin Fields. And it was one of the first times in my life where I didn't think either quarterback played particularly well. Given the weather was terrible, which is why I don't think either of them played well. Now, Justin Fields, to his credit, made more plays. He had a beautiful play where he rolled out to the left side.
That throw was sexy.
On the left hash through the right side of the field, a perfect ball. And while given, he was wide open to throw a ball like that in that type of weather where you could barely even grip the ball. I mean, there's throws where Justin Fields can't do a screen pass because he can't grip the ball.
Yep.
The weather was insane. So I don't have many takeaways from Trey Lance / Justin Fields. Fields made a couple extra plays. He got the 2 touchdowns. That's how they ultimately won the game. The 49ers were sloppy. 12 penalties for 99 yards. Elijah Mitchell goes down in the first half of the game. Kittle gets ruled out earlier in the week as well. The offensive line played poor. Credit to the Bears. The Bears had 16 pressures. They played phenomenal. Their defensive line manhandled the offensive line, the 49ers. Not something we were really expecting. And to your credit, you said it was really coming down in the fourth quarter. In the third quarter, Lance was 7 for 12 for 123 yards. What was it? 7 for 12 for 112 yards halfway through the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, once they went down and it was downpouring and he had to throw, that's when he really struggled. It was at one point where Fox had to put they had to edit the TV so you could see the yard line. I mean, the weather was ridiculous. I thought Trey Lance made a couple nice throws. He had to play Juwan Jennings on the left side of the field where it was a beautiful ball over right in the breadbasket. A couple plays to Ayuk as well. But overall, as much as excited I was to watch Trey Lance play. He didn't do anything that's going to blow you away, but I'm chalking it up to the weather. Give him a month, let's see what he has. I'm excited to see next week who they play. They don't play a great opponent. I don't remember who they play off the top of my head.
Denver, right?
No, they play him in week 3.
I got it.
But yeah, this is his 3rd career start in a monsoon. I'm not overreacting
Play
to it.
Seahawks. It definitely could be an easy
Divisional game.
Shout out to Chicago, man.
Shout out, because
They was prepared.
yeah, because everyone, us included, were shitting on them, saying they had one of the worst rushes in the league. I
They
think
still are.
they still are. I think
Undoubtedly.
you kind of trolled, said congrats on your first and only win of the year. If they want to win, they got to win ugly. Justin Fields is going to have some games, but he's going to have some games where he struggles as well, and the defense is going to have to pick him up.
For this to be the way it did with Darnell Mooney being basically
Nothing.
a non-factor, Cole Kmet basically being a non-factor.
I mean, he had 8 completions.
yeah, that's facts.
I'm going to be honest. If Jimmy Garoppolo is playing in this game, the Niners don't win still. I don't think they win. I think Trey Lance extended a lot of drives with his legs that led to first downs, and I think, and that's the same situation, Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't do that. But nonetheless, I thought Trey Lance and Justin Fields both weren't good in this game. I thought Trey Lance, he missed a lot of throws. He was inaccurate, very inaccurate on a lot of short passes. On passes that were 10 yards or further, he was actually pretty accurate. It's just those easy completions that Trey Lance just misses. And Justin Fields, I understand he had those 2 highlight plays, but when you look at what happened in those plays and you look at the film, they weren't very impressive. I mean, Justin Fields...
The rollout was very impressive.
No, the rollout was sexy, dude.
To make a throw in that weather.
That play
honestly,
was hot.
That play, when that play happened, he was 4 for 10, 22 yards, 1 interception.
It was the end of the half, right? End of the first half.
It was in the third quarter.
Third quarter.
Okay.
Before that play, Justin Fields threw an interception to Sean Gibson that was dropped. He didn't make the play, but he threw it right to him. The very next play was the rollout. And, okay, was escaping the pocket good? Yes. Was the pass, overwhelmingly amazing? I mean,
If
he
it
was
wasn't
wide
the
open.
scene out where you cannot grip the ball, I would agree with
Any
you.
quarterback makes that. Any NFL quarterback makes that.
That's
play.
cap.
He
Bro,
makes that.
There was
makes
plays.
that.
There was
all right,
plays.
any
Justin
NFL
Fields.
quarterback
Justin.
makes that pass.
There was
Cap.
plays for
That's
both
not cap.
quarterbacks.
Any NFL quarterback?
Geno Smith makes that pass.
No,
See,
he does
the only-
not.
Yes, he
bro.
does.
All right, see-
he made passes Justin Fields couldn't make
No,
on Monday night.
Yeah, and
But
look at the
what-
weather on Monday night, and then look at the Bears game weather.
But I don't
Stop.
understand what's the point of saying a statement like that. Why can't we just acknowledge that it was a
was a
really
great
nice play and that's it? There's no reason to throw a stone at that.
Because I think 2 of Justin Fields' biggest plays were blown coverages. And is his fault? No. He took advantage
He
of that.
extended the play. If anything, he's the reason why it happened.
You got to give
No,
him credit
he's
for
not
not
the-
looking to run.
Absolutely.
He went out and he kept his eyes down
He's
the field.
not the
and he
reason
found him.
why the defense blew that coverage.
Is he not the reason they scored a touchdown?
I'm so confused.
He's not the reason the defense blew that coverage. Dante Pettis was wide open because the Niners had a mislaps. That's why.
Regardless of Justin Fields to still be composed in that moment, not think, let me run and scramble. Oh, no, I have a guy 30, 40 yards down the field. I think you got to give credit where credit is due. I don't.
Look, it's a
unnecessary
fine
slight-
play, but am I looking at that play and saying, oh, that's the reason why Justin Fields played better than Trey Lance?
No, I'm
It's
with you.
not.
I'm with you.
And even on the touchdown of Equanimeous St. Brown, it was a blown coverage too.
No, I think you're knocking
Talanoa
It was a perfect ball.
Talanoa Hufanga had a pick between 2 crossers. 2 guys were open. It was a blown coverage.
If the weather wasn't god awful, might be the worst weather game of the season, then I would agree with you.
Bro,
But
he's in year 2.
you couldn't see the field.
The weather was
He completed
shit.
less than 50% of his passes.
I know. I'm not saying he wasn't great because they attempted 16 passes. You could not pass the ball in that weather.
The only
You were the guy who on Sunday were saying, why are football players the only people that have to play in extreme weather conditions? Take that into account and give them praise for.
And look at the
for
people he was
the
on the
performance
field
forward.
with. Look who he's throwing the ball to.
they were open.
But he's still making the plays. Like, yeah,
I mean,
he's
you're
open.
telling me look at who he's throwing the ball to.
Hey, I wasn't saying all
I
that.
understand that if they're not getting open. I mean, they were blown coverages.
I mean, even if they were blown, because you still have to make that pass in the rain.
That's a fact.
You couldn't see
I
the
thought
TV.
both. Yeah, I thought both.
you
No,
just-
passes were fine.
During
Pretty
those
good.
plays, the weather was not
the,
that bad.
the weather was bad
Bro,
all
you see
game.
him
It just
running
was, it
and the
got worse
puddles
in the
are
fourth
coming
quarter.
up. Like,
Nah,
if you
the-
went
the
to the
weather was
ground,
bad.
The weather was bad all game.
The screen started to get foggy towards the end of the
No,
fourth
the
quarter.
fourth quarter was
pitching the
horrible,
whole
but the
game.
weather was bad all
Justin
game.
Fields, the Bears scored a touchdown on their first 3 drives of the second half. The weather at that time was not pissing.
But still,
but it was
it
bad,
was not
though.
the first,
puddly.
yes, it was, bro.
At that
You
time, it
literally
was
see
not.
every step they make,
Yeah,
puddles come up. Every time someone hits the ground, they go sliding 15
Trey Lance's
yards.
first series, he was hitting on puddles, bro.
The one
whole
thing I
day.
would say about Lance that he needs to fix, he cannot get hit like this every single time.
That was a
he was their
wild
leading
kid.
rusher last on Sunday, but every single time he had the ball, he got hit. He has to learn to slide because this might last for a few games, but if you want to have a long career in the NFL, you cannot take these hits from fucking Roquan Smith. Like, you're not going to last.
This does not look like a puddle, bro. This was the play before when it was a near interception. This was the play before. That's not a puddle. That's still, like, it's not ideal conditions, but it wasn't
The field
pissing
was shit,
outside.
bro. The ball was wet.
I understand, but he was wearing gloves.
The gloves were wet.
Yeah, but the gloves have more grip than your hand.
Everything's...
So it was raining 4 hours before kickoff.
It started pissing pour rain, like towards the end of the fourth quarter on Lance's like final two drives. That's
But
where it started.
even in
pissing.
the first
Where,
quarter,
like,
you saw
Chicago's an all dirt field too, correct?
probably.
believe so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that also
The field
plays
is
a negative.
the field
It's
is
garbage.
disgusting. I'm not taking it.
It's
I'm
really
not
one of
taking
the
away
worst
from it. I'm
fields
just
in the league.
saying I didn't
could
come
do
away
worse.
from this game impressed by either quarterback.
Oh, I'm
Me
with
either.
you.
I didn't
I'm
come
with
away
you.
from this game from Justin Fields like, oh, those two plays were otherworldly. Like
Yeah.
they were good,
That-
but
yeah.
they were broken. They were bust coverages.
But they were-
the only,
They were great
the
play
only
by a
game,
year two player,
The
bro.
only game that I came away from saying, my goodness, from a second-year quarterback was Trevor Lawrence versus Washington. I watched that game and I said, my goodness, he is next level. Trevor Lawrence is next level. He had multiple touchdowns dropped. I know he had that interception in the last drive, but
ETN dropped an
Trevor
easy one.
Lawrence was otherworldly.
He was great.
That's the only performance that I came away with saying, like, oh my gosh, this guy.
What do you think steps up for running back? Elijah Mitchell's out 2 months. You got Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell. Jeff Wilson's back there. Tyrion Davis-Price.
I think Jeff Wilson, he had 9 carries, 22 yards. The running game really stalled after Elijah Mitchell went out. I think, Price probably.
Elijah was cooking.
Price was a healthy scratch too.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I had to say,
Kyle
I'd probably say Jeff Wilson because he's had the longevity on this team. Yes, he had a couple injuries here and there, but when he's been healthy, he sees burn. I think the Niners trust him more than anyone else right now.
I will say I was impressed by the 49ers and Bears game, but with particular players. Like with the Bears, it was Dominique Robinson, their rookie edge rusher. I thought against Mike McGlinchey, Trent Williams, he was phenomenal. Jaquan Brisker, I think, made some plays. But honestly, in that game, the standout for me was Talanoa Hufanga. Talanoa Hufanga was everywhere.
He was.
I mean, 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 4 run stops, which is the most of any defender this past Sunday, this past week 1. 1 pass defended. The only miscue was on the broken play touchdown, but he didn't have a choice. He had to pick a crosser. He was stuck. Fields looked him off, so I give some credit, but it really was pick your poison. He couldn't really choose a right decision at that point. And I'm not going to lie, like this guy, watching him, he came out of USC. I watched him, and in that game yesterday, I was like, this guy looks like Troy Polamalu. Like he was next level. He is next level, and I think that's why.
Troy Polamalu, that's
I think
crazy.
that's why the Niners moved on from
Troy
Jaquiski Tartt,
Polamalu.
because I think Talanoa Hufanga, when Jimmy Ward comes back, that's going to be one of the best safety duos in football, no doubt. He's a heat-striking missile.
Shout out Chicago, man. Their offensive line did not play bad. Their defensive line got a lot of push.
The Niners' offensive line didn't play bad.
Yeah,
They gave Trey Lance like 3.22 seconds to throw.
but they were pressuring him. He got 16 pressures. I know he was holding on to the ball, but
Yeah, some of those
16
were on
pressures.
him. Like some of those were
Yeah.
on him
for sure.
because he held onto the ball a little bit too long. Ranking the top 3 head coaching debuts. Now we can rank it, then grade these guys' performances. Now, for me, my first one is I really teetered with this one, back and forth with this one because I wasn't sure who I wanted to go with.
This one should be kind of easy, like obvious. I
It
know
was-
who you're going to say, but I think it should be the other guy.
I think Mike McDaniel had the best head coaching
Really?
debut. Yeah, I
Okay,
think
I'll tell you
so.
what. He was on my list, but I don't have him as number 1.
I think, beating the Patriots 20-7,
For
4th
sure.
and 7 in the second quarter, going for it, having Jalen Waddle run a crosser and then Tua hitting him for a touchdown in stride. I think, like Tyreek Hill said, it took a lot of guts to do
He
against
needs a
the
wheelbarrow
Patriots.
to carry his nuts around. Absolutely.
That was such a tough comment.
Like Mike McDaniel, to me, I think he had the best head coaching debut, the first time a Dolphins head coach has won their debut since Nick Saban in 2005. Number 2 for me was Brian Dable.
That's who I had at
Against
number
Tennessee, 21-20. I was debating putting him 1 because I think out of all the head coaches, he was the only one put in a nail-biting situation, having to make a gutsy call that if it didn't go his way, he's going to get criticized and scrutinized for. And it ended up working. He ended up trusting his player, seeing how Saquon came out with 194 total yards and a touchdown. I feel like he had a large role in scheming up Saquon.
Absolutely.
And I just think the Giants, they played good, sound football. And number 3, it's easy. I think it's Kevin O'Connell.
Perfect list.
Beating Green Bay 23-7.
To a degree.
Jetta's 184, 2 touchdowns. Those are the 3 for me. And honorable mention, but this is for the worst debut, has to be Nathaniel Hackett. Worst debut.
This is stray for no reason.
I appreciate the stray. It's a funny one. I love the 3 that you have. I have them in different order. I have Brian Dable at 1. I have Kevin O'Connell at 2. I have Mike McDaniel at 3. The reason I have Mike McDaniel at of course, you have to have McDaniel in the top 3 at the minimum. McDaniel was great. I just look at this wasn't a dominating win to a degree. I mean, you look at the Patriots, we all sat here and understood this Patriots team is not the same. But, of course, we can appreciate how the offense looked. There were a couple miscues, one throw in particular I look at that I think that, but I wasn't sure if it got tipped or not. That ball that you put up that said that to Zach Wilson, whatever the hell you said.
It got tipped by Magic.
I actually saw, I forgot who it was. It might have been Dolphins beat reporter. I think Tua was expecting Tyreek to run a curl route there. Because on the other side of the field,
deep.
On the other side of the field, I don't know who it was, Cedric Wilson, Waddle, whatever, ran a curl route. And if Tyreek ran the same route, it would have been right on the numbers. I think it was miscommunication.
Because there was another throw where Tua had time just out the wazoo, and he kind of threw it, but kind of like threw it low to lead Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill wasn't able to bring it in. I saw people criticizing Tua for that one. These are the throws you got to make, but I thought that was perfect ball placement. There's 2 defenders sitting back there. You hit Tyreek Hill on the underneath. I thought that was really well. But overall, for Mike McDaniel, let's not get too into Tua. I'm sorry. I start thinking about Tua, I get all excited. But he executed a perfect game plan. I just look at a Kevin O'Donnell that went against the Packers, who we all have as O'Connell, I apologize. Who we have as being potential top 3, top 4 in the NFC, and for them to be as dominant or look as dominant as they did, for Jettis to be schemed as open as he was, that's all credit to O'Connell. Now, number 1 for me has to be Brian Dable. He executed one of the most gutsy debut head coaching plays I've seen in my lifetime. For you to go for it, for the 2-point conversion, to go for the win against the number 1 AFC team last season, you know it's New York. This isn't a regular place that you go and you make a ballsy decision and you don't hear about it. It's New York. If you hit it, you get on the front page of the New York Post. If you don't hit it, you get on the front page of the New York Post. For them to execute and for them to come out with the W, even though it wasn't pretty, that defense held in the second half. But for them to, they let up Tannehill. Let me give credit to Tannehill. He put up a beautiful ball to put them in field goal range. They got very fortunate that Bullock was able to miss, but you have to give credit to Dable there, because what he did after Daniel Jones threw that red zone interception, I wanted to make sure I got this in. Daniel Jones was great up until that point, in my opinion. Wasn't anything spectacular. Obviously, he wasn't doing anything that was top 10. No, he just played a very smart game until that throw in the red zone. A regular coach in previous Giants history is just letting Daniel Jones off the hook. Dable went to him on the sideline, chewed his ass up, and said, get out there and be better. Daniel Jones led a great drive with the help of Saquon Barkley as well. And for them to go out and score a touchdown, hit the 2-point conversion, and win that game, credit to Brian Dable for being a true leader that the Giants need to set the tone early in 2022. I can't tell you the last time that we saw the Giants win on opening day.
I mean, it's 2016, 5 years.
I think it's the first time been over
6
500
years.
in like 5 years.
And the fact that every single season for the Giants, it seems as if the season's over early. This could have been one of those seasons again. You want to get off to a hot start, and to have the start you had against Tennessee, it's amazing.
I put Dolphins 1 because I think what Mike McDaniel was able to do with a limited quarterback speaks volumes.
Oh, that's
He wasn't limited this past weekend.
You look good.
Because you know that's true. You watched the film, you couldn't say anything. He looked damn good. Great decision after great decision after great decision. He looked amazing.
He was okay. Come on.
Fin Nation. Fin
Fam,
family.
baby. Don't play with us. Come on. What do you mean, chill?
No,
You're
I
in the
thought you were
DM.
gonna do a little Fin
Nah,
shit. Yeah.
I'm on a low right now. Broncos did lose, so I can't have the same energy that I want. So, next episode.
Okay. For me, I got a one, Kevin O'Connell. I just think the way he was able to scheme for Justin Jefferson, put him in a different opportunity. The defense, the front seven, the way they was able to play, I thought was really impressive. For me, number two, Brian Dable. I think the way he schemed for Saquon, the way, I'm giving more praise to the coaches who picked up big upset wins, because I think the team, I think a lot of the credit needs to be thrown to these coaches for picking up these big time wins
man.
to start the year off. Even though it's week one, they might not win another big time game. The fact that they came out, they played tough. Same with the Giants. I think we all picked the Titans to win. Most of us picked the Titans to win.
Don't agree with y'all.
We didn't expect Saquon to come out and damn near rack out 200
why.
yards. I thought that was impressive. And then for me, number three, Matt Eberflus, that's how you say it? Eberflus. You got to put him up there, because what he did in that weather, in that circumstance, against the Niners, the way he was able to galvanize the troops and get them a win for them. Yeah, great word. Able to get them that win in that type of environment. Even though he might not win another game, that team is still horrible. The fact that he was able to do that and play a good game, coach a good game, I think I got to put him on this list.
Yeah, the defense played great.
My number one's Kevin O'Connell. I don't think it's that close. I think this was the best win win on the entire slate of week one. You have to think, this is a Vikings team.
The
This is the
Seahawks
best
over the
win.
Broncos?
No, this is the best win.
What the fuck?
What are you talking about?
What are
The
you saying
Giants
right now?
This is the best
No,
win.
no,
The Seahawks have the best win.
This is the
Clearly.
best win that actually matters.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The
This is
Seahawks
best-
does
That's
matter.
the only.
This is the best win that matters.
Okay, fair.
If you want to do
Fair.
Seattle, Chicago, because they were upsets, Giants,
Steelers?
that's fine. Steelers, this is the win that matters, because the Vikings, overreaction, NFC Championship. This is a team that could go to
I've
the
been saying that
playoffs.
since the
No,
offseason.
but he's saying that
it was
that was your
overreaction.
statement.
Yeah, I know.
You just
But
saying NFC Championship?
I've been saying the Vikings can go to the Super Bowl since
no,
the
but this
offseason.
his overreaction today. The
will
overreaction
make
topic
it.
was the
Yeah.
NFC Championship.
Oh, okay.
The Vikings are a team we're expecting to make the playoffs, win a playoff game. These other teams, not so much.
Why can't the Giants make the playoffs?
Stop.
The Packers have ran this division. For the last 10 years, the Packers have won 7 times. This is a Vikings team who is used to losing to the Packers, to not competing in this division, especially over these last few years where Aaron Rodgers has been playing probably his best football in his career.
He ain't throw us into to North opponents
like
like
5
2019.
years. Yeah,
and
and
shit
some
like that.
crazy
Yeah,
shit. This is arguably the last 2 years Aaron Rodgers' best football ever, playing in his late 30s. He's had the best wide receiver he's ever had with Devontae Adams. They go from McCarthy, who was whatever, to LaFleur, who looked like a clear upgrade, one of the better running games in the league. It looked like for the Vikings, there's no end in sight. The Packers are going to keep running this thing until Aaron Rodgers leaves. And then Devontae Adams gets traded. And there's a little creak in the door for the Vikings to really shoot through and take control of this division. And week one, they go out and they have a phenomenal performance offensively, defensively. You force interceptions from Rodgers for the first time in 3 years. You have Justin Jefferson, I already thought was the best receiver in the league, solidify himself at least week one being the best wide receiver in football. That's why I think it was the best win this season, why I give Kevin O'Connell number one on my list. Number two is Brian Dable. Him and McDaniel were my two favorite hires out of all of them. I thought he was someone that could come in, change the culture in New York. I didn't think it was going to be this quick. I thought it would take some time. I still don't think the Giants are going to make the playoffs or anything like that. But I think he's proved that, like the Lions from last year, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be in games. They're not going to roll over all the time like we saw last year with fucking Mike Lennon in doing a QB sneak on 39 your own 5-yard line. That's not going to happen with the Brian Dable-led offense. Sure, you made a great point with Daniel Jones on the sideline, chewing him out. But I think what's important is in the locker room after, he was in there dancing. He was in there getting hype with them
a team
after
guy.
a huge win. That's important in the NFL. A lot of these great head coaches, not all of them, these
They don't
old
like to
school,
have fun.
hard-ass type guys. There's a lot of guys that you have to be able to choose someone out, but also celebrate in the locker room, have that type of connection with them. And last is Mike McDaniel. Is that crazy?
What are you talking about?
No, that was fine.
Oh, I saw him
That's
laughing.
fine. Him, bro.
Lastly was Mike McDaniel. The Dolphins used motion on 74.6% of their offensive
They made it
snaps,
easy for Tua,
second
yeah.
most in the league. Tyreek got
Finally.
involved often.
Finally,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Tua was Tua. High completion percentage, took care of the ball.
70%.
He had some bad ones,
270.
though.
No, he didn't.
He's dead.
He had one. Actually, you're 100% right. He almost threw a pick. You're
Yeah,
100% right.
Tyreek failed him out.
He had a few.
Tyreek-
Oh no! I wasn't even thinking about that one.
That one was
You're
bad.
right.
Tyreek
That
failed him
wasn't,
out.
it wasn't bad. I mean,
He had
it
a couple. He had a
few
few.
was
bad
one
ones.
ball,
I'm nitpicking,
correct.
but he had a few bad ones.
was on the right side of the field. He kind of threw it. The defender just
I mean,
dropped.
this isn't.
Tyreek
you know,
did
we-
elite shit. He had
We
the,
all expected.
No, that one hand catch was ridiculous.
We all expected Tua to have a pretty good statistical season. That's
Correct.
not what
And now Tua is 4-0
I don't want to hear it from you.
Yeah, he
Tua is
owns
4-0 against
Belichick.
Belichick.
Yeah.
But these next 3 games, Ravens, Bills, Bengals. Very early on the season, we're going to see what Miami's about.
Here
With
we
Tua,
go.
McDaniel.
There you
Here we
That's
go.
a week 3 out.
If they could go 2-1 over these
Bills.
next 3 games,
Yeah,
like this is a team that you could look at. Okay, maybe they could sneak into the last wild card team, but we'll see early what they're made
They're
of.
making the playoffs. There's no sneaking.
AFC is tough.
It is.
It's
And
hard.
they
to,
are
I wouldn't,
a legit
if you
team.
said the Dolphins make the play, I wouldn't even be mad. Like, you're not wrong. If you said the Broncos, you're not wrong. Raiders, you're not wrong. Like, it's a lot of teams. You're not wrong.
Dolphins look dominant. Of course, it's against the
And
Patriots
also, if I
team,
could just
but
go sideways real quick, the Giants win showed me a lot about the Jets. The Jets are a team that I feel like gets stomped repeatedly, a team that gets killed almost every single week. And while they were competitive at times with the Ravens, they lost by 2 scores. The Titans versus Giants showed me that even though the roster of the Titans and the coaching is better than the Giants could still win that game. The Jets are going to be in that circumstance a lot this season with a roster that I think is still more talented than the Giants, but likely going to be a lesser coach in Robert Saleh than the guys we're going up against. If the Giants can win a game like that, the Jets have to prove that they can win games like that. Baltimore didn't happen week 1. We got Cleveland week 2 now. This is a winnable game. This is we lose by 2 touchdowns. This has to be at minimum a field goal game in the 4th quarter. We have to be in it. There's no excuse.
And I'll tell you what, I appreciate that because I've needed you to take accountability at some point in time, and that's why I had to step back and kind of listen to what you had to say because
I feel like I'm always realistic with the Jets.
no, but I mean when it comes to the Giants, that's why you gave their due diligence 100%.
I was high on Dable.
You definitely were, but you've been low on the Giants as a
Daniel
whole.
Jones, yeah.
And Saquon Barkley, I'm not letting you off the hook.
Higher on Saquon than Jones, but yes.
Which you rightfully say, which I am too. But I'm higher on Saquon than I am on Daniel Jones.
I know, but you think Daniel Jones is the guy.
I think that he is good enough to be the quarterback for the future. Yes, I do.
The guy.
Not the guy. You're making
the quarterback of the future and the
for
guy
the
are
New York
synonyms.
Giants. Eli Manning wasn't Eli Manning when he first started. I'm not saying that he's Eli Manning either. I'm saying that he could still be solid enough to win ball games. And we saw it against Tennessee
He did.
this Sunday, man.
Daniel
Come
Jones
on.
has moments. I've admitted that. Last year he had, multiple good games early on the season. He's just dealt with turnover problems and injury problems. Something that's really hard to avoid in the
Another
NFL. If
thing,
you want to
Eli
succeed.
Manning won a Super Bowl in his 4th season.
No, absolutely.
This is Daniel Jones' 4th year.
Who knows?
Come on.
Listen, all right, I wish I would have said this in my overreaction, but I do want to get this in. The Giants can sneak in as a wild card. That's my overreaction. Their schedule is not that hard that they can't win 8-9 games.
Sorry, I was just dumb.
It's all right, man. And I want to say this really quick. That win against the Lions was ugly. All right, just because I know that you were saying that was a stupid statement, I wanted to be clear. That win against the Lions was fugly.
What makes you say that?
No,
The defense,
I know why he's
the
saying
defense
wasn't good.
Poop. It
wasn't
poop.
good. It wasn't good. But it is week 1.
I'll give but now let me enlighten as well. I talked a lot of I wasn't locked in on Jalen Hurts like the rest of you guys. And he definitely proved me something. But your defense was supposed to be the locked and sealed part of the team.
That's facts.
And the Lions, who I was higher on,
secondary is really
came
good.
in and lit y'all up.
They were dominant when Jordan Davis was in the game.
But, I mean, that's on the coaching staff.
Or that's on. We have a sizable lead. We don't want to put our 6'7", 6'8" guy out
It
there.
ended up being a 3-point
Week
game.
1.
They were up 17 going into the 4th. It was 38-21.
You know what?
It took us a while to get it going.
It's giving me last year's vibe where San Fran and the Lions were in a similar game, and the Lions ended up coming back too.
Oh, yeah, it's first week vibe. We're going to stomp the Giants. I just want
The
you to know.
Giants have-
You lost to
Stomp.
them last season.
No, new team, new vibe, new energy.
Giants are a new team, new vibe too, apparently.
They have Daniel Jones.
The Giants are not.
Yeah,
in the
that's.
playoffs.
I mean,
It's
okay.
a good overreaction.
It's an overreaction.
It's a good overreaction.
And I want you to put that in the
Of course Dehls is
TikTok
gonna
clip,
say
please.
that.
I really appreciate it. What minute mark is that?
150.
Just write that down.
You guys aren't making the playoffs.
Who's you?
crying.
Am I?
No,
you
just,
know what?
Yeah. Oh, God.
G-Man!
I'm only saying you
Like
guys
the
because you're
14.
like.
Let's
I don't
ride.
feel like saying. I'm just gonna say you guys.
You know what? I'm in, man.
You guys aren't making the
I'm
playoffs, but you'll be very entertaining and competitive, and that's what you want.
So what about Matt Eberflus, Dennis Allen, and Lovie Smith? What grade would you give those guys?
Eberflus won. You got to give him credit, especially in that
give
environment.
him a B.
Give him a B plus. You know, he
That's
won the
fair,
game against
yeah.
a team that he shouldn't
Dennis
have won.
Allen, I think is a B.
Yeah,
Or,
I
no,
mean,
I think it's a C.
C plus.
That's kind of low. Only reason I say it's low is because they were losing. They were still able to come back, even though they should have never been in that position in the first place. The defense, which is supposed to be taken care of and has taken care of over these last couple of years, was underwhelming. But, you probably looked at the Falcons. You overlooked them. So I think C's would be a little bit rude given the fact they did come back.
It would
I think
be
I'd
an A
go
or
B
B
minus
if they blew them out.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They barely
That's why I'm going B minus. I feel like that's pretty fair. I feel like C, we get into disrespect.
I'm B minus as well. You got the W, so I don't think you could be like a C.
But they were down double digits.
Smith, I think, was more like a B minus.
Okay.
They tied with one of the best teams in the AFC. I'll take that.
I would give him. I would have given him an A if he wasn't, or if he was a little bit more aggressive.
I was going to say, what do you guys think of him punting? I know if you don't get it, game's probably over. But you're also playing for a tie at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather my head coach want to be aggressive. Like I kept that same energy with Nathaniel Hackett. I wanted him to be aggressive. He wasn't. I would have liked the same for Lovey as well.
Next topic: Joe Burrow's 5 turnover game.
Oh yeah.
Now, first question: are you worried about Joe Burrow's 5 turnover game, and was this Steelers win impressive? Now, Joe,
absolutely, it's
got to be. You're the Joe Burrow hater, and you've also
so crazy.
You've also said that
I have him as the 8th best quarterback in the league.
You had to see it.
You've also said that the Steelers this win wasn't impressive as well. So.
Didn't move me, yeah. So it's actually hilarious. Because a few months ago, remember I came on the show when Riv wasn't here. I was sitting right in that seat, and I said, "Listen, Joe Burrow gets pressured about as much as everyone else. For whatever reason, he just takes a ton of sacks. It happened again yesterday. He took 7 sacks and a 29% pressure rate, which is about average. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, was pressured on 50% of dropbacks, took less sacks than him.
What do you think it is? Him not being able to scramble?
He's a decent athlete, but not great. I think he holds on to the ball too long.
Okay.
Out of those 7 sacks, 4 were credited to the offensive line. So overall, Joe Burrow has an issue with sacks. I know people like to look at the offensive line, especially last season, say how terrible it was. But as I said a couple months ago, and as we saw on Sunday, it's not all the offensive line fault. There's a lot of these sacks that is on Joe Burrow, who doesn't get the ball out in time. There were a couple things like the strip sack fumble. The left tackle just got beat, and he got there in 1.5 seconds. What are you going to do? Damn near all of those interceptions were Joe Burrow's fault. The TJ Watt one was just an insane play. He had a play to Tyler Boyd, I think over the middle of the screen where the safety just, jumped it. But overall, I'm not entirely worried. I don't know if you guys have seen these team stats from this the Steelers-Bengals game. The Bengals had nearly double the amount of yards. They had 32 first downs compared to the Steelers' 13 first downs. The Chiefs had 11 first downs in the first quarter. Oh, my God. The Steelers were 4 for 15 on third down. The Bengals were 50%.
Just turning the ball over.
They had less penalties. They had 43 minutes of possession to the Steelers' 26.
Still almost lost.
This was a very rare game where it was a bad win and a bad loss on both sides. Because just like you said, what game were we talking about giving the Broncos game?
Yeah.
You give away those turnovers. If you're the Bengals and you turn the ball over 5 times against a lot of other teams, you're getting 20 clipped. Yep. You're getting absolutely smoked. But since you played an inferior opponent with the Pittsburgh Steelers, whose offense really isn't that great, and they still end up losing in overtime. And for the Steelers side of things, just to talk on them a bit, I should say, it was a bad loss. You can't force 5 turnovers, a missed extra point, a missed chip shot field goal, and win with 2 minutes, a minute and a half left in overtime. The Steelers I'm worried about. The Bengals are going to be okay. I still think they'll make the playoffs. I know it's a week 1 loss, but I'm not overreacting to the Broncos or the 49ers, so I'm not going to overreact to another playoff team in the Cincinnati Bengals. But I'm hoping that since I was called a lunatic a couple months ago for saying he gets pressured an average amount of times but takes the most amount of sacks, we've seen it again week 1. Maybe some eyes are opening that maybe the offensive line wasn't the entire issue, but rather Joe Burrow has some issues with getting the ball out on time.
You are a lunatic. And the reason why you are is because although you want to mention those stats, it is still consensus knowledge that the offensive line was abysmal last year. You can mention those pressure stats all you want.
The offensive line is supposed to get so much better this year. He's pressured 29% of the time, took 7 sacks.
Yes, well, there's a reason for that. For one, Jonah Williams had an abysmal game. Alex Highsmith beat him on almost every single rep. Alex Highsmith looked like prime DeMarcus Ware against Jonah Williams. They started a rookie guard in Cedric Volson, who got beat on almost every single pass blocking snap. And La'el Collins, he was rusty for the first 3 quarters. In the fourth, he got his rhythm back, but he was going up against TJ Watt the entire game. TJ Watt was having his way with La'el. Joe Burrow in that game had 3 of his offensive linemen consistently get beat on snaps. And Joe Burrow didn't have outs. Like on the strip sack fumble, He didn't have an out. Everybody's going deep, and they're sending an all-out blitz, and the entire offensive line gets beat.
Is that not on the quarterback?
I was gonna say
to audible have a check down?
Also, let me get a statement.
You can't do
this.
it. You can't have a check down if your running back has to pick up.
My thing is, as the quarterback, before he calls hike, the defensive linemen move up. I watched your film analysis. That's why I'm very versed with this. The defensive linemen move up right before he calls hike.
Correct.
As the quarterback, aren't you supposed to identify, these guys are coming. Let me adjust. Let me realize that a blitz could be coming. Let me just make a hot route really quickly. Adjust on you're the quarterback. Joe Burrow is one of the smarter ones. He's supposed to be able to acknowledge that. I'm giving him a little bit of blame there.
This is the counter, and this is why I wouldn't give him any blame.
Because at least in my analysis,
4 interceptions, bro.
in that play. I'm not talking about
in my analysis. Am I wrong? The defenders are coming up.
No, 100%. Because I saw the same exact thing.
The defenders are moving up. He doesn't hike, and then he hikes.
This is why I interpret it a different way. Yes, he hikes, but he's looking at an all-out blitz. That's why he adjusts his protection for max protection. So everybody's supposed to pick up their guy. You hike it, yes, it's a longer developing route, but you're trusting your team to pick up those rushers. Jonah Williams got beat as soon as the ball was snapped. The running back failed to miss his block.
All a blitz. You know you're not going to have
my
time.
question is,
but you see the two linebackers coming up.
If you have 6 rushers and you audible and you have 6 blockers, then the numbers should even out. So
but
the numbers
have a ton of time.
The numbers on that play evened out. It's just about the protection executing and protecting and giving him more time. So for that happens all the time, bro. Like all out blitzes happen all the time.
I'm not saying they don't.
You're saying you're not giving them any blame.
When the protection is good and you're picking up your blitzers, then that play would have turned out different.
But why not just audible and give yourself an out?
Yeah,
just hot route somebody to do something different.
If you have the out would be what? The running back in the flat.
No, the slot receiver could run an out. Could
That's
run
what
a
I'm
slant.
saying.
He doesn't have to be go routes or post or whatever.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, it doesn't work like Madden. Like when you're on.
Well, I see Tom Brady do it. I saw Tom Brady do it for fucking 20 years.
Manning made a living off that.
Every time someone blitzes, audible, and it would just be 8-9 yards every play. It's honestly stuck in my head.
That play, the blockers are supposed to pick up their assignments. But they don't pick up their assignments.
But if Joe Burrow knows the offensive line isn't that good, shouldn't he know that I still need to make a high route? I know they're going to get beat. I know they haven't been good. I have to make that route.
I don't think that every single quarterback in the NFL has that sort of leeway to do that.
Joe Burrow should.
All right. And Russell Wilson should, but he doesn't. Like
that's
he
a new
doesn't
team,
in Denver.
That was his first game.
But there are a lot of great quarterbacks that don't do that. Like, because ultimately, it's a game of trust. You have to trust your play caller, and you have to trust what he's giving you. And yes, like you see what's happening on the field, but that's what the max protection is for, to pick up those assignments. So they should have picked that up. Burrow, as soon as he dropped back, there's pressure in his face. Like Sunday, as soon as he had a 3-step drop back, Alex Highsmith was already on his side. Like there's nothing he can do.
Well, that play in particular, yeah, I agree.
No, not even that play. It was multiple plays where guys just got beat. Joe Burrow made things happen out of nothing all day long.
They threw the ball 60 times.
I know, but he also ran for 47 yards.
Oh, nice.
Like he also scrambled and he had big. Joe Burrow also had big time runs. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Joe Burrow, yes, he played his worst career game. There's no doubt, but I'm not worried. Like Joe Burrow.
He's good.
He didn't read the field as well as he read it in the past.
Absolutely.
It's just a bad
He hasn't.
T. Higgins got hurt.
It's also rust. It's not. I don't even blame it on that. It's just rust. Like he had to get his appendix removed.
It's true.
And he didn't have preseason snaps, training camp snaps.
Neither did Russ.
Wasn't really there. So now you go. Well, Russ had training camp. Like Joe Burrow wasn't really active in training camp.
Didn't have preseason.
So Joe Burrow comes to this game. He's a bit rusty. I understand, but we just saw this guy go on a phenomenal playoff run and play lights out and lead fourth quarter comebacks. Like Joe Burrow's going to be fine. And the offensive line, although they made signings, I thought Alex Kappa and Ted Karras, they played well. They're not the problem. Those additions were good. La'el Collins got beat all day. Jonah Williams got beat all day, and that was their best offensive lineman last year. And then their rookie guard, Volson, was getting beat all day. You had 3 offensive linemen get beat all day. And when I was countering your point, I'm just talking about last season. This season, the offensive line should be improved. And although some may cite the issues as chemistry, it really was just guys getting beat on their reps against other rushers. But last year, there's no doubt the offensive line was poor. I don't care about any type of pressure numbers and averages, whatever.
You're an analytics guy.
The offensive line was
hear
poor.
this.
Yes, but there's certain things play callers can do to mask things like that. And last year, the Bengals threw a lot of short routes and they spread out the field a lot because they had to mask their offensive line.
The Dolphins masked it too, and they still were 32nd.
The Bengals were 31st.
They were 22nd, apparently.
At the end of the year, they were in like the low 20s.
The chart you're using that has the Dolphins at 32nd had the Bengals at 31st.
PFF had them in like 22 or whatever.
So the Bengals had a bad offensive line. Like, I don't care about any analytic that you want to tell me. The Bengals offensive line was bad last year.
I'm not agreeing.
Just turn on the tape.
I'll be honest.
saying,
It really wasn't
you're
analytics.
an analytics guy.
It wasn't analytics. It was just pure pressures. Like, that's not even really analytics. That's just a very raw stat.
Yeah, but that stat is flawed.
Oh,
and if you
of course
just
it
turn
is.
on you turn on the tape, Burrow offensive line was bad.
No, of course.
Listen to any Bengals beat reporter, they will tell you the offensive line was bad.
Joel knows. He's just going by.
I don't know if he knows. I think he really thinks the offensive line was that bad.
I mean, bro, yesterday he was pressured on 29% of dropbacks. It's the league. It's
day.
actually that was bottom 10 in the league, as if he got pressured the 10 least amount. You know what I'm saying? Like the 10 least amount, and he had the most sacks in the NFL.
I'm with you.
I'm not gonna say
it's
Joe
fine.
Burrow's
But he was missing reads the other day that he usually don't miss.
Yeah,
So
I'm
Burrow's
not gonna say
fine.
I'm not gonna say Joe Burrow's without flaws,
But
he is with flaws, and one of those flaws is he does hold on to the ball. That is a fact, and he does take those type of sacks.
But my big issue
But
was
yesterday, like I think mentioning that stat, mentioning that stat without mentioning that 3 of their main offensive linemen were getting beat repeatedly all day is misleading.
This is the thing, Riv. In the offseason, we were talking about, I think it might have been during that Joe Burrow debate, where I said, I don't think Burrow is going to have a better year than last year, even with all of these offensive lineman signings, because of how insanely efficient he was, completing 70% of his passes, 5,000 yards. He had an insane season. Then you bring over the offensive lineman, it's expected to be better, but it was more of the same. Like, I just think overall, Joe Burrow last year was phenomenal. Not that it was an outlier year, but to expect him to do the same exact thing, I just think he's going to be a little bit less this year.
Well, I think Burrow's going to bounce back in a tremendous way, and it's going to start with Dallas.
I still think he's going to be fine.
I think it's going to
smoke Dallas.
It's going to be against Dallas next week. He's going to bounce back tremendously. I mean, Micah Parsons lined up against Jonah Williams. I pray for that matchup because Micah is going to win that all day. But I think Burrow's going to be fine. I mean, I ultimately we're talking about
this is the issue. You had him as a top 5 quarterback.
We're talking
you had
about
him as a top 5 quarterback.
We're talking
Got
about
him over Herbert.
We're
Hey, man,
talking
I'm saying
about
if TJ could wreak havoc, Mike Parsons could do some shit.
Oh, Parsons will
that's not even
definitely.
TJ. It's Alex Highsmith who was beating Jonah Williams.
TJ Watt was doing his
TJ was dominant.
thing.
TJ was
No,
dominant.
I know TJ was dominant, but Alex Highsmith was dominating Jonah Williams.
And so TJ Watt was dominating too.
The
Lyle
Steelers
Collins.
line was just
Alex
getting through.
Highsmith had 3 sacks.
TJ Watt had
2, I think,
second half, maybe
a
two.
forced
He had an
fumble,
interception.
and he had an interception.
I understand that, but I'm saying Lyle Collins, although TJ Watt had that big time game, Lyle Collins held up better against TJ than Jonah did against Alex Highsmith.
There was just a ton of pressure from both sides.
And that's why, to me, I look at that game and I'm like, the offensive line, they have to
Burrow
be better
still top
individually.
5?
I mean, for one, when I told you guys that before the season, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow are 5 and 6 for me. I have Joe Burrow over him because he made a playoff run, but
mid.
I have never said there's a gap between Herbert and Burrow. I said it's always a toss-up.
If you know ball, it's really not
This
that
guy
close. It's
really
not that
created
close.
the name of this show,
between
and he refuses to live by it. My God.
between Joe Burrow and Lamar, I'm taking Joe Burrow. Between Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford, I'm taking Joe Burrow. Between Joe Burrow
That's fine,
and
but Burrow
Russell
and
Wilson,
Herbert,
I'm taking Joe
Burrow
Burrow.
and Herbert, there's a gap.
Burrow and Wilson.
I also
like,
think
oh
there's
my
a
God.
smaller gap, but there's a gap.
Between Joe Burrow and Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Okay.
Both 0-1, so hey.
Okay.
You guys are
One guy's
sick.
had more recent success than Russell Wilson.
What a fucking Super
Joe
Bowl loss.
Burrow.
Congrats.
And yeah, when's the last time
How
Russell
many,
Wilson
how
went
many
to
Super
one?
Bowls does Joe Burrow have? How many does Russ have?
Well,
we
when's the
go.
last
You love to
time
bring up
Russ
this Matt Ryan.
went
Well,
to one?
does he have an MVP from 2016 when
Russ
I was
Wilson
fucking
had-
7 years old? Like
Russell Wilson
come on,
hasn't
bro.
had an MVP vote.
know, Super Bowl.
Nobody's
MVP
ever
vote is
ever
nuts.
looked at Russell Wilson and
Super Bowl.
said he's my
Super Bowl.
MVP.
The year
Super
that he
Bowl.
was his best by far, Lamar was unanimous MVP. What can you do about that?
For 40
It's a shame.
touchdowns. 7
You know
picks,
what I'm
I
saying?
think. I think it was
Lamar,
40 to
Lamar
7.
was perfect.
And
Lamar was
Lamar
overall.
did it without even having many pass attempts and like averaging 216 yards.
He was
Lamar
he was
was
insanely
Lamar
efficient.
was
He had 35 passing
unbelievable
touchdowns.
that year.
But even with Joe Burrow having his worst game, he still led what should have been a game-winning drive in fourth quarter comeback.
I'm with you.
And in overtime, also led another drive.
If you just don't throw 4 interceptions, you probably win the game.
But even with those 4 interceptions, Joe Burrow came back as resilient
Because they played the
Also,
Steelers.
also
You play the Chiefs at 30 clip. You play the Bills at 50 clip.
Jamar Chase scored.
It's over.
Jamar Chase scored. Jamar Chase scored, and they did not challenge.
He scored like 3 times.
No, but the one-handed catch, which would have been play of the year, would have been impossible to beat, which was out of bounds. I'm talking about the very end
On
of the
the left
game.
side.
He threw it right on the line of scrimmage, at the line of the goal line, and they did not review it, and it ended up costing them.
I'm talking about the final drive. It was Jamar on the left side, Jamar on the right side, and then finally Jamar on the right side where he beat a Keller Witherspoon, and they got the touchdown. Like, there were 3 different instances where they should have scored. But the Bengals lost, and I think it's because the long snapper got hurt, especially on that last rep. The holder
They lost because he
held
had
on to
5
laces.
turnovers.
No, but ultimately, yes, the turnover battle, they lost it. But in overtime, Joe Burrow led a drive, but
they should have never been in that position.
Okay,
bro. 5
but they
turnovers.
were
Come on,
in that
man.
position, and Evan
Understands.
McPherson had a chip shot, and
But
he
I'm
hit the
not
laces.
letting you get off the hook.
You can't blame the L on the kicker.
Yeah, nah. I'm not letting you off the hook. Joe
Bro, he
Burrow
missed a
led
chip
this
shot
drive
in
and
a
this
pack.
drive and this drive when he
But
was
it
5
starts with
interceptions
Joe
or
Burrow.
5
I'm not.
turnovers.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, it
not,
starts with Joe
bro.
Burrow.
I'm not saying Joe Burrow doesn't have blame. He has a lot of blame. He played his worst career game. I've already acknowledged
like
that.
80% of the blame goes on
Yeah,
Joe
I've
Burrow.
already acknowledged that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we look at the outcome of that game and we say Evan McPherson.
Could have won the game for them.
Joe
Easy.
Burrow put him in a position, despite all the negative shit that happened. Joe Burrow put him in a position. The long snapper snapped it way too high, and that was a huge injury that happened to the long snapper that they had to start a rookie
Like
there.
TJ Watt didn't get hurt, Najee didn't get hurt. Like the Steelers happened, they got injured too.
Bro, I'm not comparing it. I'm saying that the long snapper getting hurt is why the snap came high. It was bobbly, and he
You have the
Evan
agenda.
McPherson
I
kicked the
respect it.
laces.
It's fine, dude. It's
Everything's
fine.
You got an excuse for everything.
bro.
It's
Like,
impressive.
It's bad.
Bro, it's just the long snapper snapped it high.
Like I said, Trey Lance didn't look good. It wasn't. Oh, well, it was the weather. It was the rain. I don't know how he looked. Like no, bro, he looked like shit.
Evan McPherson kicked the laces.
Sucks.
I mean, for kickers, that's like death row, bro.
Yeah, that's true though.
That's death row, and that's because the long snapper didn't snap it right.
Got to be better, man.
Yeah,
Gotta
everybody
lead
has
but
that
also
team better, man.
the holder
Can't have
has
4
to
interceptions.
turn the ball that it gets,
So it's not on the
yeah,
bases,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. So
no,
like,
but he couldn't do it fast enough, or else the rusher was gonna get there.
Damn.
And it
Oh,
was
always
because
an excuse.
the snap was high. Like he had to go all the way here and get the snap. It was a bad snap. And I think ultimately, if the long snapper doesn't get hurt, we're looking at a different outcome here. Despite Joe Burrow having his worst game, the Bengals would have
Because they're
won.
playing the
I'm gonna have to
Steelers.
level with him here because I said similar stuff in the Broncos to the
I didn't
game.
throw
So.
the interception 5 times, bro.
And we actually threw 0.
Yeah, so
Russell Wilson should have threw one though. It was dropped.
It was dropped.
Quandre,
It was.
he folded.
yeah.
But that's a tough play for him to make.
Like,
It's
all your running
literally-
backs
like that's a
fumble.
receiver type catch.
But the Steelers win. It wasn't impressive for me either. And this is
The offense was
if
ugly.
you win the
just
turnover
an
battle by
ugly
5
team.
and you barely win and you should have lost.
It was bad.
It is a bad loss. I mean a bad
Mitch,
win.
I
still.
don't think it's going to last that long.
because
win is a
Mitch
win,
is
man.
extremely limited.
I know there was a report that came out, I think, right before Sunday kicked off that they want to start Mitch the entire season. There's no chance in hell you can do that. No
Mitch is
chance.
an
don't wanna
extremely
win, bro.
limited quarterback.
You gotta show Pickett. Like
Bryce Young.
I know, but the Steelers aren't going to be that bad.
Yeah.
Not to
They
mention
better.
in OT, the Bengals defense was so great until Sam Hubbard, who had like a shit ton of pressures in the game, he jumped the snap and that led to the free play to Freiermuth.
That was a great play by Mitch.
Yeah,
I'll give him that.
if it wasn't, I mean, oh my goodness, so much bullshit happened. The Bengals should have won that, but it's okay. It's a bounce back against Dallas. We're riding with the Bengals. I don't know who you're
It's
talking
funny you
about.
say it like this, but then the fucking Broncos shit, bro. Like, come on.
That's because the Bengals, with that roster and continuity, have already proven that they can go on a Super Run. The Broncos haven't,
The Broncos have a really good roster. They have Russell Wilson.
Whatever you say, man.
and the
you know?
Bengals have Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Russ
Oh, we're
clears.
back on Denver.
Russ does not clear Joe Burrow.
No, it's actually easy.
It's not easy.
Super.
Yeah, maybe
Wait.
for you. I mean, you guys just lost to Seattle though,
Wait, Joe Burrow.
That's
he
the
played
fucking
great.
Steelers.
And
The
he
Mitch
threw-
Trubisky.
Steelers is better than Seahawks.
Yeah, they are.
Clear.
Yeah, but they're
I
both
know.
not that good.
They're both bottom 10, but like
Okay.
Steelers are like top at the bottom, and like, come on, Seahawks
The
like.
Bengals were home.
I guess, yeah.
That's a division game though.
Bengals were home.
But that's a
they were
division game.
in.
home.
They
That's a
were
division
in
We're
game,
in one of the
Seattle.
toughest environments in the
You
NFL.
play Geno Smith.
That's
Still,
nothing
that
to do with home
stadium's
field
nuts.
advantage.
That's a division game.
At
Played
home,
Mitch Trubisky.
though.
You could say Geno Smith. I could say
But
Mitch
it's
Trubisky.
Pittsburgh though. TJ Watt. Like, can you name somebody in Seattle?
What do you mean?
That's like they have T.J. Watt, bro.
On the
He got
defense,
hurt.
Jordan Brooks, he's
Hurt like
really
third
good.
quarter.
Quandre Diggs is very good.
T.J. Watt.
Barton
T.J.
was
Watt's
excellent.
T.J. Watt.
But no, you said, can I name guys?
Okay, but
Naming
I'm saying as
guys.
opposed to who I'm naming.
I mean, T.J. Watt's one of the best defenders in the
Right there.
game.
He was wrecking shit.
He's DPOY.
Yeah, absolutely. He's
Reigning
unbelievably
DPOY.
great.
But
And he's only supposed to be out. What?
6 weeks. That God shined down on
to
him.
be fair, both teams shouldn't have lost. So
Oh.
Correct.
yeah.
I mean,
Bullshit.
ultimately,
They look
I
a lot
have
worse than y'all, though.
ultimately my agendas. I have a lot of agendas.
A ton. We know.
The Chargers are on my agenda too. They're my agenda. They're
They
my
could've
first
looked-
seed in
they could've
AFC
looked a little
West.
bit better.
You didn't have him going to the Super Bowl, bro. I have the Chargers going to the
Yeah,
Super
I
Bowl.
think going to the AFC
I
Championship.
don't think that's an agenda, though. If you just have him going to the AFC Championship, I don't think that's an agenda.
No, I love Justin Herbert.
Oh, okay. You have a Herbert
And you have
agenda.
Burrow over him. Like, Herbert's the clear better quarterback.
Dude,
Like-
please. Please.
I got the Chargers agenda, but I also got Joe Burrow to back me
hold
up.
up.
So.
I've been Bolt fan before I've been rooting for Cincy.
Bolt fan went in the comments section. They said you're gone.
It was two people.
They said you're
It was
gone.
two people.
They cooked you?
It was two people.
said
And they
you-
Bro,
said, see
he was
you
really
later.
safe from everyone in the AFC. He's got the Bills in
Yo,
the East with
actually,
Josh Allen.
you know what's-
the North he's got
Bro.
Cincy.
Oh, no,
the
the-
West he's got the
the Bills are
Chargers.
mine.
And the South he's got the Colts.
Yeah, no, the Bills are mine.
Bro, what time does that say?
8:19 p.m.
Okay, this dude just sent it to me. Shout out to Eric Serafini. He says, next time Joel tries saying Burrow is better than
Did I see?
Herbert, LOL. That was the message he sent me. That should go to show you that people are conscious of
They just sent
your
you a
opinions.
screenshot?
He sent me a screenshot of Joe Burrow and his, Justin Herbert and his pressure rate and how he wasn't sacked because he was so damn great.
Yeah, I know. Justin Herbert's
Herbert's just
unbelievable.
special, man. He's
He-
different.
I know he's special.
cooked that tier.
He's in a different
Jimmy
tier than
Cook.
It
Joe
was just
Burrow.
that was super just perfect.
Yeah, Jimmy Cooks.
I'm not gonna say that, but Justin Herbert is special. Joe Burrow's special too. But Justin Herbert.
The thing is,
special.
Justin Herbert has the capabilities to be the best in the league. Burrow does not.
Honestly, I'm just sick because he's got like 4 teams in the
No,
AFC.
I know
Bills are
Herbert.
mine.
I know
Mine.
Herbert
I
can
know,
be the
bro.
best.
He picked
quarterback
them to
in
go
the
to the Super Bowl, so he could be like,
But
"Well,
honestly,
I
I
already
don't-
said
I don't
since
think
week
that makes him
one."
a Bills agenda, though. He just picked him to go to the Super Bowl.
No, but then
you
he
don't
can
have a
say
Bills
he's right.
agenda, right?
He has
I don't
them winning
have
the
a-
whole thing.
That doesn't mean that. That's not an agenda.
No, but in this, once February comes around, he'd be like, "I said in August."
now then you
Exactly.
then he.
But then
No,
he's-
that's not
he's-
an agenda. That's
He's got the
just my
Chargers
that's my
in the
prediction,
AFC
though.
Championship. He's got the Colts, obviously.
That's
But
not
I'm
my
I still
saying
prediction.
wouldn't
Joe
call it an
Burrow.
agenda though, because he's not really like. He's just think. I think like it's one thing to say. I think the Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl. It's another. I'm riding with the Bills. I'm going to ride every week with the Bills.
I
Like, he
guess.
doesn't do that. He just says I think the Bills.
I
are
mean,
gonna
bro,
go
I've been having a Chargers agenda for the past 2-3
So
years.
then why didn't they go to? Why don't you have them going to the bowl, man?
Because I have the Bills beating them.
Thinks the Bills are better.
You have an agenda.
It's like with the
Yeah, but
Warriors. He didn't have a
I
Warriors
still think the
agenda, but he
Bills
thought the
are
Warriors
great,
were going to
yeah.
win the NBA Finals. Same thing.
Yeah,
But
then
that's
he'd be
part
riding.
of an
He'd be
agenda.
riding
Yeah,
with
but
that.
I'm not gonna.
But you're the clear Warriors. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
the
Like, he
War-
could,
yeah.
even if he wanted to, he
But
could.
it wasn't.
You know what I'm
That's why I
saying?
say
Like,
it's not an agenda. He just thought they would win because they're the best team. But he wasn't all year. You didn't hear him really want to talk about it
That's
because that's not his agenda. But he thought they would win.
Yeah.
Same shit.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Bills too, though.
yeah,
I
we
know
know.
what I'm
We
saying.
know.
Like,
We know.
Rick, why are you giving him an
All right,
out?
when he does that, I can't.
I mean,
can't help
look, I mean, it's not my fault that the quarterbacks in his league, it's easy to root for them.
I
You
don't
didn't always.
disagree
You
there.
didn't always root for Josh
everyone?
Allen.
I didn't always root for Josh Allen.
Like we're Jets fans. I do not openly root for Josh Allen.
He picked the offensive lineman over Josh Allen. I remember those days. He used to cook Josh Allen
I
religiously.
mean, Josh Allen is one of those guys that if he's playing, I'm going to turn on the TV.
Who did he say? David Bakhtiari?
Yes, it was him. Yep.
That's
What did he
crazy.
say?
David-
He
he
said
would
that
pick
David
David
Bakhtiari had a
Bakhtiari
better
over Josh
chance to win
Allen.
MVP.
So
Yeah.
that
than
year,
Josh
it was
Allen.
true though.
Like he was
That year it
cooking.
true.
He
Bro, a
hated
tackle
Josh
to win
Allen.
MVP. Are we dead ass?
that
Like,
year it was 2019.
He hated
dude,
Josh
I don't
Allen.
give a fuck what year it was. Tackles to win MVP.
No, but the quarterback's so easy to root for. I love Josh
Yes.
Allen, Justin
Yeah, but
Herbert,
that
Joe
doesn't mean you
Burrow.
gotta-
Imagine
Patrick
an offensive
Mahomes.
lineman does win MVP. How the fuck would
I
you
don't-
even
I
get
don't
that
know.
shit,
If
bro?
Trent
it-
Williams didn't win
facts.
last year.
There's
There's
no
no
way.
chance.
Like,
of
how would you
anyone.
even? He won it because he.
Trent
blocked
Williams
well.
had an almost perfect PFF grade.
Yeah, it's
It's
like.
that's
Yeah,
insane.
he blocked well all year, so he's the MVP. What?
Never.
Come on.
It can never
That
happen.
might be
Yeah.
your craziest take.
Nah, but Patrick Mahomes, even when he first year starting, I had a Chiefs agenda. My Chiefs agenda was thriving. The next year, picked him to go to the bowl.
When Mahomes was a rookie, I used to use him in Madden, like before he was even playing, just because he.
75.
Yeah, just because he was handsome. I just
Yeah.
would use him in
I
Madden.
picked the Chargers
You
to
think
win the
he's
AFC West
He-
last
He
year.
was. Now it's just like I heard
It
him
didn't happen.
speak.
Now this year they're gonna win it for sure.
I mean, they didn't look
Bills?
great against the Raiders.
The Chiefs.
Oh.
I mean, the Chargers win the AFC West. I mean, it's between the Chargers and the Chiefs. Everybody else is whatever.
Broncos are in the conversation, man. Don't throw
To
them out.
win the
Broncos are not.
I
in
have
conversation
the
of
Chargers in first, but
too.
like I don't think the Broncos are gonna be 4 games out or something.
They got to beat the Chiefs
they
first.
probably
They
will.
got to get ahead of
4
them.
games.
Yeah.
I mean, unless
I mean,
you think they're
You
gonna
technically-
have the
14.
Chargers winning 12 games. You have the Chiefs winning 11.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't be 4.
You have us winning 10.
But I could see the Chargers winning like 14.
It's gonna be 4. It's gonna be 4.
I can see the Chargers winning 14.
Like, dude, enough. Let's go on to the next one.
What teams are you pressing the panic button on? Now, a lot of teams got upset. Some teams we just knew were bad and they lost. But I'm going to list out these teams and we're going to each go around and say, are you panicking or you're not panicking?
Let's do it.
So, what teams are you pressing the panic button? Oh, my goodness.
Start over.
It's okay. No, just right there. Go.
Yeah.
No, run it back.
What teams are you pressing the panic button on? Panicking or not panicking? Patriots.
Panicking. They're going to be very bad this year.
Damn it. Okay, I'm sorry. We have to start over. When you actually, sorry, I just need
Are you
clarification.
panicking or
No,
you not panicking?
not that. It's are you asking us, are we panicking or not panicking as opposed to what we believe in the offseason? Because I didn't think they'd be good. So.
Okay,
That's very true.
Okay.
Hey, good stuff because that's 100%
yeah, I just
facts.
think because I
Yeah, all right, whatever.
why you hating?
No, because he's speaking.
It's just, I just feel like everybody at the table understands. Like,
Well, I mean, he said panicking, but he didn't have him make the playoffs. What are you panicking for?
I just feel like this is a question of where, like, do I write the date of today with numbers or do I actually write out like March or February? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I just think that you look at Pro Football Talk, they had the Patriots still a top 15 team in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So we can hit
What I
panic
mean
still.
by this is that panicking means that, oh, yeah, they're going to be bad.
They're screwed.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're going to be a good team.
That's it.
Not
that's it.
panicking is, you know what? I think they'll still be fine this year, you know?
Because you know
that's what it means.
Riv is 100% right because there's going to be people in the comments saying, bro, everyone thought that the Patriots were going to be ass.
No, I
This
didn't-
isn't
I had
a-
Not everybody.
People are still
I
gonna say
know.
that.
Yeah, I don't
No,
think
because I had the Patriots being ass. So it's
No.
like, what am I
Well, I think
panicking
You had them
for?
being
I
ass.
feel like-
you had them being ass.
I feel like it's
I had them
definitely
being ass.
60-40 in terms of public perception.
I'm-
Okay.
Bill Belichick.
People
He's gonna
do think
so let's
find
go.
a way.
All right, let's go.
All right, so let's
just wanted to
start this
clarify
back.
that.
All right. What teams are you pressing the panic button on? Panicking or not panicking? The Patriots.
Not panicking.
Huh?
So you think they're going to be good?
No, see, this is where we're fucking up. I thought they.
Wait,
Like,
bro, what?
Riv,
fuck is
just
happening?
you're panicking. If they're ass, you're panicking.
why
think-
am I panicking
are
if
you
I
pan-
thought they were going to be shit already? I'm fine. I'm good. I'm not panicking because they're going to be shit. I'm good.
All right, bro.
It should be, are you
let's-
worried about them? Like this panic, if you
No.
say panic, you're worried. Like they're not going to be good. Playoffs, like whatever.
I didn't think they were going to be good from the jump. So why would I
understand.
panic?
Listen, you got it.
know
You
what?
got
okay,
the dub.
fine. Whatever.
but,
All right,
like,
right.
Whatever.
You know what?
Let's start over.
No, listen.
Because what are y'all saying?
Panicking means they'll be bad.
I know. Okay, fine.
So
okay.
if you
All
say
right.
not panicking,
Okay.
you don't think the Patriots are gonna. You think the Patriots are
Okay.
gonna bounce back?
All right, fine.
Panicking means no, they're gonna be bad.
complicated segment
All
we've
right.
ever
we're
done.
changing shit up. I got it.
It's not complicated. It's super easy.
And
some
when he
people.
asked the question, I knew it wasn't complicated. Going in depth on it did nothing. Honestly, it did nothing. All right, so
Yep, let's go.
the first team.
No, you're going to have to run the whole thing back, dude. I'm
Oh my
sorry.
goodness, again. All right,
Making it easier for you to edit,
yeah.
bro.
All right, dude. What teams are you pressing the panic button on? First team, the Patriots. Panicking or not panicking?
I'm panicking. I'm hitting the panic button, y'all. I'm fucking panicking, man. Like, I'm in shambles right now, y'all. I'm fucking disappointed. I'm panic. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm panicking, man.
All right. Let me compose myself.
Oh my god.
I'm definitely panicking. The Patriots are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, no doubt.
I'm panicking. They lack talent at wide receiver.
Bengals.
I'm not panicking. They still have Joe Burrow. They'll be fine.
I'm only panicking a little bit in the sense of I do believe now I'm flip-flopping again. The Ravens are going to win the division.
Wow, we're stamping that.
Dude, I keep flipping. I think that I'm firm here.
Bro, flipped in
100%.
a week.
I need to see week one. That's just kind of the
That's
guy I
fair.
am.
I'm not panicking yet. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Higgins, they should be fine
We
offensively.
did a segment on Friday. You literally switched in
That's what I'm
48
saying.
hours.
I know. I need to see week one. I have to be honest.
I'm not panicking. Next team, the Cowboys.
I'm panicking, especially after Dak just got hurt. I am definitely panicking.
I am 100% panicking. If Dak Prescott misses an extended period of time, there's a world the Cowboys are the worst team in the NFL.
I'm panicking. I already think the season's over for them.
Yeah, I think the season is over. I'm panicking. The Green Bay Packers.
I'm not panicking. I think Aaron Rodgers can still get it done. I think they'll still make the playoffs. They just have to get the continuity together.
I am 100% panicking. This wide receiving core is not good. If Rodgers does not have the weapons to throw the football, they will lack the opportunity to have success. I'm worried.
I'm not panicking for the regular season. Christian Watson got open a lot. He dropped an easy ball. I think the receivers will be a lot better than they were week 1. But for the playoffs, for a title run, I'm panicked.
That's exactly what I mean.
I'm not panicking. The Green Bay Packers were top 5 in first downs this past Sunday. It just, they didn't execute enough, but they were a couple plays away from making this a close game. I'm not panicking. The Denver Broncos.
I'm also not panicking. It's week 1, new team, new vibe. I think they'll be fine.
I'm sure you guys are super surprised that I'm wearing a Denver Broncos jersey, and I'm saying that I'm not panicking. You look at this game, Russell had great success. He played an amazing game. Just had some instances where one thing could have gone one way or the other, and the game would have been different. I'm not panicking.
Not panicking either. Like you said, there's a couple 50-50 balls that didn't go Denver's way. They'll bounce back.
I'm on the verge of panicking. I don't believe in Nathaniel Hackett. I'm not a huge believer in Russell Wilson. He hasn't had any playoff success in the past 5 years.
You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. What did I say when we started this show? He's been backtracking for almost a month now, and suddenly again, he's back on the other side. You need to pick a side. No, I'm irate because you just refuse to do so. You refuse. Why?
Pick a side on what?
On anything, specifically Russell Wilson. Because, bro, I like Russell. What are you talking about? That's my guy. I trust him 100%. And now suddenly you don't trust him. I'm sorry. My tipping point has been turned over.
What is what I'm saying not a fact? Has he had any playoff success in the past 5 years?
Russell Wilson. Am I bugging or is that the word he
said,
used?
I'm on the verge.
No, that's not what he said. He said he's on the verge of panicking.
And I never said I'm out on Russell Wilson. What's the first thing I said? I don't think Nathaniel Hackett is a good head coach.
But then what
What's
did you
the
just say?
second thing I said? I said Russell Wilson hasn't had any playoff success in the past 5 years.
And you said I don't trust him.
And I'm on the verge of panicking. They're in a division with the Chiefs and the Chargers.
I'm not acknowledging that.
They are not on their level.
I'm not acknowledging.
They're not on their level.
I'm not acknowledging
They're not on their
any
level.
of that. All right,
Russell Wilson's not on their level as a quarterback either.
There we go. Now we can have the truth come out.
Is he as good as Justin Herbert?
Now we can have the
truth come out. Is he as good as Patrick Mahomes? Is he as good as Josh Allen? Hell no, he's not. He's not.
Now we can have the truth come out.
About what?
That you're backtracking on things that you said.
I've never said Russell Wilson is as good as Josh Allen, Mahomes.
No one's ever said that you said
Herbert.
that. No one's ever said that you said that. Russell,
so what's the problem?
Matt Stafford wasn't the best quarterback in the league, and he won a Super Bowl. You don't need to be the best
Rams
to win.
roster was stacked. The Broncos don't have that.
That's what you think.
That's what I know. It's not what I think. It's what I know.
Our defense played very
well. It's what I know.
At the
Against the
second
Seahawks.
half.
Are you happy about that?
I am.
Oh, good job.
I am happy.
You shut down Geno Smith in the second half.
happy.
In the first half, he had a historic game.
He was great.
You can't say that, bro.
Good job.
Because you're not panicked on the Bengals, and they look like shit against a bad Steelers team. And I don't know if anyone are we all sold on Zach Taylor.
The
that he's a
Steelers
great
are
head
better
coach?
than the The Steelers are better than the Seahawks.
I know, but neither of them are good teams.
Yeah, but the Steelers are a better bad team than the Seahawks.
And at least Denver had to go on the road in one of the toughest places to play while the Bengals were at home.
I mean, I already before the season wasn't a believer in Denver. Let's stop acting like I believed in Denver.
Let me ask you.
Stop acting like it's not the agenda. It's the analysis. It's the analysis. You wanted to put blind faith in Denver when you fired defensive coordinator Vic Fangio and hired a bunch of first-time guys coaching. You wanted to put your blind faith in them.
Keep going.
Talk to him. Yo.
Did I sit here and say that I was acknowledging his Broncos take? Did I sit here and say that? No. I was sitting here and acknowledging his disrespect on Russell Wilson.
True.
Because all I've heard
disrespect.
is how no, it's not disrespect. It was. Then he would backtrack. No, I believe in Russ. I trust Russ. I like the Broncos
doubled down
because
again.
of Russ.
I never said I like the Broncos because of Russ.
I trust
What the
Russ.
fuck? I never said that.
That's one of my guys.
I never said that. I never said Russell
Really?
Wilson's one of my guys.
Sunday, when we hang out and we just chilled, me and you, do you just sit and lie to me?
I say this. I do like Russell Wilson. Look, he's a fine quarterback. I like
As
Russell
you were
Wilson.
speaking on his character early in the show, what do I believe with you?
This is the
Tell
difference.
me, what
this
am I
is the
supposed to
difference.
believe?
This is the
He's a good
difference.
man.
This is the difference.
Fine man.
Because you are finding one thing that I say and trying to hold it against everything that I say.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm talking about your opinion on Russell Wilson.
All I said in the beginning of the show was I talked about the split between Russell and Pete Carroll and how that went down. It is a fact that Russell Wilson wanted out of Seattle to be in a more pass-heavy system. It is a fact.
That's true.
Russell Wilson wanted out of Seattle to
win
focus,
MVPs,
to
apparently.
focus more on his individual
That's
accolades
not true.
because he wanted to get those in Seattle because Russell Wilson is a guy
The
that's
only
focused on his
individual
legacy.
accolade he cares about is hoisting the Lombardi.
If that was the truth, he would have stayed in Seattle.
They have no better chance to win the Super Bowl than the Broncos.
Russell Wilson was annoyed in 2019 after Pete Carroll decided to run the ball more in the second half after Russell Wilson got off to a great first
He was
half.
historic.
And Russell Wilson was annoyed because he felt like that certain week he could have had the edge on Lamar Jackson in the MVP race, and Pete Carroll decided to only pass the ball
was
5
Lamar.
times in the second half.
It was never going to be Russ.
And Russell
respectfully.
Wilson,
It's not Russ.
Wilson was pass heavy in 2019. Then there was a stretch of weeks where he was turnover prone like hell, and Pete Carroll said, "We got to move away from this." And Russell Wilson was upset by that. That's a fact that is reported. Stone cold
Can I ask you,
fact.
is he wrong for that?
All I'm saying,
Is he wrong for
all
that?
I'm
Is he wrong for
all
that?
I'm speaking
Weird.
about,
Is he wrong for that?
all I'm speaking about is the fact.
argument
Is
we
he
had 2
wrong
hours ago.
about that? I think he is. If you're trying to win and you're trying to function as a team, it is wrong to focus on your individual success
That's
and
not
only
what he
focus
cared
on
about.
being
No.
an MVP.
Because when
that
Russ-
year he did. That's a fact. That's well documented. It is known across Seattle Seahawks organization. That's a fact.
That was crazy, first off.
Yeah, that was
That
nuts.
was
They were
insane.
shitting
That was
on
nuts.
Mike.
That
That
was
was
insane.
There was shit
That was
on my
real
mic.
crazy.
Secondly, it's
Can you
Russ.
stop?
I'm just
Can
saying.
you two stop?
Russ, y'all had this argument already.
2 hours
No,
ago.
I just
Argument
needed to
already.
highlight that this guy refuses
I've
to
heard the
pick
same
because-
argument
Because
twice.
I'm on the verge of panicking with the Broncos
I'm
because
fine
they
with
just
that.
lost.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
And you're not fine with one of my reasons being that Russell Wilson hasn't
You
had any
can't
real
trust-
playoff success in
no,
the last 5 years.
that's not what I said. I said that I did not like that you said you can't trust Russell Wilson.
Let me ask you something.
That's my problem.
Let me ask you something,
You
Drew.
told me
Let me
that
ask you
you're a
something.
fan of his.
Let me ask you something, Drew. Can you trust Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs?
To a degree, yeah.
To all conversations that I've had with you on this show, it's always Rodgers chokes, Rodgers this, Rodgers not good in the playoffs. Rodgers is significantly better in the playoffs than Russell Wilson.
No doubt.
So if you have a problem with me not trusting Russ and you don't trust Aaron
not what I
Rodgers,
said.
or you are heavily critical and scrutinize Rodgers,
That's fair.
then you have no say in what we're talking about.
What are we talking about here?
Because I don't trust Russell Wilson fully. He hasn't had real playoff success in 5 years. That is something legit. That is stone cold fact.
He's had some bad teams that he's taken to the
His
playoffs.
last playoff appearance, he was absolutely abysmal.
It wasn't good.
Abysmal.
It wasn't good.
Abysmal. So if you have a problem with me not trusting Russ, I don't even know where to begin with you because you don't trust Aaron Rodgers.
It's fine that you're putting a very concise argument forward. That's not my issue. My whole issue is I refuse to choose one way or the other.
On this show, I have never said I believe in the Broncos. You are twisting.
I'm not-
You are trying
No,
to spin
God,
a narrative.
You see how he keeps doing
like
this?
I believe in the
You see-
Broncos.
bro,
Believe
you
in the
understand?
Broncos
I'm
isn't-
not talking about them.
Hand in hand.
What question do you want answered?
All about Russell Wilson.
What do you want to know
No.
specifically?
Do you trust him or not? Do you
said
like
no.
Russell Wilson or not?
He likes Russell Wilson, but he doesn't trust him. That's
the
what he said.
Broncos is nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Do you trust Russell Wilson?
He's not as great as the
Okay.
top quarterbacks in the AFC.
Do you
So
trust
if they
Russell
were-
Wilson flat out? Yes or no?
If they
and
were
then we
to
don't have to
match
talk about it
up,
anymore.
no, I don't trust him against the top quarterbacks because he's not on their level.
But do you
But you
like
say the
Russell?
same shit about Matt Ryan, and you take
Do you
Matt
like Russell
Ryan, the
Wilson?
Colts.
I like Matt Ryan.
You like
Okay,
Russell
well,
Wilson?
I mean,
as a QB?
like I don't.
What am I supposed to do, guys?
What can you do?
What am I
I don't know what you
supposed
could
to
do.
We've heard this
I don't
argument
know.
twice
Tell
in
me.
3 hours.
Like he said, Russ doesn't match up with the other quarterbacks in the AFC. He is an infinity
I think
times
the
closer
Colts have
than
a
Matt
better roster.
Ryan.
The Colts have a better roster than Denver.
Oh, there he is.
All around, they have a better roster than Denver.
We'll see. They just-
NFL
We'll see.
week 2
We'll
pick 'em.
see.
Let's do it, baby.
I can't wait.
Nah, yeah, we haven't finished with the panicking teams.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I'm so
Because y'all
sorry.
want to run
yeah,
a
because you
amok.
want to fucking like
Hey,
try
man,
to debate
I'm
with
sorry.
me.
No, it's no debate. It was not a debate. It was a statement. It's concrete. Let's go.
Next team, the Los Angeles Rams.
I am not panicking. This is just, they played the best team in the league.
Ramley, I'm so sorry. I'm panicking. This offensive line's not good.
I'm not panicking yet, but I'm closer to the Rams than a lot of other teams.
I'm on the verge, kind of like I am with the Broncos. The offensive line isn't good. The secondary outside of Jalen Ramsey isn't good.
Facts.
They lost a lot of depth. Matthew Stafford's elbow, I'm not fully there with him yet, and how healthy he's going to be throughout the season. This is definitely one of those teams that could surprise us and, not make the playoffs if things go south.
Only reason why I struggle with that same is because of San Fran, and they didn't look too great week 1 either. So
Seattle's
I'm
in
not
first place.
Exactly, right? It's one of those
Seattle.
you got to wait.
Next team, the San Francisco 49ers.
No, the weather was bad. It was Trey Lance's first start. I think they'll be better. I'm not panicking.
I'm looking at the big picture here because I'm looking at the Rams, I'm looking at the Packers, I'm looking at the Niners. These are all teams that should be competing for a championship. Only reason that I'm not going to panic yet is because of the weather. Week 2, we can have this conversation again.
I'm not panicked either.
I'm not panicking. I think the 49ers will just be fine. As long as they have Kyle Shanahan, I have full faith in them, and that defense is truly elite.
It was really good.
Next team, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm panicking. Their secondary is horrid. I mean, their offensive line isn't good.
Correct.
They're just a bad team. Shout out to K1. I'm going to watch because he's one of the best I've ever seen in my life because that's my favorite player, so I am definitely trolling. But I'm definitely panicking.
I'm panicking for sure. This secondary is not good.
I'm panicked as well. I think they could finish 3rd, or if Seattle surprises people, 4th.
Seattle can get them 4 wins. I told you that.
I'm panicking. I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury, and I don't trust Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has shown time and time again on separate occasions and high leverage moments he can't get it done.
Literally one time ever.
There's a reason why in his contract clause they wanted him to study. There's a reason.
Hey, man, once he gets to studying.
It was literally one time.
Once he gets to studying.
Arizona won't be good this season. They're going to be bad.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler hasn't had a legitimate playoff team that could win playoff games yet in his career.
But
the Rams were so much better.
It was just a bad matchup.
And they were also hurt.
It was just a bad matchup.
Yeah,
it was just
Hop
a bad
has
matchup.
been
But that was a good
hanging
team last year. And they folded. They played the Rams because they folded at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
That's Cliff, though.
Even with the injuries they had to D-Hop, Kyler Murray was routinely missing a lot of reads he usually would make.
They weren't going to beat the Rams. The Rams, Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they would have beat the Rams, but you didn't move the ball.
They could have fucking
around. They weren't a great team last year.
I understand. I don't think anybody was under the assumption going into that game the Rams were going to shut them out.
I didn't think it was a shutout.
No, but everyone thought the Rams.
I thought it was going to be a comfortable win. Never that.
Yeah. Everyone had the Rams, though.
Yeah, maybe by a touchdown or 10 points, but not
playoff game.
Because the Cards they cooled down significantly towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I understand. The Rams definitely were the favorites, but
I get
Arizona
where you're coming from.
Went out sad, and it wasn't just Cliff. It was also Kyler struggling and failing to go through his reads and hitting his right progression.
For sure.
Week 2 NFL Pick'em. Now, I have the odds for all these teams, and these are the odds as we speak. They might change as the week goes on. Chargers at Chiefs. The Chiefs open up as a 4.5-point favorite.
Are we doing spreads now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, God. This is not something I was ready for.
I'm good. I got Chiefs -6.5.
It's at 4.5.
Wait, I thought we were making our own spreads.
No, man. No. You just say whether they're going to win or lose.
Honestly, I'm just going with my money line. I just put the spreads in to make it more.
Fuck the spreads. Okay.
So I got Chiefs.
All right, I do also have the Chiefs winning this game.
I think they split. The Chiefs are at home. They get this one.
I think knowing that Keenan Allen isn't playing, the Chiefs and J.C. Jackson, I think the Chiefs.
J.C. is also not playing?
Yeah, he's not playing. I think the Chiefs are just in for blood right now. I think they want to prove everybody wrong.
See the colors.
The Chargers aren't fully healthy right now.
You see them jerseys.
But would I be surprised if Justin Herbert comes out and just lights it up? I would not be. They've dueled it out before, and Justin Herbert has come out on top. But I'm going with the Chiefs in this one at home. Next game, Commanders at Lions. The Commanders are underdogs in this game.
I'm feeling good about the Commanders. I'm going to take them this week.
I struggled with this one. I did struggle with this one, but I'm going Lions.
I'm going Lions as well. They were close, even though it was a comeback win or a comeback game against the Eagles last week. I think they get this one.
I'm going with the Commanders.
Respect.
Now,
I respect that.
Can this be a roller coaster Carson Wentz game where he throws 3 picks and he looks horrible? I don't know. If it happened, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think the Commanders get this one. The Lions, yeah, they look good, but I think there was a lot of momentum going into the home opener.
And
the
Detroit was
stadium
home.
was loud. Their stadium was sold out. I don't know if that same energy is going to be here. If it is, maybe there's an upset, or maybe the Lions do cover, but I got the Commanders in this one. Next game, the Jets at the Browns.
I'm going Browns. I just can't look at this Jets team offensively and think that it can compete with a team that also has a very solid defense in the Browns.
I think defensively the Browns are really good. Offensively, they still have Chubb, so I'm going to go with the Browns. But I think it's a close game.
Salah was pissed off last week after that.
You guys didn't lose. You didn't get beat. You lost.
Yeah, he went on radio. He called the Jets an expansion team before Joe Douglas got there. There were some guys on that team. Quentin Williams was on that team. Like, there's some guys.
Yo.
It was an interesting quote, something that we really have not seen from Robert Saleh. He was pissed off. I think the Jets have to win this game. I'm picking them.
I'm picking the Jets, too, as underdogs. I think that we got to win this game. And Robert Saleh was not wrong in his comment. We were an expansion team before Joe Douglas got there.
I just don't like it when you have players on the roster
well,
still.
obviously, Robert Saleh is not talking about those individual players.
I know,
He's had
but
the same owners. Like,
he's talking about the players around that.
You know
the
who
roster
he
was shit. Yeah.
You know who
no,
he
I
talking
know, but
about.
it's still
yeah.
crazy.
You know who he
statement.
talking about, man.
And I think those players understand
He
that
ain't talking
Robert
about the top
Saleh.
dogs.
He's talking about
the mids.
Jermaine Kearse.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Saleh is 2 games away with a statement like that from getting fired. Like, I don't think that he's gonna get fired, but that's how crazy of a statement it is.
I was fine with it. I think it's honest. I
just
like that.
I don't disagree with the statement at all.
I think a worse statement was Nathaniel Hackett going out there and saying that they should have went for it.
I don't think that's a bad statement. That's him
I-
admitting
it's
his
accountability.
mistake.
I think that's a bad statement because it is you not sticking to your guns.
Can I ask you a question? What's worse, not sticking to your guns
Or
or shitting on the
continuously being
organization that hired you,
Oh,
gave you an opportunity of a
I'll
lifetime?
ride with you.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's the
It's-
reason
it's
why I'm
not
saying
shitting
you
on the
could get-
organization. It's shitting on the previous GM.
But the owner also ultimately oversees everything.
Yeah, but I don't think those owners are dumb enough to realize that.
It's
So, I
always,
mean,
it was also Christopher Johnson.
Yeah.
Now it's Woody Johnson.
I don't think
again.
the owners are dumb enough to not realize that this
Solid,
team
yeah.
was fucking horrible.
I mean, of course, it doesn't take
Like
a rocket
Hackett
scientist.
went from yesterday in the post-game press conference saying it was the right decision to the
Listen,
next day saying it was the wrong
If
one.
I say 1 + 1 = fucking 3, and I keep going every single day saying it = 3, like it's
that's
better
a-
if I just say it = 2. Like they should have.
that's a head coach saying, just making that comment just to.
He made a mistake.
It's the head coach making that comment just so the scrutiny from the media is just not as bad. Like, oh, now he
So he's
admitted
making
it
an
was.
excuse? Is that what it sounds?
It's
Bro.
just you're not sticking to your guns, bro.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about Saleh.
It's like Brian Dable. Let's say he doesn't get that 4th down conversion and they, lose the game. It's like him in the post game saying that was the right decision. And the next day saying, you know what, we should have just tied it and went to overtime.
I think
the
it's
same
different.
shit.
I think it's different because Dable was being aggressive while Hackett was being conservative.
Yeah, but ultimately, if the result's not there, you get scrutinized the same. And that's how it goes
That's
in
true.
the media.
I agree with that.
So
I
the
like
fact
it
that
'cause
he made a decision and then next day is saying, you know what, that wasn't the right
I don't mind it because they should have gone for it. It's obvious. I like
Well,
that
I
he's
know they
saying,
should
I
have
made
gone
a
for
mistake.
it. It was obvious.
It will be better.
It wasn't obvious. I know they should have gone for
I
it.
would much rather that than him go up and be like, nope, should have gone for the field goal, a 64-yard field goal that we missed.
I
Like,
would
come
have.
on, bro.
I would have much rather him say that they should have went for it in the post game. You literally said that was the right decision in the post game, and then the next day say it wasn't.
But then you look like reactionary where you're like, oh, well, if you would have made it, you wouldn't have said it then. Like, I think what he did was fine.
yeah, and then what he just did now, if you would have made it, he wouldn't have said what he just did.
Yeah, but I think he's looking back and saying, I screwed up. I'll be better.
Yeah, I think that comment's worse than Saleh, though. Saleh was being honest. Nathaniel
Go like
Hackett.
the lion.
Nathaniel Hackett was more so just succumbing to all the scrutiny that
Listen,
people were
it
throwing
was
at
the
him.
first game. It was probably his first time having this media press after a game. Like, he was just trying to probably get in and out there, bro.
I guess it doesn't matter.
I'm glad this conversation's over so I can acknowledge that Aaron Judge just hit another home run. 57.
And you-
He hit 2
And
today.
you won't go to the World Series, so it
Doesn't matter. Whatever you
And he's
say
leaving.
means nothing. He's staying 100%.
He's leaving. You
Bro.
won't win the World Series, and you'll be laughing stock because you just went off a cliff. You guys were actually one of the best teams, and then you fell off a cliff. Your ass.
So are you guys picking the Browns in this game?
I said
We are indeed
Yeah,
picking
we
the
started
Browns.
the conversation with the
Mets
Browns.
are losing 4-0 to the fucking
We're both
Cubs.
going with the Jets.
You're
then.
also mid.
Buccaneers
Can't talk
at
about
Saints.
the Yankees, man. Come on, let's have a little fun.
Buccaneers at Saints.
Ooh,
I'm going Bucks here.
I'm gonna take Saints. Saints are the underdogs, right?
Probably.
Yeah, they're home too.
I'm gonna take the Saints.
Saints have given the Bucks hell.
in the regular season. Yeah,
They really have.
Only reason why I'm so confident with the Bucks, I feel like this needs to be one of those that they get over that Saints hump.
I don't disagree. I'll take the Bucks.
I'm going with the Saints.
Jameis Winston, let's do it.
That's a good pick. Listen, it was tough for me too, but
Honestly, looking at the Bucks and the offensive line, Donovan Smith being hurt, Chris Godwin being out. I know that Julio flashed.
Julio looked good.
he looked very good.
He looked very good, but I think the Saints have an elite defense.
You know
I
what else
think
looked
their
good? Jarvis
pass
Landry.
rush. I just don't know if the Bucks are going to have an answer for David Onyemata, Marcus Davenport, and
Falcons had
Jordan.
an answer, so we'll see.
I think
shit's
they
hilarious.
definitely come out with more intensity this game. And
I agree.
I think they have the best linebacking core in football with DeMario Davis and Pete Werner.
That's
I
pretty
think
great.
They are amazing. Panthers at Giants.
G-men.
I'm gonna take the G-man.
I'm going. I mean, I don't know why you're thinking that I'm not going to go anyone but the Giants. 100%.
Taking the Giants as well.
I'm going with the Panthers. I think Baker Mayfield gets his first win.
Honestly, I feel like we're cursed right now with you picking the Giants. I'm honestly stunned. I really am taken aback. But hey,
Panthers are whatever.
you're right there.
They're both whatever for being up.
But I like the Giants stable, the momentum they have.
We're getting a CMC Classic this weekend. I do believe that.
Colts at Jaguars.
If the
I'm
Colts,
gonna take the Jaguars.
Jaguars are home.
I'm gonna go underdog. I'm gonna take Jaguars. They
Jaguars
looked really good last
they
week.
looked okay for going against the Washington secondary that's mid.
Well, the Colts look like
and
shit
without
against
Chase,
the Texans.
no
so
doubt. But I think the Colts
They had
need
a couple
to come
drop
in.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
It was a rough day for your wide
Them-
wide receiver agenda. Alec Pierce and Christian Watson both sucked.
Christian Watson burned the shit out of him. Oh,
Trey
my
Lance looked
God.
good.
George Pickens did too.
Traylon looked good.
I'm going
number one,
with
right?
the Colts.
Traylon was my number one.
George Pickens
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 was
was
top
my number
five.
5.
I get
He
where you're
looked
coming
rough.
from, but
He's got
like
Deontay and
Jags.
Claypool ahead of him.
see.
Alec
That
Pierce
might be
with
my new
Mitchell
young
Trubisky.
team. I might adopt the young
That's
You
why I'm
team.
the
got, these
Lions
other
guy.
guys could be
See, I
number
made
1 or
that.
number
But you
2
think
with better
Matt Ryan,
quarterbacks.
Trubisky
And also
level, you
Dehls.
said
Oh,
that multiple
Jesus
times.
Christ.
Okay, that's right.
You don't believe it.
What's the? I got the Colts. They can't start the year with a tie and a loss to the Jaguars and Texans. They have to win this game.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars win.
This cop out.
Pick a team.
Cop out. Because if they come up and lose and be like, "Oh, I said,"
And the reason why is because the Colts historically they struggle at Jacksonville. Historically,
bro,
they
you
are
can't
super bad at
start with a
Jacksonville.
I'll
tie and a
remember this
loss
one.
to
I'll remember that
Jacksonville and
statement.
Houston,
So next
bro.
week,
So
if
are
they
you
lose.
going Jags or Colts?
I just want to make sure that
You write down that you threw this disclaimer out there.
yeah, just because they really
Unbelievable,
struggle
man.
in Jacksonville.
You really make me sick.
Let the record. I see what's going on. I wish I had some diamonds.
Guys, put it in the comment section. We're going to have a poll after this show. Will Joel ever pick a side?
I'd have been on it.
We need a.
I'm trying to find the
sponsor.
exact stat, but I don't think they've won in Jacksonville in a while. But I'm going with the Colts still. I'm going with the Colts. I think it's if they start off the year 0-2, it's going to be very rough.
Oh, very.
1-1.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's a good.
1-1.
It's
Yeah,
a good
you're
thing
right.
the division sucks, so they'll be all right.
Tennessee's 0-1. The whole
Every
division
single
lost.
one
Oh no,
lost.
the tie.
No,
Two-
facts.
And also, just what I saw from Trevor Lawrence.
So they're still 500.
Trevor looked good, man. He looked very
One
good.
team played the Giants, one team that played the Commanders, and the other teams played each other, and no one has a win.
That's
The
worst
Jaguars
division.
are going
That's
to
the
be
worst
one of those
division in the
teams
league.
that, like, every week, you give them a chance because they have Trevor Lawrence. Like, Trevor Lawrence, from what I saw in week 1, he's one of those guys that if you have him, you're going to have a chance.
Yeah.
And that's why, for me, this game is tough because just knowing what Trevor Lawrence can do, I'm like, oh, my goodness, he can have one of those games. But I'm going with Matt Ryan.
Bro,
I'm
head
going with
over
my guy.
heels.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence
Wasn't he
is
your QB2?
amazing. Yeah, but Zach Wilson was one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, those two guys can be the franchise quarterbacks in the class, though. Zach Wilson
else?
and Trevor Lawrence.
You backtracking on Mac?
I think Mac has to be in a good situation, and right now it
Okay.
doesn't look like it. Dolphins at Ravens.
Give me Ravens.
At Ravens?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Baltimore.
Go with your guys, bro. Because I mean, I'm gonna go with mine.
In Baltimore, it's tough. I'm gonna take them.
You know what? Sometimes you have to make a stand.
I get it.
Dolphins are winning this game.
I
Shit.
respect it.
I like that.
Tough game.
I'm taking Baltimore. I don't think they were overly impressive against the Jets, but I'm taking Baltimore still.
I'm going with the Ravens, too. I think they win that game, and they exposed to it. Falcons at
Hey,
Rams.
they said that last season. Tua came in second half. Gates of hell. Came back.
Well,
won the
now they
game,
have
baby.
a week to prepare for him.
You said who? Falcons who?
Falcons at Rams.
Rams.
Rams lose this
Bounce
game.
back.
Bounce
It's
back.
Bounce back Rams.
scary
Coop
hours.
Cup game.
Rams bounce back game. The Seahawks at 49ers.
Niners bounce back.
Niners have to win this game.
Yeah, this is a Niners bounce back for me, too. Bengals at Cowboys.
Bengals.
Bengals.
Smoke them.
I'm going Bengals too.
I'm going with the Bengals.
Dog walk.
Texans at Broncos.
Broncos bounce back.
Broncos country.
Got a
baby.
lot of these good teams going up against
Broncos.
on paper not great opponents.
Well, they didn't last week. You see how
that's
that
what I'm
shit
saying.
went.
All of these teams fucking lost. The Rams, the
Yeah,
Niners,
Broncos bounce back. Cardinals at Raiders.
I'm gonna take the Raiders.
I also have the Raiders winning. They put up a very good performance against the
Renfro,
Chargers.
good day. Renfro gonna have a good day.
Very
that
good
day.
for being shaky, I should say.
Taking the Raiders too.
I'm going with the Raiders. Bears at Packers.
Packers. That's a dude who runs. Aaron Rodgers runs Chicago.
Sneaky game here. I'm going Packers.
I think it's a sneaky game.
You stop.
I mean, it's a division game.
It's Aaron Rodgers versus Chicago.
Absolutely.
He runs the division.
He does.
Just please respect him.
I am. So I'm giving
And
him
the
the
Bears
win.
are shit.
I'm giving them
I
the
don't like
win.
how you thought about it. It was annoying.
Can do what I want.
You know what? Respect. You're a grown ass man. Do whatever you want.
Jeez. What was the game again?
Bears at Packers.
Packers.
I'm going with the Packers too.
Yeah, he just thought about it.
People have this misconception. The Packers' offense was not bad versus the Vikings.
They made a few mistakes.
Yeah, but it was not
Probably just
bad.
have like 220 yards.
Yeah, but Christian Watson dropped
He's like a
touchdown.
70-yarder.
He was getting pressured
Christian
a lot,
Watson
too.
catches that touchdown.
And Jenkins and Bakhtiari,
inflate
they
those
did not
numbers.
play. So
True.
he was getting pressured.
It was
a lot.
The
just-
only reason why I'm overly concerned is come playoff time. These aren't guys that are adequate
Well,
enough to compete
Watson. That's
at a high
60
level
yards.
like that.
Well, I mean,
TD.
you have to get there first.
Certainly do.
Figure out the
No doubt,
rest
man.
later.
Like the Packers were, I think, 5th in terms of teams that got the most first downs. Number 1 was the Chiefs. They got the most first downs.
Chiefs
so.
were
They had
perfect.
11 in the first.
The
quarter.
Packers were like the only team in the top 5 that didn't capitalize on those points.
Yo, and shout out to AJ Dillon, man, leading the team in receiving yards, rushing attempts.
Yep.
Titans at Bills.
Bills are gonna destroy the shit out of them.
Bills, and this should be a really good game regardless.
Bills as well, but I do think this is sneaky. It just feels like the Titans to have a close game after losing to the
MVP
Giants.
campaign continues.
I
Last
think Bills
season,
get it.
the Bills were supposed to win, and
New
Titans
vibe.
came out and
It's
New vibe.
Mahomes MVP to lose, man.
What?
I'm going with the Bills in this one, though.
Thursday
Vikings
seems like so long ago.
at Eagles.
Oh,
at Eagles.
I know.
I'm going
I'm
with
taking
Minnesota.
Philly.
I got the Vikings.
I gotta pick
I-
in Philly. I'm gonna go Philly.
I also have the Vikings. If the Vikings want to solidify themselves as a true contender, they need to
There
come
we
out
go.
here and they need to dominate.
Philly, man. Jalen Hurts. Let's do it.
Let's see
AJ
what he's capable
fucking
of
Brown.
in this
It's him.
game.
AJ Brown's gonna destroy.
This is a
Pat
game
Pete.
against a real legit contender.
No doubt.
Didn't you tell me the Lions are sneaky playoff teams?
No, that was me.
No, I didn't say that.
Wrong
That was
guy.
me.
I thought both of you did.
I didn't. I mean, like,
I never said that.
never said they were a playoff team.
You told me they could have a top 10 secondary.
No, I didn't.
Whatever, bro.
You be
Whatever
lying.
fits your fucking.
You're lying.
Whatever.
Why are
See,
you
it's
lying?
not nice,
Bro
right?
pulled to you.
Huh?
People listen to us, Joel. Come on, I gotta keep that same energy. Don't lie on his name.
Just saying, man.
It's
Jalen
funny
Hurts look
because
good.
I did do that to you.
all the time, bro. You said Mitch and Matt Ryan are on the same level.
Adding on to our week 2 pick'em, locks and upset picks. Now, my locks of the week. You guys didn't read the group chat?
Dude, what the fuck? I was like, what is this segment?
Wait, what are we
Okay.
doing?
This just added on to pick'em. I have locks and upset picks.
Dude, when did you add that?
Well,
I
mine was
texted
the
you.
Jaguars. So
So I'll just go first. My locks, I think the Rams versus the Falcons, the Bengals at Cowboys, the Broncos versus Texans, the Packers versus Bears, and the Bills versus Titans. Basically, every team that needs to have a bounce back game, and plus the Bills because they're just so dominant. In my upset picks, I have the Commanders winning over the Lions, the Vikings winning over the Eagles, and the Saints winning over the Bucks. Those are my upset picks.
Okay, so my locks this week are going to be the Niners against the Seahawks, the Broncos against the Texans, the Bengals against the Cowboys, the Packers against the Bears, and my upset's going to be the Dolphins against the Ravens.
And for me, my locks of the week are going to be the Packers versus the Bears, the Broncos versus the Texans, and the Bills versus the Titans. My 2 upsets are the Saints against the Bucks and the Commanders versus the Lions.
My locks of the week can be the Broncos and Packers. They both need to get right. My upsets will be the Jets and Panthers.
Yeah. I was trying to get the Panthers.
So you have the Panthers beating the Giants.
If it's an upset, I don't know. Dude. I had fucking 30 seconds, bro.
Come
I
on,
don't
man.
remember who I picked.
The Panthers, I have them over the Giants, but I wouldn't put them in my upset picks. I feel like that game is volatile. Like, I trust the Commanders.
Okay,
Vikings,
fine.
and Saints to win.
Titans.
Titans upset? Tough.
Nice. I like that.
So, but you're choosing the Bills.
Yeah. I mean,
What's going on? You're giving me a headache, man.
who are your upsets?
My upset was the Dolphins.
Oh, you only had one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Pick a
then the
goddamn
Jets. I
side.
thought we
there
were
you go.
doing
Nice,
two
man.
each.
Nice.
Pick a fucking side, dude.
I'm with him here, man.
Holy
Come
shit.
on.
Bro,
You do have
did this segment on me
cocojones.
last second, man.
You have cocojones.
Who are your upsets? man?
Cocojones.
His upsets were
The
the
Saints,
Saints
yeah.
and
And the Panthers, I believe.
no.
No, what Commanders.
Yep.
Saints and Commanders, that was his.
Did you pick the Commanders, you bastard?
Yeah. Wentz.
He's a big Carson Wentz guy.
As am I.
He's a big Carson Wentz guy.
Why are you down?
You
Carson
just
Wentz,
like
man.
every goddamn mid quarterback in the
him.
league.
Oh, good.
He's just like
Eagles should have kept him.
Who, me?
Yeah.
You know
Dude,
what? You like
am I cool for that?
You like
Bro,
mid,
you
no, you
like
like mid
Tua,
quarterbacks just in
Daniel
case they
Jones.
pop off and you can say you were there from the start.
So far, I haven't been wrong.
Tua hasn't popped off yet.
We'll see.
Daniel Jones is he's
see.
on life support.
He is, but hey, he's alive.
Hey, no,
His
it's
heart's
one
beating.
game. He's
His heart is
Heart's
fucking
beating. Heart's
beating.
beating.
his heart's beating once every 3 hours. He's barely breathing right now.
Casual.
I mean, he damn near died.
He's in a vegetable state
Yeah,
right now.
Tua's the only one keeping you hope alive.
Carson Wentz?
He's also another one, heart beating once every
Carson
hour.
Wentz is a
too.
very new
That's
one.
not true.
He's
Last
done.
year I said that I would take Carson Wentz over
He also
Dak
likes
Prescott,
Jared
which
Goff.
was crazy.
Ew,
And it's not
he's
true.
gone.
You did say, bro.
didn't.
The other day we was chilling. You was like, Jared Goff is a good quarterback.
You said you would take Wentz over Dak?
I did.
I don't remember that.
Crazy as
That
sin.
sounds like some shit I'd say.
But honestly, it's
honestly.
only because
No,
Carson Wentz has never been surrounded with a good supporting cast. This
That's
is low-key the best supporting cast he's had outside of the offensive line y'all gave him in Philly.
Nah, 2017 was a really good team.
What weapons do you guys have?
We didn't have elite
Alshon
number
Jeffrey
ones,
was
but
good.
we
And
had a
Zach
lot
Ertz-
of.
But
we had a lot-
Alshon didn't have
Zach
1,000
Ertz.
that year.
Zach Ertz.
No, we didn't have
Got
elite
it.
number ones, but we had a lot of good mid-tier
But
twos.
I'm not disagreeing. But you look here, Terry McLaurin, true number one. You have two solid number
Not
two
the same
options.
offensive line though.
No,
guess.
you're right.
Yeah, offensive
Well,
line.
let's stop acting like
Terry's a
Alshon's
true number
scrub,
one.
bro.
No, absolutely not.
What? Terry's a low end
What are we
number
doing?
one.
So is he true number one?
Low end number one.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying this is the most target competition he's ever had, and he didn't stand out.
Still had a touchdown.
What do you have? 30 yards? 40?
No.
50, 53. If I'm right, I'm nice. I'm just letting you know that.
I'll look it
right
up real
now.
quick and then we can end the show.
I'm saying is first year Terry has some
I
real
think he's a low
competition.
end number
He's got
one.
Dotson.
He had 58 yards and a touchdown.
Okay.
God, I'm close.
The year the Eagles won
Only
the
two
Super Bowl,
catches, so
it
I'll
was-
be honest.
they had
That was
Zach
two catches.
two
Ertz,
catches.
Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Torrey Smith, Trey Burton,
We brought in Jay Ajayi. He has some big games
and
too.
Jay Ajayi.
And Antonio
LeGarrette
Gibson's
Blount,
one of those
Offensive
guys we didn't even mention who was very active in the past game.
Sure.
I guess. I mean,
And then our defense was pretty tough that year too.
I'm talking solely on the offensive
Oh
side.
yeah, it was just the O line was just
Yeah, no,
one of the
oh,
best.
I
So
don't think
good.
I don't think it's as bad as the Tua and Burrow shit.
What do you mean by that? Oh, the take that I just said?
That Tua would be better.
Oh, no. Listen, that
one's
still
not-
could be alive.
Okay.
It's alive and well.
The Wentz one, I think.
Who,
you have more-
listen, right now,
Yeah,
Tua, Joe Burrow,
one weekend.
Tua's
I guess,
top.
right?
I'm gonna be
Burrow's
honest,
top
bro.
8.
week one.
despite Joe Burrow having those turnovers, he played a better game than Tua.
Oh shit.
It's so wrong.
It's not. He played a better game in the second half.
I'm
he played
glad.
a better game.
I'm glad you can sit in that chair and allow yourself to sound as crazy as you do sometimes. I appreciate it.
No, it's a fact. Like
Thanks,
just
bro.
watching what Burrow did. I'm like, Tua can't make the plays Burrow did to even get them back in the game.
I mean, Tua was scrambling outside the pocket too and extending plays.
Bro, he threw a ball to the dirt.
That was tipped.
That was a crazy
Miscommunication.
pass.
Jalen Hurts looked good.
That was one of the
Jalen fucking
ugliest
Hurts,
things I've
baby.
ever
Hey man,
seen.
hey, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Jalen balled.
300 yards, touchdown, no picks.
He was having my heart beating a little bit.
He
in the
looked
first
very
quarter,
handsome out
'cause
there.
He was like, I'm like,
He
yo.
started 0 for 5, I think.
He was running like a fucking running back.
Yeah,
he was
started-
pissing me off.
And he had one pass to A.J. Brown. He got like 10
He
yards.
was
and that
racking
was
off like 12, 18. I'm like, bro,
If
pass the
Burrow
ball.
if Burrow was on the Dolphins, they give the Bills a legit
Can I ask you a question?
in the
Can-
AFC East.
do we ever stay on
They
conversation
might.
on topic?
Yeah,
They probably do.
a legit
What about
run
it?
for the money.
I think if you switch Tua and Burrow, the Dolphins have a real chance to beat the Bills. Respectfully.
We're talking last season.
No, this
Oh,
year.
right now.
Listen, man, I'm gonna sit here every single week and just
I respect it.
allow you
pick a
guys.
side.
That's
Pick a
me.
side, pick a side,
That's me.
pick a side.
I mean, listen, you're wrong on Denver so far.
You're wrong on Denver through one game. Jerry Jeudy greater than Gabe Davis through 1 week is correct.
Never in doubt.
Not once.
Never, ever, 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 ever.
Oh, Gabriel Davis has.
Is
a long
Jerry
way to
Jeudy
go.
a true number one?
TBD.
No, he's not.
TBD is right.
TBD.
Okay.
Because Cortland Sutton looked cute yesterday.
Cortland Sutton, it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation.
Low key 1A, 1A.
Because you were knocking CD earlier, and he's better than both. That's why.
not
CeeDee
that-
Lamb
that's
is
not a
better
lock.
than both. Yeah.
It's not a lock.
Well,
though.
they're all the same,
I think it is a
relatively
lock.
the same age. So I
Right
think
now it's
going
CD,
forward,
but-
I'll
No,
probably
right
go
now,
CD.
absolutely, but it's not a lock.
But yeah, after
Of
this
course
year, if
not.
Judy puts up 1,200 and CD
Will it
puts
be
up
because he's
900,
better than CD or just the situation?
Well, you
Because
could say the last couple of years the same thing. Judy's been
And,
hurt,
I was
bad
gonna
quarterbacks.
say, and also Judy was definitely the better prospect coming out. Definitely cleaner route runner.
Some people
they're
like
both
CD
good
more.
I don't know.
So-
It was.
people
it
like
was
CD
50-50.
more.
Yeah, they were both good
CD and
prospects.
Jerry Jeudy were 50-50.
I was gonna say for a while it seemed as if that Jerry
Both of
Judy
them were
was the
very
number
much
one.
dogs.
It was, yeah, for
It
sure.
was with Judy. It was more polished route runner. With CD, it was you got
Big
even
time,
better
yeah.
yak.
They're both really nice players.
Oh,
They're both
Judy
nice
is so
players.
fast, bro. I forgot how
Yeah,
fast he
dude.
was.
I mean, he's electric.
Like, bro, he caught that ball and fucking
Boom.
Then he dropped it.
Ah, that hurt.
It's good that
That
you
one
had
was tough.
that. It's good that you had that moment.
It
Rookie
shouldn't,
corner.
because it's
Nah,
like
I'm gonna
the
be
best
honest.
receivers usually lead the league in drops.
When he scored that touchdown, we lost our
Jamar Chase last year,
minds.
Tyreek was up there.
yeah, okay.
Nah,
Just when you
literally
get
the
so
best.
many-
The cream of the crop had the
I look
most
at, but
drops.
the problem with me, the route runners don't lead the league in drops. That's what
That's
you know,
not necessarily true.
I don't think so.
Keenan Allen was one of the league
Was
leader
he?
in drops.
I'm
Deontay
talking about
2
last year. I'm
years
talking about,
ago,
I'm talking about specifically last
Devontae
year. I'm talking
Adams,
about last year.
Justin Jefferson.
I don't think they were in the
Never. I was talking about just last year specifically, though. I was just talking about last
Just
year.
because if you have that many drops, because we probably had a
Like,
ton of targets.
and Judy, but even Tay, D-Hop, you throw him 120 targets. I don't think
there's a few outliers.
And Judy,
Like Tay, Cup,
like
Jettas,
it's one thing with Chase to
3.
drop a deep one, but Judy, it was right there.
It was.
Yeah,
That happens.
She was like 10 yards.
He'll be at.
Gotta catch that.
Bounce back.
Hey, Seahawks.
Bounce back. 100 yards, touchdown. Fuck.
It's
It
gonna
was
do it.
it was 3 catches, 40 yards. 'Cause the big play was really most of it for
Are
Jerry
we
Judy.
gonna do the same thing about Gabe Davis?
I don't put Gabe Davis for
Okay.
Judy. I think Judy's better.
That's true. You did. Well, no.
But Gabe is a big time, so he's gonna get those 3 catches, 20 yards.
Yeah. That's why Gabe
All
Davis is
right,
Mike Williams.
I got a test to study for tomorrow. Let's wrap this hoe up.
This is going to do it for episode 210 of the Pick Aside Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick Aside Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.